that submarine. Perhaps he could inform the outside world of the situation and coordinate efforts to break free from this confinement. However, the critical issue remained. If he contacted him, wouldn't that mean he would simply vanish? Yichuan contemplated several strategies, yet none seemed to offer a resolution. Ultimately, this was a rule established by the oceanic world, and humanity, relying on the ocean, simply could not contend with it. In the end, Yichuan opted to have Wang Yun return him to Turtle Island, planning to reassess the situation after lunch. Chapter 141. Exploring the island, battling the northeast tiger. By this time, the pork chops were ready, and Yichuan immediately juiced the 18 A-grade oranges he had obtained. He traded each individual a piece of pork chop for 100 milliliters of juice. It was already past 9 in the morning, so it seemed best to simply have lunch. Whether or not they had breakfast was inconsequential, as he could easily manage that himself. Zhao Feiyu promptly replied, "I have an abundance of food here. However, it has lost its freshness over time, so I must expedite its consumption." Yichuan immediately responded with a laughing emoticon. "Did you add sugar to this juice? It's quite sweet." Lu Yiwei also replied at that moment, "Of course not. This is juice extracted from A-grade citrus. It can enhance one's constitution." Yichuan quickly retorted, "Though it's not much, let us make do with it. Other island masters may not even have a meal, yet I can drink juice. Truly, you are my savior." Lu Yiwei sent a prayer-like emoticon, declaring, "Without you, I would be utterly stranded. No need for such gratitude. Just remember to repay me well once your novice period is over." Yichuan responded with a toothy grin, adding, "So, accept it with peace of mind. Then I shan't hold back." Lu Yiwei replied with a similar grin. After a quick meal, estimating that the sea turtle would require another 4 hours to traverse the natural island, Yichuan decided to explore the island accompanied by his 3 companions. However, to prevent any unforeseen dangers, he approached Friday with a cheerful demeanor and inquired, "Friday, working the fields all day, aren't you tired? Love what you do, and you won't feel fatigued, Brother Chuan." Friday replied earnestly, "Well, there's an island ahead. I'll grant you a 4-hour break, and we can explore it together. What do you say?" Yichuan transitioned directly to the point. "I haven't even planted the rice yet. I have no time." Friday promptly declined. "Oh, Friday, you're being rather uncooperative." Yichuan was taken aback, patting Friday on the shoulder. "The reason I invited you was to have you protect me. Don't you understand that? You must realize that I am the center of it all. Without me, everything, including you, ceases to exist. Protecting me is protecting yourself." However, Friday scratched his head, contemplating further objections, but Yichuan swiftly interrupted, "If it comes to that, I can always find you a wife later. It's not a big deal." "All right." At this point, Friday found it hard to refuse any longer and readily agreed. After all, who could turn down a beautiful bride? Thus, Wang Kai and Wang Yun each guided Yichuan and Friday to the natural island. Friday led the way, while the 3 companions flanked Yichuan, cautiously advancing deeper into the island. This island, although exhibiting a gently rising terrain that converged toward the center, had a mild slope and was entirely blanketed in forest, devoid of the external chill. The temperature seemed to hover around 12 to 13 degrees, imparting a subtly oppressive ambience. "It feels as if this is merely a forest." With nothing else present, Yichuan murmured quietly. After having ventured several hundred meters in, aside from the chirping of birds and the occasional scurrying of small creatures, there was nothing else to be found. "Friday, do you have the ability to search for mineral resources?" Yichuan inquired after walking a few more minutes. "I have a basic understanding," Friday replied. After uttering this phrase, Friday halted. "Have you already located the mining resources?" Yichuan's expression shifted. At that moment, the 3 little ones suddenly began to chirp anxiously, spreading their wings in preparation for battle. Just then, a loud rustle echoed as a massive figure erupted from the dense forest, twisting its body as it lunged toward Friday, aiming for its throat. A tiger? Yichuan's complexion paled. In a flash, Friday launched a powerful punch at the tiger, striking its chest with tremendous force. The unfortunate tiger, caught off guard, received this blow, yet its enormous paw still managed to strike Friday's cheek. Friday spun through the air, mitigating the tiger's force, leaving only a few faint scratches on his face. The tiger, heavily impacted by the punch, rolled on the ground, shook its head, and began to pace around the 2 men and 3 birds, seemingly searching for an opening. This tiger, measuring over 3 meters in length, possessed a rounded head, short ears, and robust limbs. Its sparse fur was light in color with narrow black stripes, and the 2 stripes that converged gave it a majestic appearance. "Is this a Siberian tiger?" Yichuan mused to himself. In the present day, wild Siberian tigers no longer exist in Jiuzhou, with only 2 remaining in the Seoul Wildlife Sanctuary. To encounter one here is truly astonishing. Friday, this tiger is formidable. You must exercise caution. Yi Chuan whispered urgently. Brother Chuan, I have some knowledge of martial arts, Friday replied, tilting his head slightly. The Siberian tiger, which had been searching for a weakness, finally made its move once more, launching a powerful pounce aimed at Friday's throat. Yi Chuan furrowed his brow, preparing to employ a rotating crossbow arrow, but Friday had already leaped into the air, performing a mid-air flip and delivering a fierce side kick toward the tiger. The tiger, however, abruptly retracted its pounce and swiped its paw toward Friday's thigh. As Friday struck the tiger's head, the tiger's claw connected with Friday's calf, producing a metallic clang. While the tiger was sent reeling from the kick, the tiger's long tail then lashed out at Friday, ensnaring his body and, using the momentum from its turn, flung Friday several meters away. Just as the tiger landed, it once again crouched and charged toward Yi Chuan. This beast is remarkably intelligent. It has realized that Yi Chuan is the center of attention for Friday and the three little ones. As the saying goes, to catch a thief, one must first capture the leader. It has chosen to eliminate Yi Chuan first. The three little ones shrieked and lunged at the tiger, but alas, the tiger's strength was overwhelming, rendering them ineffective. Although Friday sprang back into action as soon as he landed, it was too late. Yi Chuan's brow furrowed tightly as he raised his hand, and all 8 crossbow arrows were released simultaneously. He distinctly saw the tiger's expression change as its massive paw struck fiercely at the oncoming arrows. To Yi Chuan's astonishment, the tiger, moving with astonishing speed, indeed unleashed the crossbow bolt. Gritting his teeth, Yi Chuan let out a fierce roar, his entire body leaning back as the formidable blade appeared in his grasp, poised menacingly ahead. In Chapter 142, Slaying the Tiger, Monkey Wine, the tiger was momentarily taken aback by Yi Chuan's unexpected reaction, utterly unprepared for such a deviation from the norm. Surely, it thought, a mere evasion would suffice. It could even swipe at him with its claws. Yet, here was Yi Chuan, lying down with his blade raised. At that moment, the tiger, suspended in midair without any point of leverage, found itself unable to evade, helplessly witnessing the blade slice through its abdomen before crashing to the ground. As it attempted to retaliate, its innards spilled forth from the grievous wound, leaving it incapable of further action. In that fleeting instant, the tiger was struck by excruciating pain. Lying on the ground, its yellow eyes fixed intently on Yi Chuan. It seemed to imprint the visage of the human who had bested it into memory. With a final roar, it concluded its legendary life. Brother Chuan, remarkable, Friday exclaimed, giving Yi Chuan a thumbs up. The tiger had been a fearsome opponent, yet he had dispatched it with such ease. It was sheer luck. Yi Chuan chuckled. In a moment of peril, he recalled an article he had once read titled Tang Hunting. Though the protagonist wielded an axe, he reasoned that using a blade would not differ greatly. Remarkably, he had inadvertently succeeded in slaying the tiger. I possess but a cursory understanding of martial arts. You are the true master, Brother Chuan. Friday continued to flatter him, expressing profound admiration. Let us press onward. Yi Chuan smirked slightly, promptly silencing Friday. After a brief handling of the tiger, he stored it in the system's inventory and proceeded forward. The entire island seemed to harbor no creature as formidable as that tiger. Yi Chuan encountered several monkeys, dispatching 3 with his rotating crossbow before the remainder fled in terror. However, Friday solemnly remarked, Brother Chuan, we have struck gold. What do you mean? Is monkey skin valuable? Yi Chuan asked, intrigued, glancing about before inquiring further, or have you uncovered some mineral resource? Have you not caught a whiff of the elusive scent of wine? Friday queried. Not at all. Yi Chuan shook his head. In this desolate place, it seems improbable that someone could be lurking in the depths of the forest, secretly brewing wine. Follow me. Without elaborating, Friday darted towards a particular direction. Yi Chuan had no choice but to pursue him through the thicket, soon arriving at a small hill concealed within the dense foliage. It appeared as though something had excavated a large pit, now filled with an assortment of fruits. It was only on this path that Yi Chuan began to detect the increasingly potent aroma of wine. It was then that he noticed a narrow crevice at the base of the hill, from which drops of liquid were trickling down. Below, the stone basin was already filled with a translucent liquid, the intoxicating aroma of which had already rendered Yi Chuan somewhat tipsy. Could it be that this seemingly bottomless stone cave was filled entirely with such wine? Yi Chuan muttered in disbelief. At that moment, the system chimed in. Class A monkey wine. Consumption enhances physical constitution, dispels cold, and has antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties. No wonder it was monkey wine, Yi Chuan suddenly realized. And the fact that it was indeed Class A monkey wine made it all the more precious. Friday, keep watch here and don't let those monkeys take even a drop. I'm going to fetch a container. Yichuan instructed Friday and immediately turned to rush out. 5 minutes later, Wang Kai returned to Turtle Island with Yichuan. Yichuan promptly sent a message in the public chat room. High price for containers capable of storing wine. Those wishing to sell, act swiftly, serious inquiries only. This message successfully stirred up discussion in the public chat room. Containers for storing wine? Could it be that some wealthy individual is brewing wine leisurely? In such a frigid ocean world, where even a bit of food was scarce, who had the luxury to brew wine? How much grain would that require to warrant the need for wine storage containers? Just because you lack food doesn't mean others do, my friend. Don't measure others by your own standards. Not everyone is as idle and gluttonous as you. Who is the glutton? The glutton is you. Meanwhile, private messages poured in, and Yichuan quickly took note of Wang Sanrui. He couldn't help but inquire. Do you have any containers for wine? I dug up a supply box 2 days ago and found a pair of wine bags. Wang Sanrui replied. Each bag can hold 10 liters of wine. I imagine you can't manage more than 20 liters, right? What is the price? Yichuan asked directly. 1 liter of wine. Wang Sanrui stated without hesitation, plus 20 kilograms of meat. Deal. Yichuan rolled his eyes and immediately agreed. He still had 1 liter of the donkey wine left from their last transaction, but he certainly couldn't part with it so easily. Fortunately, the bottle of old white liquor he had finished last time was still lying in the corner of the living room. So he quickly poured the donkey wine into 2 bottles, added the 20 kilograms of wild boar meat, and placed everything in the trading slot. 67-degree old white liquor. An absolute classic. After Wang Sanrui listed the 2 wine bags, the two immediately completed the transaction. I really am quite clever. 2 wine bags for 1 liter of old white liquor. Finally, a change of flavor. Wang Sanrui chuckled as he promptly opened the bottle. However, his smile soon froze on his face. Donkey wine. Wang Sanrui's expression darkened. You traded back the donkey wine I gave you. Wang Sanrui was indeed fortunate. Having acquired a total of 4 bottles of 6L Mindao Lu, trading 2 of them to Yichuan. After finishing the remaining 2 bottles, he had hoped to savor a different flavor, only to find himself stuck with Mindao Lu once again. Wang Sanrui couldn't help but grit his teeth and immediately messaged Yichuan. You scoundrel, you traded back the Mindao Lu I gave you? However, Yichuan did not respond, infuriating Wang Sanrui to the point where he raised the bottle as if to smash it, but ultimately refrained, thinking, it's still alcohol. It would be a shame to waste it. At that moment, Yichuan had already returned to the natural island with 2 wine bags and 2 bottles containing Mindao Lu. Fortunately, the monkeys had not yet discovered the situation here, and Yichuan promptly began pouring. To his astonishment, he found that the 23L was still not empty. How deep could this stone cave be? Friday, do you have any idea how much monkey wine is left in there? Yichuan inquired. I have no clue, Brother Chuan. Friday replied. But this monkey wine has been accumulated by the monkeys over the years, so there must be plenty. Then I shall go gather a few more containers. Yichuan said with a sly grin. Just then, a snow-white monkey, wielding a stick, led over 30 smaller monkeys to stealthily surround the area. Chapter 143. The formidable S-class monkey Brother Chuan. Friday said with a slight grimace, calling out softly. Yichuan glanced at Friday, finally noticing the white-haired monkey, who was preparing to draw a crossbow. He then recalled that he had exhausted his ammunition during the battle with the tigers and couldn't help but chuckle. Brother monkey, your wine is truly delightful. Chirp. The white-haired monkey screeched, tightening its grip on the stick and charging at Yichuan with swift and fierce movements. Reacting instinctively, Yichuan raised his large blade to shield himself, successfully blocking the strike, thanks to a 50% increase in his agility. However, the white-haired monkey was relentless, delivering another fierce blow with astonishing skill, reminiscent of a reincarnated Wukong. Brother Chuan, I'm here to help. Friday shouted, ready to assist. But the swarm of over 30 small monkeys had already closed in, chattering and rushing forward. Despite Friday's formidable strength and reflexes, the nimbleness of these monkeys was overwhelming. Although they could not overpower Friday, he too struggled to handle them. In that instant, Yichuan unleashed all his combat techniques. Though he was facing a mere monkey, he felt as if the creature's stick technique surpassed even his previous opponent, Lung Feng. Despite Yichuan's recent improvement in martial skills, the white-haired monkey's speed was simply too great. Had it not been for his earlier agility enhancement, he might have already been defeated. With a thunderous clash, both man and monkey were sent staggering back nearly 5 meters after a powerful collision. Yichuan chuckled wryly and said, Brother monkey, we harbor no animosity towards each other. The incident where I shot down your 3 subordinates was merely an act of self-defense against their prior harassment. Is it truly necessary for you to bear such a grudge against me? The white-haired monkey brandished its staff, glaring fiercely. Yichuan shook his head. As I was traversing the path, I stumbled upon this natural wine cellar and merely sampled a bit of the wine. Is this any of your concern? The monkey continued to point at the stone cave, its voice sharp and insistent. I apologize, but since it has come into my possession, it is now mine. If we were to engage in combat, neither of us would emerge victorious, and in the long run, you may find it difficult to outlast me. Yechuan spread his hands. You see, I have 3 fierce raptors here, watching you closely. Should you provoke me further, I could simply have them snatch your subordinates into the air and drop them, rendering you powerless against us. The white-haired monkey seemed to comprehend Yechuan's words, letting out a shriek before charging at him again, its movements more ferocious in its rage. Wonkai, attack! Yechuan instructed the 3 small creatures with a slight shake of his head. They acknowledged, and one dashed forward, seizing a monkey and soaring high into the sky. The white-haired monkey abandoned its pursuit of Yechuan and swiftly darted towards a large tree, scaling it with remarkable agility. Utilizing the branch's elasticity, it launched itself into the air, gripping its staff tightly and screaming as it aimed a powerful blow at Wang Fu. Goodness! Yechuan exclaimed, witnessing the monkey's fierce demeanor. Wang Fu, run! Wang Fu had already noticed the white-haired monkey and, upon its ascent from the dense forest, relinquished the monkey it had captured, its massive claws reaching for the descending staff. With a sharp cry, Wang Fu turned and fled into the distance. Yechuan furrowed his brow, extending his hand to launch an air blast at the white-haired monkey. Just after the monkey had attacked Wang Fu, it found itself exhausted and vulnerable, struck by the air cannon on its back, plummeting into the forest below. With a cold huff, Yechuan brandished his blade and rushed towards the spot where the monkey was set to land, only to be astounded as the white-haired monkey suddenly burst forth from the underbrush, swinging its staff down with renewed vigor. What? Yechuan gasped in shock, hastily raising his sword to defend himself, quickly realizing the truth. After all, the monkey wine they produced was of A-grade quality and undoubtedly possessed remarkable qualities. Although they could not harm him, he found himself equally unable to subdue them. Prolonged stalemate would surely lead to his disadvantage. Having already secured the monkey wine, he had no further need for anything else. As the saying goes, the best strategy is to retreat. With that, Yechuan called out to Friday, and the two hastily made their escape. However, the white-haired monkey shrieked and led its subordinates in relentless pursuit until Yechuan and Friday grasped Wang Kai and Wang Yin's feet, swiftly ascending into the air and fleeing to the distance. Chirp, chirp! The white-haired monkey cried out in fury, hurling its staff like a javelin with all its might towards Yechuan. What? Yechuan furrowed his brow, his eyes fixed unwaveringly on the stick hurtling toward him. In an instant, he reached out and grasped it firmly in his hand. Although the formidable force nearly toppled Wang Kai, Yechuan swiftly stowed the stick in his system inventory, regaining his balance before gradually vanishing into the horizon. The white-haired monkey, infuriated, erupted in a furious howl, glaring intently in the direction of Yechuan's disappearance, lost in its thoughts. Upon returning to Turtle Island, Yechuan's heart still raced. Who could have imagined that a mere monkey could possess such prowess? It was then that he decided to consult the system. System? What kind of monkey was that? Capable of martial arts? Black-faced leaf monkey, an S-rank species, exhibiting formidable combat strength and a vengeful nature. The system promptly responded. No wonder it was an S-rank monkey. Yechuan suddenly comprehended this fact and retrieved the black-faced leaf monkey's stick. What then was the nature of this stick? Unnamed stick, material undetermined, length 15 meters, weight 10 gene. Indestructible. The system elucidated once more. Remarkably, even the system could not discern the material of this stick, yet it could contend with his large blade, indicating that it was undoubtedly extraordinary. After securing the stick, Yechuan immediately sought out Wang Fu. Only then did he realize why Wang Fu had returned so abruptly. One of its claws had been fractured by the stick. How brutal this monkey was! Yechuan exclaimed in frustration as he swiftly procured a metal plate to stabilize Wang Fu's injury, followed by administering 100 milliliters of S-rank freshwater. Wang Fu, take your time to recuperate during this period and refrain from wandering aimlessly, Yechuan advised, bestowing upon it a generous handful of dried fish. At the insistence of both Wang Kai and Wang Fu, Yechuan further provided each with an additional 50 milliliters and another substantial handful of dried fish. Subsequently, Yechuan retrieved the tiger, preparing to process it. It was only at this moment that he noted an object within the tiger's belly, roughly the size of a fist, smooth and somewhat light. Was this a stone? With a gentle touch, he discerned a slight softness, and aside from the tiger's natural scent, there was no other odor. System, what exactly is this? Yechuan could no longer contain his curiosity. The stone found in cattle is known as Niu Huang, Thus, the stone in a tiger should be referred to as hu huang. Gan huang forms within the liver ducts and can detoxify various poisons, bolster physical strength, and possesses several unknown properties. The system explained without delay. Goodness, is this not even more remarkable than S-rank freshwater? Yechuan's expression shifted. While he had not paid much attention to the other effects, the ability to detoxify was indeed the most impressive. Should this substance be consumed raw or cooked? Yechuan posed the final query. Consume it whole and raw. The system replied once more. This thing is nearly the size of my fist. And you want me to swallow it whole? Yechuan, momentarily devoid of frustration, recognized the value of the item before him. To forego such a treasure would indeed be an immense pity. Taking several deep breaths, he meticulously cleansed the liver, applied a hint of lard for lubrication, and, after 3 dry heaves, managed to swallow it whole. The act, undeniably repugnant, left him feeling somewhat uneasy, prompting several additional dry heaves before he downed 200 milliliters of premium freshwater in one go. He sat quietly for several minutes, allowing the discomfort to dissipate before proceeding. After a brief respite, Yechuan embarked on the task of processing the tiger. He skillfully separated the tiger's skin, bones, and whip, leaving only the flesh. As a creature at the apex of the food chain, the tiger's body was densely muscled, with thick fibers that rendered the meat tough and somewhat sour, unsuitable for consumption. However, abstaining from eating it did not imply that the islanders, who had gone days without food, would share the same sentiment. Thus, Yechuan sliced off 3 kilograms of tender flesh from the tiger's belly, swiftly dicing it before stir-frying with scallions, ginger, garlic, and spices, followed by a gentle simmer with sugar and soy sauce. The remaining tiger meat was then portioned into 500g packages and displayed. At that moment, more islanders noticed the massive cloud, initially engaged in discussions about it. The sight of the tiger meat, however, left them all in a state of shock. Who is this formidable person? Come forth and speak. Did you truly slay a tiger? They exclaimed. Only you would believe it, surely. It must have been a dead tiger that you stumbled upon. I cannot fathom how an ordinary human could conquer such a beast. Pray tell, can an ordinary human vanquish a wild boar, a shark, an orca, or even a colossal octopus? One retorted, your limitations do not reflect those of others. You are merely a keyboard warrior, occasionally surfacing to hurl insults. What else can you do? Let us stick to the facts. Personal attacks are unnecessary. Another shot back. I am engaging in such attacks. What of it? While some continued their verbal sparring, others initiated trades. Yechuan promptly exited the public chatroom, only to find that Zhao Feiyu had initiated a trade, offering him a sick deer. This surprised Yechuan. Did you hunt this from the woods? Indeed. I also possess 2 island expansion cards, which I know you have no use for, so I have utilized them on my own island, Zhao Feiyu replied. I was merely wandering about when I stumbled upon this sick deer. Sick deer meat is considered quite delectable, and Yechuan chuckled heartily at the prospect of a feast. The deer, not particularly large, fit perfectly on the multifunctional barbecue grill. That evening, they could enjoy a whole roasted deer, paired with braised tiger meat and accompanied by exquisite monkey wine, a thought that brought him immense pleasure. Without delay, Yechuan began processing the sick deer, dedicating a full hour before placing it on the grill to slowly turn and cook. As it is an entire deer, it requires thorough cooking, which is estimated to take over 2 hours. By that time, night will have fallen, and the difficult-to-cook tiger meat will also be ready, promising a truly delightful feast. At this moment, Friday approached, holding 11 or 12 sweet potatoes. Chuangu, the sweet potatoes you planted have matured. Oh, I nearly forgot, Yechuan exclaimed, momentarily taken aback by the sight of the 11 uniformly sized sweet potatoes. Did you save any seeds? He inquired. Not yet, Friday replied candidly. These are to be planted whole, right? Yechuan continued to question, recalling that he had previously planted 2 entire sweet potatoes, which yielded such a bountiful harvest. He felt it was indeed a high yield. Sweet potatoes need to be grown from seedlings before being transplanted, Friday explained. Each sweet potato can produce 3 seedlings. Wow, Yechuan was astonished. He had directly planted the whole sweet potatoes before, and fortunately, they had flowered and borne fruit. All right, you take these 3 sweet potatoes for seedlings, and the remaining 8 we'll eat tomorrow. As he spoke, he accepted only 8 sweet potatoes, washed them, and placed them in the medium-sized oven, setting a timer for 7 a.m. the following morning to begin roasting for an hour. Considering that tonight would be filled with hearty meat and wine, a lighter meal in the morning seemed quite sensible. As night descended, the dishes were finally prepared. Yechuan promptly divided the braised tiger meat and deer meat, ensuring each of the 7 received 500 milliliters of monkey wine. Tonight, we feast on fine fare, braised tiger meat, roasted whole deer, and top-tier monkey wine. Ladies, even if you drink too much, there will be no issue. Boss, you truly killed that tiger? Lu Shuai asked in astonishment. Upon seeing the tiger meat listed on the trading interface, he had his suspicions, but never imagined it to be true. I had help. We collectively took down the tiger. It was no trivial matter. Yichuan replied nonchalantly. What kind of wine is this? It's even more exquisite than the 120,000 a bottle fruit wine I usually drink, Liang Hongying queried. Her skepticism peaked. Though it bore some resemblance in flavor, this wine was richer and more nuanced. Don't overthink it. It's just wine, so drink up. Yichuan laughed heartily. This wine is truly one of a kind. All right, Liang Hongying responded, falling silent afterward. She was not one to indulge in curiosity, more akin to a tough woman, and as Yichuan said, it mattered not what the wine was, just drink it. After replying to a few others, Yichuan finally turned on the television, sipping wine while watching a movie. Apart from feeling a tinge of loneliness, everything else was nearly perfect. However, Yichuan remained oblivious to the figure stealthily trailing the slowly advancing sea turtle from 500 meters away. Chapter 145, Monkey's Revenge, Unyielding. After more than 2 hours had passed, Yichuan had consumed about a pound of monkey wine, feeling utterly relaxed. As if every pore in his body had opened wide. The indescribable sensation was far more exhilarating than consuming S-grade freshwater. Yichuan also became acutely aware of his astonishing appetite. 500 grams of tiger meat, 2 kilograms of deer meat, and an additional 500 milliliters of monkey wine. In the past, he would have estimated that he could barely manage 500 grams of braised tiger meat. Did his increasing strength and combat prowess also lead to a heightened capacity for consumption? This question did not linger in Yichuan's mind for long. After disposing of the leftovers, he prepared to retire for the night when he suddenly heard a faint knock at the door. This startled him momentarily. He was the only living soul on the island. Who could possibly be knocking? Had the 3 little ones failed to maintain their vigilance? With this thought, Yichuan promptly opened the door, revealing Friday, who strode confidently into the room. What is the meaning of this, Friday? Yichuan inquired suspiciously. Brother Chuan. There's a tail following us, Friday replied solemnly, seemingly referring to the monkey. Should we? He gestured dramatically across his throat. Yichuan was taken aback, scrutinizing Friday before asking, Are you truly an agricultural scientist? Your current demeanor resembles that of a street thug, and you act as if addressing me as boss defies some established protocol. Brother Chuan, I merely possess a smattering of knowledge, Friday retorted, a hint of embarrassment coloring his features. Rolling his eyes, Yichuan decided to remain silent for the moment. After a brief contemplation, he shook his head, muttering, The system has determined this fellow is vengeful. We can either eliminate him or subdue him. For he will undoubtedly become a menace otherwise. What do you propose we do? I am at your command. Friday responded without hesitation. Let us proceed this way. Yichuan mused, his eyes darting as an idea formed. The black-faced leaf monkey advanced several hundred meters before halting abruptly, spotting Friday, who regarded it with a mocking expression. You little beast, what do you think you're doing trailing us? Have you been captivated by my striking handsomeness? Squealing in frustration, the black-faced leaf monkey, initially intent on sneaking onto the island under cover of night for revenge, found itself confronted by Friday. With a sharp screech, it charged at him. At that moment, an unnamed stick appeared in Friday's grasp, striking the black-faced leaf monkey with a resounding thud. Both combatants staggered back 3 paces. It was then that Friday noticed the monkey wielding a stick that bore an uncanny resemblance to his own. The black-faced leaf monkey bared its teeth at Friday and launched another attack. In an instant, they were entangled in a fierce struggle, despite the monkey's swift and agile movements. Friday, brandishing his stick with remarkable strength, seemed to employ a highly refined technique. Nevertheless, the black-faced leaf monkey quickly discerned a weakness in Friday's defense, landing a blow to his chest that sent him reeling backward with the force of several hundred pounds. In a fleeting moment, Friday seized the end of the stick and swept it towards the black-faced leaf monkey. The monkey, remarkably agile, appeared to have anticipated Friday's move, leaping backward just before the stick could reach it. However, as its feet barely touched the ground, a large hand suddenly emerged from the ice hole, which had frozen to a mere 5 centimeters in thickness, grasping the monkey's foot tightly and pulling it towards the water. Caught off guard, the black-faced leaf monkey was yanked downward, but in a desperate bid, it managed to place the stick across the ice hole. No matter how fiercely the hand pulled, it could not fully submerge the monkey into the frigid sea. For a moment, both the man and the monkey found themselves in a stalemate. In less than a minute, Friday arrived beside the ice hole, observing the struggling black-faced leaf monkey. With a mighty leap, he kicked forcefully to the side while simultaneously jumping away. The crack spread ominously, and with a sharp snap, the ice fractured, finally pulling the monkey completely into the sea. Simultaneously, the stick came crashing down upon the hand. The hand immediately released its grip, and Yichuan brandished his knife, aiming for the body of the black-faced leaf monkey. Despite plunging into the water, the monkey's movements were as swift as lightning, easily evading Yichuan's attack. After a brief moment of disorientation, it began its counterattack. A dolphin, lurking in the depths, surged forth just as the black-faced leaf monkey retaliated, colliding with it and forcefully propelling it out of the water. "I strike!" Friday bellowed, leaping into the air with the stick in both hands, delivering a blow that struck the black-faced leaf monkey squarely. The unfortunate creature let out a wretched cry, collapsing to the ground, blood streaming from its 7 orifices, a pitiful sight. Yichuan emerged from the water, shedding his diving suit, and casually remarked, "Little one, there's really no deep-seated hatred between us. You needn't pursue me relentlessly, for it is you who will suffer. Wouldn't you agree?" The black-faced leaf monkey screeched defiantly at Yichuan, its exact words lost in the fervor. Yichuan waved his hand, instructing the sea turtle to pause momentarily, then continued, "Little one, if you abandon your vendetta, we could become friends. Just give me a nod. However, if you insist on vengeance, and one of us must perish, then shake your head." The monkey glared at Yichuan with a look of deep resentment before promptly shaking its head. "Ah, how stubborn!" Yichuan exclaimed, taken aback. He then called out, "Friday, bind it up for me." "Understood." Friday promptly showcased his binding prowess, ensnaring the black-faced leaf monkey thoroughly. "I have an idol akin to you, and I truly do not wish to kill you, but I must impose this upon you," Yichuan said, tossing the black-faced leaf monkey onto Turtle Island, leaving Friday to keep watch over it before turning to retreat for some rest. System detected that the host has not yet checked in. Would you like to check in? At 6 o'clock the following morning, accompanied by the system's voice, Yichuan awoke and promptly declared, "Check in." Upon successfully signing in, the host was rewarded with 1,000 evolution points and a compressed wine barrel capable of storing 100 liters of liquid in a completely vacuum state. The compressed wine barrel was a fantastic acquisition, saving me the trouble of procuring expensive beverage containers. Yichuan felt invigorated, estimating the time. If he headed to the island now, he would return just in time to enjoy roasted sweet potatoes. With a plan in mind, Yichuan immediately grabbed the black-faced leaf monkey, and, accompanied by Wang Kai and the Friday, they set off soaring into the azure sky towards the natural island. However, as they entered the island and had yet to land, a barrage of rudimentary spears suddenly rained down upon them. Chapter 146. The monkeys seize the alcohol. Lu's dilemma. Just as Wang Kai was about to descend, he swiftly veered to the side, darting through the trees, causing Yichuan to feel quite nauseated. It was akin to being in a vehicle speeding at 80 miles per hour on a rugged mountain road. Not only would the passengers struggle, but even the driver would find it unbearable. They dashed for several hundred meters, evading the onslaught of the monkeys before finally landing smoothly. Yichuan plopped down onto the ground, taking a moment to recover. They say there are no tigers in the mountains, allowing the monkeys to reign supreme. Had he known, he would have refrained from slaying the tiger and dealt with the monkeys first. Yichuan found himself at a loss for words as he grasped the black-faced leaf monkey and declared, "Friday, let's move." Meanwhile, the monkey horde had caught up, poised to attack, but Yichuan, brandishing the crossbow, aimed it at them, warning, "Anyone who dares to take another step forward will meet the wrath of your king." The monkeys began to screech in distress, gradually retreating. To Yichuan's astonishment, these monkeys were indeed intelligent, capable of understanding human speech. His expression shifted as he entrusted the crossbow and the black-faced leaf monkey to Friday, instructing, "If you notice any monkey daring to make a move, shoot a volley of crossbow bolts at it." "Understood." Friday eagerly accepted the task. "Now all of you get lost," Yichuan bellowed, unleashing an air blast that sent one monkey flying nearly 10 meters before crashing into a large tree, leaving it dazed. In an instant, the remaining monkeys retreated, concealing themselves in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Yichuan paid little mind to these creatures and swiftly approached the stone cave, inserting the small extractor that accompanied the compressed wine barrel deep into the cave to begin the extraction. The transparent liquid flowed incessantly into the compressed wine barrel. After half an hour, as the liquid began to turn murky, Yichuan finally halted. Upon inspecting the barrel, he discovered it had already stored 75 liters, which filled him with exhilaration. This was indeed a fortuitous gain. Stowing away the compressed wine barrel, Yichuan smiled at the black-faced leaf monkey, saying, "Brother monkey, you mustn't hold it against me. We were about to leave, but you insisted on seeking revenge. You can't blame me for turning back, can you? I won't harm you, but I hope you refrain from troubling me further. Otherwise, taking your alcohol will be the least of your worries. The black-faced leaf monkey, in a fit of rage, had its dark visage transformed into a pale countenance. Its eyes, filled with animosity, seemed to harbor a flame that could ignite the very essence of Yichuan. May our future encounters be indefinitely postponed. Gently patting the black-faced leaf monkey on the shoulder, Yichuan called out to the two little ones who had been waiting for quite some time. They soared into the sky, departing once again. It was only at this moment that dozens of monkeys rushed out in a frenzy, beginning to gnaw at the restraints binding their king. Unfortunately, these were mere metallic chains, and breaking free would require a considerable amount of time. The black-faced leaf monkey could no longer contain itself and let out a roar that echoed against the heavens. Friday. Today has truly been a windfall. We procured nearly 100 liters of A-grade monkey wine. I find this more exhilarating than our previous discovery of combustible ice. Yichuan exclaimed animatedly upon returning to Turtle Island. Yet, Friday replied with a tone of melancholy, Brother Chuan, no matter how precious it is, I cannot partake. You promised to find me a wife, and yet I remain disappointed in that regard. Fear not, sustenance will come, as will a spouse, provided you diligently apply yourself. Yichuan replied with a smile. Have the sweet potato seedlings been cultivated? Indeed, they are currently in progress. Friday immediately responded. Additionally, the fruits of the pear, apple, and peach trees are estimated to mature in just a few days. Really? Yichuan's expression brightened. Certainly, Friday affirmed with utmost seriousness. If there is nothing else, you may resume your work. Yichuan nodded, adjusting Friday's collar. Understood, Brother Chuan, Friday replied, promptly immersing himself in the agricultural tasks. Yichuan retreated to his room, where the aroma of freshly baked sweet potatoes wafted through the air. He quickly distributed 7 of them to Zhao Feiyu and the others, declaring, It's time for baked sweet potatoes. Brother, you even have sweet potatoes, and they're baked to perfection. Blueberry Jam exclaimed in astonishment. They were harvested previously, and after planting, they've now matured, Yichuan explained. Enjoy them while they're warm. They become unpalatable when cold. Blueberry Jam replied with an approving gesture. Brother, will you be here by noon? I was delayed last night, so I estimate I'll arrive by evening. Yichuan mused. All right. Blueberry Jam responded with a charming expression before heading off to enjoy the sweet potatoes. These sweet potatoes were indeed fragrant, sweet, and delightfully soft, almost melting in the mouth. Truly remarkable. It seems that in the oceanic realm, whatever one cultivates tastes significantly better than on Earth, Yichuan mused. It must relate to the environment, soil, and nutrient solutions, right? In the future, even if we cease our search for mineral resources and focus solely on cultivating crops, we could still reap considerable profits. As he savored the baked sweet potatoes, Yichuan opened the public chat room, where island leaders were still engaged in discussions about the cloud formation. My goodness, it feels like this cloud is about to hover directly above me. Brothers, what an overwhelming sense of pressure. Is that true? Why haven't I seen it yet? Is it because I am particularly far from you? It is possible that this cloud formation was initially quite distant from me. Yet I have already felt the gentle touch of raindrops, surprisingly warm. Might this cloud be our savior, not only bringing fresh water, but also warmth, heralding the imminent end of the bitter cold? In the current situation, however, uncertainty looms. What if it turns out to be a once-in-a-thousand-years deluge that inundates our island? Can we not adopt a more optimistic outlook? Let us pray for a sweet reprieve, hoping to return to an environment reminiscent of the survival knowledge we have learned on the island. It appears that the island is considerably closer to that cloud than Blueberry Jam, and through our conversations, the warmth brought by the cloud might indeed alleviate the chill of the novice zone. Yet, whether we can revert to our original state remains a mystery. Just then, Lu Yi accepted the roasted sweet potatoes and traded several lychee mushrooms with Yichuan. These were freshly harvested that morning, seemingly of superior quality compared to previous yields. So early to gather mushrooms. Are you aspiring to be a little mushroom forger? Yichuan teased with a toothy grin. Nearby, something had been incessantly striking the ice layer, disturbing my sleep. Lu Yi replied, I cannot discern what it is. It has been crashing for 3 days now, beginning around 4 in the morning and continuing until about 8. Surely, if it were some sort of fish, it wouldn't persistently strike like that, Yichuan mused. Then promptly inquired, can you see what it is? Lu Yi responded, I dare not approach to investigate. If it could break through the ice, it would have done so by now rather than continue its assault for days on end. Tomorrow morning, when it strikes again, perhaps you could venture closer to take a look. Although the ice is thick, it possesses a degree of transparency that might allow you to see clearly. Yichuan suggested. All right, Lu Yi finally replied. In truth, she yearned to express her fear to Yi Chuan, imploring him to come and fetch her. Yet the carefully composed words were ultimately erased. Yi Chuan remained oblivious, merely awaiting Lu Yi's actions come morning. After breakfast, Yi Chuan revisited the wondrous tree. After nearly 2 days of growth, what was once a small protrusion had burgeoned to approximately 5 centimeters, remarkably symmetrical, with several tender buds atop each rise. Though the thickness had not increased. What manner of tree is this? I wonder, scratching my head. And what of that Sky City? What could it be? Does this imply that this tree will ultimately grow to reach the Sky City? Despite my confusion regarding these matters, I chose not to delve deeper. The wondrous tree continued its growth, and in due time, the truth would reveal itself. Departing from the magical tree, Yi Chuan checked on the little lamb and the chicks, both thriving in good health. Moreover, these chicks have become remarkably robust under the influence of grade of freshwater, rendering them nearly impervious to common pathogens. Oh, I have consistently provided you with grade of freshwater. If only your eggs could attain the same quality, it would be splendid. Yi Chuan found himself murmuring to the chicks. Perhaps they understood his words, for a few of them responded with cheerful clucks. This brought a smile to Yi Chuan's face, after tossing them some breadcrumbs. He returned to his room. For now, there were no pressing matters at hand, merely awaiting the moment when he would be 100 nautical miles from the blueberry jam, ready to set out in the hovercraft to fetch her. However, he would have to wait until evening, or even until nightfall. Throughout the day, aside from preparing a meal at noon, Yi Chuan had cycled around the expanding island, listening to the occasional rustle from the woods, pondering whether an opportunity might arise to explore and see if any new creatures had appeared. In the afternoon, Yi Chuan indulged in 2 action-packed films until night fell. Checking the super locator, he noted that he was still over 130 nautical miles from the blueberry jam. Although the hovercraft was more than capable of covering that distance, he preferred to wait until after dinner to embark, just to be cautious. For dinner, Yi Chuan sliced some meat into strips, sautéed them with ginger, garlic, and scallions until fragrant. Then added spinach and over 10 pounds of water, intending to make a pork and spinach egg soup. Once the water boiled, he thickened it with noodles and incorporated 4 whisked eggs, finishing with a generous spoonful of salt before serving. Given the soup's thickness, he decided a simple bowl would suffice for the evening. After a day filled with rich meals, a lighter fare could also reveal delightful flavors. The entire cooking and dining process took nearly an hour. As the clock approached 8 in the evening, Yi Chuan took out the hovercraft, informed Blueberry Jam of his impending departure, and promptly set off toward his destination. It would take just an hour and a half to reach. Fortunately, the hovercraft was equipped with a large windshield. Despite cruising at 70 knots, Yi Chuan felt no chill, although the deafening roar nearly drowned out all other sounds. After more than an hour had passed, he finally caught a glimpse of the elusive island ahead, stirring a sense of excitement within him. They had arrived. One could imagine Blueberry Jam, resembling a forlorn maiden, anxiously awaiting his arrival on the shore. Suddenly, in a moment of distraction, a thunderous sound erupted as the hovercraft suffered 2 massive ruptures, splitting in 2 and propelling Yi Chuan into the air. What on earth? Yi Chuan gasped in astonishment. He then noticed 2 long tentacles emerging from the sea. The hovercraft's destruction was clearly the work of these appendages, and as Yi Chuan descended, the tentacles lunged toward him once more. It was important to note that the hovercraft was constructed from special materials, impervious even to collisions with rocks, let alone being torn asunder. The formidable power of these 2 tentacles is truly terrifying. At that moment, a large blade materialized in my hand, and with almost all my strength, I struck one of the tentacles, accompanied by a faint crackling sound. The appendage was severed in 2, and in an instant, blue blood gushed forth, causing both tentacles to retract into the depths of the sea, vanishing from sight. What exactly was that creature? I hurriedly leaned closer for a better look. Aside from a few droplets of blue blood gradually spreading in the ice hole, there was nothing else. Yet, this was undeniably an exceptionally intelligent marine organism, having carved out a hole near the island, lying in wait to ambush those who passed by. Had I not reacted swiftly, I might have been dragged into the ocean by this creature. I was unaware of what it truly was, and without a diving suit, entering the water would mean certain doom. Was Lu Yi's island also under threat from this entity? In the next moment, a change washed over my expression. What kind of creature persistently battered the ocean's surface? If it were indeed this being, she would be in grave danger. However, I was already 100 nautical miles away from the island, and without the 3 little ones, it would take 10 hours for the sea turtle to arrive here. By then, it would be too late. After contemplating for a while, I couldn't devise a better plan. Lu Yi was probably still awake, so I decided to seek out Blueberry Jam. I would use her tablet to post a message in the public chat room to locate her. The distance of over 100 meters was traversed in just a few minutes on the ice, but the darkness enveloped everything, and I found nothing. Where was everyone? I was momentarily taken aback, then called out loudly, "Blueberry Jam, I'm here." A childlike voice echoed from nearby. As the figure approached in the night, I finally discerned her features. The girl appeared to be under 20, standing around 5 feet 6 inches tall. Though clad in a thick cotton coat, her slender frame was still evident. She possessed an exquisite hourglass figure, perfectly proportioned. Her small face resembled that of a porcelain doll, fair and delicate, with features so refined that they seemed to surpass even the campus beauty, Lu E. No wonder she was a social media sensation with millions of followers. She was truly beyond the reach of ordinary folk. However, it seemed she hadn't washed her hair in quite some time, as it appeared somewhat disheveled. At this moment, the girl had dashed to my side, showing no signs of slowing down as she leapt into my arms. Consequently, I found myself adorned with an unexpected accessory. "Hey, calm down. Get off me." I inhaled deeply, the faint fragrance enveloping me, leaving me somewhat dazed. Surely, this must be the scent of a girl. Unlike the scent of men, which is primarily influenced by testosterone, the fragrance of women is intricately linked to estrogen, predominantly found in their urine. This aromatic essence, when released from the body and mingled with perspiration, culminates in a distinct and personal body fragrance. In summary, Yichuan perceived the scent of blueberry jam, reminiscent of the fresh fragrance of locust flowers. "Don't come down, just don't," exclaimed Blueberry Jam in a delicate tone. "I have spent an entire month here alone. I am both frightened and lonely. Without you, I might have perished." She added, "Such occurrences shall not transpire again." Yichuan resolutely lifted Blueberry Jam and returned her to the ground, taking a moment to assess her before chuckling. "Indeed, you are even more beautiful than I had imagined. Does that mean if you found me unattractive and plump, you would simply turn away?" Blueberry Jam teased. "You are far more handsome than I had expected. Come now, we are comrades destined to fight side by side in this ocean survival, not participants in a matchmaking event." Yichuan retorted with mild irritation. "Moreover, I am not the top contender. Are you suggesting I pledge my heart to you?" "Oh, even the top contender is not so fortunate," Blueberry Jam protested. "You have misunderstood me." Sighing, Yichuan recounted, "I arrived on a hovercraft, only to be ambushed by a sea monster midway, rendering the hovercraft in ruins. Where is your super tablet? I must send a message. I will take you there," Blueberry Jam declared, swiftly guiding Yichuan to her tent. The entire island featured but a single tent, surrounded by trees and stones. Inside the tent, the fragrance of locust flowers was unexpectedly stronger, despite its simplicity. Yichuan inhaled deeply before posting a message in the public chat room. "Louis, please contact me upon seeing this." He sent over 20 messages. Yet after 5 or 6 minutes, silence persisted. He wondered if Louis had already succumbed to slumber or simply overlooked the messages. "Brother, who is Louis? Your wife?" Blueberry Jam inquired curiously. "No, merely a former classmate and now a partner," Yichuan replied, shaking his head. "It seems there is a similar monster near her island. I intended for her to investigate the following morning, but it appears that if she ventures there, her survival is gravely at risk. What shall we do?" Blueberry Jam asked anxiously. Yichuan sent a few more messages, still receiving no response, before asserting, "Then I must summon reinforcements." He then hurried back to the shore, with Blueberry Jam curiously trailing behind. Upon reaching the edge of the water, Yichuan stood silently, gazing at the sea. After 5 minutes of stillness, just as Blueberry Jam was about to inquire, a thunderous crash resounded, as if something was colliding with the ice. The sound of repeated impacts echoed, and moments later, the ice fractured, revealing a dolphin's form surfacing from the depths of the sea. Blueberry Jam gasped in astonishment. "Oh my, a great dolphin!" Yichuan immediately instructed, "Dolphin, return to the island at once, and have Wonkai come to retrieve me." The dolphin called out a few times towards Yichuan before diving back into the ocean. "Brother, is this dolphin your pet? How cool!" Blueberry Jam exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she hugged Yichuan's arm. "Well, it has been my companion throughout my journey." Yichuan replied with a nod. "I thought I gave you a cotton dress. Why are you still wearing that cotton coat?" "I haven't bathed in over a month, and I want to wear it once I'm clean," Blueberry Jam said, sticking out her little tongue. "It's just too beautiful. I don't want to dirty it." "All right, let us wait until you come to my place to take a bath," Yichuan responded directly. "However, if I return this time, it might be until tomorrow morning before I can take you away." "No worries. I'm already thrilled to see you in person," Blueberry Jam replied with a cheerful smile. "Is Wonkai a dog? Can it pull you back like a sled?" "You'll find out soon enough," Yichuan teased. "Humph, making it all mysterious. Blueberry Jam puffed out her cheeks, seemingly a bit sulky. Seeing her expression, Yechuan merely smiled. The two continued their conversation until over half an hour had passed, when Yechuan finally said, "All right, you should get some sleep. I need to head back. Wangkai has arrived?" Blueberry Jam almost blurted out. Just then, Yechuan dashed out of the tent, and under Blueberry Jam's astonished gaze, he leapt high, grabbing hold of a large bird's foot, and then soared into the sky, vanishing from sight. Was that a large bird? Blueberry Jam was utterly astonished. Wangkai was actually a large bird. After more than 20 minutes, Yechuan finally returned to Turtle Island. Immediately rushing into his room to send Lu Yi a message. "The crashing sounds near your island may be caused by a terrifying monster. Do not approach it or concern yourself." Just like with Blueberry Jam, there was no reply. What on earth is going on? Yechuan furrowed his brow, his expression darkening. Could it be that she had gone to investigate and was dragged into the water? After contemplating, Yechuan decided to use the super locator on Lu Yi. Within a few seconds, a red dot flickered on the super locator, accompanied by the message, 2,368 nautical miles. The distance startled Yechuan. It was indeed quite far. However, it also suggested that Lu Yi was safe. Otherwise, if she had truly encountered danger, her island would surely not exist anymore. She must have fallen asleep. "I'll check again tomorrow morning." Yechuan sighed helplessly, noticing that it was already past 11. He heated a cup of goat's milk and casually glanced at the public chat room. The cloud has come, and the rain is here. Chapter 149, The Storm Approaches. Feiyu under attack. Seriously? Is this for real? Is it a snowstorm? Wait, you said it's rain, and weather below 20 degrees Celsius? Though you may not believe me. It truly is rain, and it feels quite warm, seemingly around 20 degrees. The vast cloud formation looms overhead, and I wonder if there is any wind. I observe the clouds drawing closer to me, likely to arrive within a few days. For now, there is no breeze. As I peruse the chat logs, a slight frown crosses my brow. This should be a warm air mass, and its temperature is surprisingly high. However, while such a warm front may initially bring comfort, as it advances, it will inevitably cool down, and its moisture will diminish, ultimately bringing not warmth but a chilling cold to those traversing the islands. How far this warm front will travel remains uncertain. Having finished my goat's milk, Lu Yi has yet to respond. So I decide not to wait any longer and retreat to sleep. After an indeterminate amount of time, I awaken to the sound of rain pouring down. I quickly rise to glance outside, and the scene indicates a deluge. Checking the time, it is around 7 in the morning, yet the world outside remains shrouded in darkness. Could it be that I have already entered the cloud mass overnight? I mutter in surprise, glancing at the super locator, which reveals that I am now just over 20 nautical miles from Blueberry Jam. It seems I shall arrive in about 2 hours. Why has there been no response? I check the super tablet. Lu Yi has not replied, but the super locator indicates that her position remains unchanged, with no anomalies on the island. Surely, she cannot still be asleep? Resolving not to dwell on this matter, I declare, sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host, you have gained 1,000 evolution points. A lucky blind box. Note, there is a chance to obtain manufacturing blueprints, seeds, or fruits. And a feather fragment. Note, 3 feather fragments can be exchanged for 1 angel feather, which will yield unexpected results upon use. A blind box and a feather fragment appearing simultaneously. What a first. My expression shifts. Could this cloud cover be a harbinger of good fortune? With the previous angel feather, I now possess 3. I promptly state, exchange for the angel feather. Angel feather exchange in progress. Please wait. Angel feather exchange successful. Use. I declare immediately. Moments later, I hear a crisp chime, followed by the system's voice. Congratulations, host. You have received a double amplification for 1 day, pending use. Indeed. The angel feather has brought me fortune. I snap my fingers. Double amplification once again. I recall that only a few days after entering the oceanic realm, the angel feather had bestowed upon me a double amplification. I never anticipated such luck would manifest again today. Taking a deep breath, I promptly state, use double amplification. Open the blind box. Blind box opening in progress. Congratulations, host, you have received a full set of air raincoats. With the double amplification in effect, what would have been 1 set has transformed into 2. The air raincoat is essentially a garment approximately 2 centimeters thick. Once donned, an air shield manifests about 1 centimeter from the outer layer of the coat, effectively repelling rainwater. This raincoat operates on electricity, requiring just 2 hours of charging to provide 24 hours of use, which is quite convenient. Without delay, Yichuan took the raincoat to charge, and then prepared 5 pounds of tofu and 1 pound of meat. which he diced before commencing to make a tofu stew in the kitchen. Previously, he had relied on large pots heated over wooden stoves for cooking, and he had not often experienced the act of cooking in a kitchen, as it was generally more convenient to prepare food outdoors. The kitchen lacked natural gas and temporarily utilized electricity, which did not impart the same aromatic quality as meals prepared with wood. 15 minutes later, breakfast was ready, and Yi Chuan divided it into 7 portions, trading one away while simultaneously messaging Blueberry Jam. I will arrive in about 2 hours. Finish your meal, tidy up, take what you need, and discard what you don't. Of course. Blueberry Jam promptly replied with a grinning emoji, adding, wait until I perform a striptease dance for you. Stunned, Yi Chuan could only shake his head in disbelief. He then proceeded to enjoy his breakfast while perusing the messages in the public chat room. How refreshing. This morning, I stripped down and took a shower. Although it's only around 20 degrees, it cleansed away the grime accumulated over the past 20 days. What a delight. 20 degrees ISNT warm. Be careful not to catch a cold, or you might find yourself in trouble. Seriously, do you have any conscience? Are you jealous that it's raining here and we have an abundance of fresh water, prompting such remarks? I can attest that this individual simply wishes for your demise. Devoid of any jealousy. Enough. This cloud is vast and dense. It will soon engulf the entire novice area, and you'll see. Regrettably, I won't be able to witness it. Just now, I heard something knocking beneath the ice layer outside the island, so I went to take a look, and suddenly a tentacle shot out and ensnared my foot. Now, one of my legs below the knee has been severed and pulled into the water. I am on the brink of death. Is this for real? What creature has emerged from the sea? This statement deftly shifted the public discourse to the topic of sea monsters, causing Yi Chuan to recall Lu Yi. The circumstances she encountered mirrored those of the person now speaking, and she had yet to respond to him. Was she also gravely injured? Contemplating this, Yi Chuan felt an inexplicable sense of agitation. After all, Lu Yi was the first friend he had made in the oceanic world, which held significant meaning, especially since he had encouraged her to investigate. If anything were to happen to her just then, Zhao Feiyu chimed in. Having just finished breakfast, this morning, I was unexpectedly attacked. Intelligent life forms exist in the ocean. Are you all right? Yi Chuan asked, startled. Fortunately, I had a weapon. I managed to sever the tentacle just as it was about to pull me into the ice hole. Zhao Feiyu replied. It appears to resemble some sort of cephalopod. Yet I have not glimpsed its entirety, leaving me somewhat uncertain. Damn it, it seems numerous island masters have fallen victim to this creature. I am at a loss as to what it truly is. Yi Chuan gritted his teeth and remarked. However, he surmised that the entity Zhao Feiyu encountered was likely a smaller variant of the creature he faced last night, for otherwise, survival would have been an impossibility. Just as Yi Chuan pondered, Lu Yi finally responded, but only with a series of question marks. Big sister, what on earth have you been doing? Why respond only now? Yi Chuan promptly replied. Last night, I sampled the monkey wine, and it was quite delightful, so I ended up consuming an entire pound. I just woke up and saw your message, Lu Yi weakly replied. You must have been quite worried, right? Worried? That's an understatement. I was practically beside myself with concern. Yi Chuan retorted with irritation. You are fortunate you didn't go. Otherwise, that monster would have dragged you into the sea, leaving no trace behind. Sigh. Had you not warned me, I might have actually gone to investigate. Lu Yi immediately sent a grinning emoji. That's good to hear. It's merely a monster that remains in the water and won't emerge, so you need not fret. Just let it smash the ice. Yi Chuan replied without delay. This is a trap. If you don't go, it will have no way to act. All right, I understand, Lu Yi quickly responded, simultaneously accepting the braised tofu. As time passed, even amid the dark curtain of rain, Yi Chuan finally caught sight of the small island. However, the turtle, which had been progressing slowly, abruptly halted, as if straining but unable to advance. What is happening? Yi Chuan was taken aback and quickly donned his air raincoat, hastily exiting his room and leaping down from Turtle Island. It was then that he realized he was precisely at the spot where he had been ambushed last night. Could it be that the monster had ensnared the turtle? In an instant, Yi Chuan dashed back to change into his diving suit, summoned the dolphins, and plunged into the sea from another location. It was only upon witnessing the colossal marine creature beneath the turtle that he involuntarily gasped. A giant squid. The giant squid, the second largest squid in the world, is inherently ferocious and possesses formidable combat capabilities. The last invertebrate he encountered was a massive octopus. Yet this giant squid appeared several meters larger. At that moment, it had 4 tentacles affixed beneath the ice and another 4 gripping the turtle's belly, effectively imprisoning it and preventing any further movement across the smooth surface of the sea. What the hell? I almost perished at your hands yesterday, Yi Chuan muttered. Pulling the trigger at the giant squid, unleashing a volley of 8 crossbow arrows that shot forth like fine threads of water, all aimed at the formidable creature. Although one of the lengthy tentacles had been severed, the other remained formidable and agile, effortlessly intercepting all the crossbow bolts directed at it and advancing towards Yichuan. This tentacle stretched over 20 meters in length, its tips swollen and adorned with powerful suckers, each lined with sharp teeth. Its speed was astonishing. Should it strike Yichuan, it would surely deliver a grievous wound, if not a fatal blow. In that instant, Yichuan brandished his great sword and struck fiercely at the tentacle. Clang! Boom! The sound of metal resonated as the sword met the sharp teeth. Meanwhile, the dolphin surged forward, its 2,000 pounds of force colliding with the squid's body, causing the colossal squid to shudder violently. In that fleeting moment, a thick plume of ink erupted from the funnel, staining the surrounding sea black within a mere 3 seconds. Yichuan grimaced, quickly retreating to a safer location. During true combat, the squid's speed could reach 15 meters per second, while that of the colossal squid was nearly comparable to a sailfish, with bursts of speed approaching 30 meters per second. As Yichuan attempted to escape, the long tentacle lunged towards him. Indeed, it was remarkably swift. Yichuan inhaled sharply, but fortunately, his agility allowed him to wield his sword with lightning speed, barely managing to block the impending strike. Boom! In the next moment, another thunderous sound erupted as the dolphin raced in from the side. Just as the colossal squid was about to reach Yichuan, it collided with the dolphin once more, causing the squid to veer off its intended path. However, the colossal squid's long tentacle ensnared the dolphin, wrapping its entire body around it, intent on eliminating the dolphin first. Dolphin! Yichuan exclaimed, gripping his sword and charging forward. The dolphin immediately unleashed a sonic wave, sending ripples of sound cascading outward. The colossal squid, closest to the dolphin, bore the brunt of the assault and relinquished its grasp. Seizing the opportunity, the dolphin shot out of the ink-laden area, disappearing in an instant. Yichuan, momentarily at a loss for words as the colossal squid, recovering from its brief disorientation, charged at him once more, shouted in desperation, and prepared to strike. Simultaneously, the crossbow in his other hand fired. The trigger pulled just as the colossal squid closed in within 10 meters. Clang! Thud, thud, thud! The great sword blocked the long tentacle, while all 8 crossbow bolts struck the colossal squid. However, its pliable body allowed the bolts to pierce through, mingling blue blood with the inky blackness, creating an unusual hue. Strangely, this seemed to incite the colossal squid's ferocity. Its entire form surged towards Yichuan. Even amidst the ink, he could discern its row of teeth, reminiscent of a legendary beast. The dolphin, unbeknownst to its location, once again unleashed its sonic interference, causing the colossal squid to instinctively curl its body upon encountering Yichuan. This moment was akin to a fortuitous gift for Yichuan, who summoned all his strength to strike the squid's head with his large blade, nearly the entire length of the 10-centimeter blade sinking deep into the squid's flesh. In that instant, the squid underwent a myriad of color changes, with several of its tentacles flailing wildly in all directions. Yichuan let out a cold huff and swiftly retreated, aided by the dolphin, and within mere seconds, he ascended back to the ice surface. At that moment, the sea turtle had already vacated the icy hole, prompting Yichuan to race back to the island, where he approached the massive automatic fishing gun, diligently searching for the whereabouts of the colossal squid. To his astonishment, the squid had not fled. Yichuan gazed at the image of the colossal squid captured on the device, and after setting the target, he promptly pressed the button. The 5-meter-long fishing gun discharged instantaneously. Striking true. Let us see if you survive this. Yichuan sneered, immediately commencing the retrieval process. Despite the squid's desperate struggles, it was ultimately no match for the modern equipment. 5 minutes later, the colossal squid was hauled ashore, its head struck dead on arrival. However, upon noticing the 2 long tentacles, Yichuan's expression changed. Is this not the one? Chapter 151. The astonished face of blueberry jam. This squid was evidently smaller than the previous one and remarkably intact. The one he had battled had lost half of its long tentacles. Without hesitation, Yichuan dashed back into the water. By now, much of the ink had dissipated, yet the squid had vanished without a trace, seemingly having escaped. Yichuan couldn't help but feel a twinge of fear. Although the struck squid was smaller, it still possessed combat prowess. Fortuitously, it had refrained from joining the fray. Otherwise, facing 2 colossal squids simultaneously would have been quite the predicament. Let it go. If it never returns, so be it. Yichuan murmured softly, glancing at the diminishing distance to the small island, before leaping down and donning the air raincoat as he made his way to Blueberry Jam's island. Blueberry Jam was seated in her tent, observing the torrential rain outside. Upon seeing Yichuan, her expression brightened, and she waved cheerfully. Brother, put on the raincoat. Let us go. Yichuan immediately responded, oh yes. Blueberry Jam nodded vigorously, accepting the air raincoat. Yichuan promptly turned away. Blueberry Jam stifled a giggle, quickly donned the raincoat, and exited the tent. As she watched the torrential rain, she was astonished to see the droplets bounce off her as they neared her. Goodness, what kind of miraculous raincoat is this? How enchanting, she exclaimed. This is an air raincoat, which creates an air shield around the body, Yichuan explained. If this were sold in a live stream, it would surely sell out instantly. Blueberry Jam remarked with wonder. Have you packed everything? Yichuan inquired, a hint of disdain in his tone. Just this tent, the solar heating blanket, and the super tablet. Blueberry Jam pointed towards the tent, questioning whether it was difficult to dismantle in the pouring rain. Forget the tent, just take the solar heating blanket and the super tablet. Yichuan promptly replied. But where will I sleep? Blueberry Jam paused, her cheeks flushing as she added, brother, you don't mean to suggest that I share a bed with you, do you? How embarrassing. You're overthinking it. Yichuan rolled his eyes, swiftly helping to roll up the solar heating blanket while carrying the super tablet, leading Blueberry Jam away from the small island. Brother, is that your island? It's so close to me and quite large, Blueberry Jam exclaimed, her astonishment palpable as they approached the vast turtle island. This is merely a small one. It will grow even larger in the future. Yichuan responded with a chuckle. Really? Blueberry Jam gazed at him in surprise, seemingly perplexed by his words. Upon reaching the island and witnessing the slowly rotating wind turbines and expansive greenhouses, particularly the two-bedroom, two-living-room house, she was left speechless. I feel utterly astounded. Brother, you have such a grand house here. Now do you understand why I didn't let you bring the tent? Yichuan winked at her. I even have a room of my own. As she entered the living room, Blueberry Jam couldn't help but cover her mouth with her hands, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Brother, did you prepare this just for me? You're so kind. First, go wash up and change your clothes. Yichuan replied, somewhat exasperated. Oh my goodness, I can actually take a shower here. Blueberry Jam was overwhelmed with joy, exclaiming, you have no idea how important bathing is for girls. I'm so thrilled. With that, she dashed into the bathroom, and soon the sound of running water filled the air. Brother, half an hour later, Blueberry Jam emerged from the bathroom, twirling around to show Yichuan her adorable cotton dress, which flared out beautifully. He caught a fleeting glimpse of her long legs clad in a skin-toned bodysuit. She had donned a lovely Lolita dress, exuding charm, playfulness, and a whimsical spirit, her long black hair framing her exquisite face like a princess from a storybook. Indeed, the adage holds true, one's appearance can greatly influence perception. Initially, Yichuan had not thought much of Blueberry Jam, but now he realized just how stunning this girl was. What do you think? Seeing Yichuan lost in thought, Blueberry Jam giggled. I was just pondering why such a beautiful girl, who could easily be a social media influencer, would come to seek survival in the ocean. Yichuan mused, stroking his chin. Newcomers at the Ocean Survival University, after 3 years, find themselves in a hellish beginner zone, left to lament their fate. What chance do you have? Blueberry Jam scratched her head, seemingly at a loss for words. You have placed the super tablet by the bedside in your bedroom, equipped with fresh bedding, ready for immediate use. Without further inquiry regarding the Blueberry Jam, Yichuan proceeded to make arrangements. Indeed, Blueberry Jam nodded repeatedly and promptly began tidying up. Observing the solar heating blanket, Yichuan pondered for a moment before transferring it to Liang Hongying, who responded almost instantaneously. A solar heating blanket, truly? Indeed. Yichuan quickly replied, you are aware of my environment. I have no need for it, but you certainly do. It is indeed quite essential for me. Liang Hongying sent a smiling emoji, adding that even dressed warmly, she felt cold at night, exclaiming, you are truly a timely benefactor. Just a little. Yichuan replied with a laughing emoji, clarifying that it had previously belonged to a girl, but was well maintained. No worries. In this weather, who cares about that? Liang Hongying responded with a series of laughing emojis. After their chat, Yichuan immediately warmed 2 cups of goat's milk and, after knocking, handed one to Blueberry Jam. Drink some hot goat's milk. It may be warm, but don't catch a cold in this rainy weather. Brother, why are you so kind to me? Blueberry Jam's eyes glistened with moisture. Oh dear, are you about to cry? Yichuan asked in astonishment. Initially, Yichuan had merely acted out of humanitarian concern, assisting Blueberry Jam by collecting rainwater. However, both the first-class seawater purifier he acquired and the S-class pet egg ultimately belonged to her, underscoring the significance of her assistance to him. Presently aiding her was twofold. Her initial gifts had been invaluable, and she was, after all, his subordinate island master. I have decided. I will reveal to you the reason for my entry into the oceanic world. Blueberry Jam stated earnestly, taking a deep breath. Chapter 152. The Bet Agreement of a Super Internet Celebrity? So serious? Yichuan gazed at Blueberry Jam in surprise. Could there be a remarkable reason behind entering the oceanic world, or some hidden secret? In truth, we, as internet celebrities with millions of followers, are often supported by our families behind the scenes, Blueberry Jam elucidated. I too have such support, and from a prestigious family, no less. This involves a betting agreement. A betting agreement? Yichuan regarded her with skepticism. I have been at odds with a male streamer, often engaging in various competitions, with victories on both sides. Blueberry Jam nodded, explaining that the male streamer belonged to the same family, and that the bet involved their family's substantial financial backing. We both entered the oceanic world simultaneously. Whoever survives the novice phase and establishes a certain influence wins this wager. How foolish is this family to invest billions to support you, supporting internet celebrities? Yichuan questioned incredulously. Unless they are completely out of their minds, such absurdity is utterly implausible. This family possesses considerable power, reportedly amassing assets in the hundreds of billions. And within the realm of the ocean, there are 3 or 4 venerable island lords, each commanding formidable fleets. Blueberry Jam remarked with a smirk, after all, we are internet celebrities with millions of fans, leveraging survival in the ocean as a gimmick. The profits generated from this venture, if managed well, could easily exceed billions. Unfamiliar with your industry, I can only say it sounds impressive. Yichuan ultimately shook his head slightly, giving Blueberry Jam a thumbs up. Those big shots are indeed impressive. Each live stream garners donations in the millions. Blueberry Jam said with a cheerful grin. Once this novice phase is over, we'll dive straight into live streaming ocean life. And every day will yield substantial earnings. A money-making machine. Suddenly, the term struck Yichuan's mind. No wonder the system deemed this girl a high-quality island lord. If she were to focus solely on streaming, the wealth she could amass would be sufficient to establish a fleet. Not to mention the support of her family's hundreds of billions. This is no mere decorative vase. She is, in fact, a moving treasure. Yes, I must ensure she is well taken care of, for her earnings equate to my own. It's manageable, but the waters are quite deep, Blueberry Jam said, playfully sticking out her little tongue. Well, that's the reason I ventured into the ocean world. Now, I have no secrets left from you. All right, I give you a thumbs up. Yichuan nodded, bursting into laughter. Brother, how about I perform a dance for you? Blueberry Jam suddenly changed the subject. Winking at Yichuan, you know what I mean. Flabbergasted, Yichuan rubbed his forehead and promptly declined. Let's wait until after the novice phase when we are safe. Besides, who has the leisure for that right now? That does seem reasonable. Blueberry Jam scratched her head, then cheerfully declared, all right, after the novice phase. I shall dance the most beautiful dance for you. It's a promise. Yichuan nodded vigorously, sealing the pact with a handshake. Brother, why do I see the island I was previously on sinking? After a few minutes, as the sea turtle turned to leave, Yichuan prepared lunch. Blueberry Jam, gazing at the place she had inhabited for over a month, inquired with curiosity. When an island lord dies, or when the tablet is fully transferred elsewhere, the island itself will vanish, Yichuan elucidated, adhering to the rules of the ocean world. I see. Blueberry Jam exclaimed, enlightened. At noon, Yichuan prepared grilled octopus, dividing it into 6 portions before dining with Blueberry Jam in the living room. They found an action movie, and Blueberry Jam, brimming with excitement, exclaimed, goodness, not only do we have a television, but we can also watch the latest films. Brother, this isn't merely surviving on an island. It's clearly a vacation. It's just average. Yichuan chuckled, smiling broadly. Meeting you has exhausted all my good fortune. Blueberry Jam expressed with heartfelt emotion. Brother, I simply adore you. Just eat your food. Yichuan retorted with a playful grimace. Although Yichuan appreciated compliments, excessive flattery could be somewhat discomforting. He chuckled lightly as Blueberry Jam smiled, and began to adopt a serious demeanor. As time passed, and the clock approached 4 in the afternoon, Yichuan watched intently as the clouds drifted away from the area, continuing their slow advance at a pace of approximately 30 nautical miles per hour, nearly 3 times faster than that of a turtle. With the rain having subsided, Blueberry Jam basked in the long-awaited sunlight, stretching her limbs and remarking on the beauty of the island's scenery and the ocean. Brother Chuan. Suddenly, Friday called out at the door. Goodness, there's another handsome fellow, exclaimed Blueberry Jam, her eyes widening in surprise. Brother, you mean there are others on this island? Ah, are you the bride Brother Chuan found for me? Friday immediately noticed Blueberry Jam, remarking on her striking appearance. You're mistaken, your bride is still on her way. This is just my sister. Yichuan quickly stepped out of the room. And you're overthinking it. She is merely a robot that specializes in farming. Brother Chuan, when you call me for help, you didn't mention I was just a farmer. Friday protested. All right. What do you need me for? Yichuan inquired. By the way, the vetiver grass has grown around our area, and as you can see, it's over 30 centimeters tall. I intend to trim it. Would that be acceptable? Friday transitioned to the main topic. That's no problem. You can handle it yourself. Yichuan nodded affirmatively. Very well, I'll get to work. Friday responded before turning to leave. How remarkable. This robot is incredibly advanced. Blueberry Jam exclaimed joyfully. Brother, I've never seen such a robot in our 9 provinces. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have thought she was a real person. The wonders of the ocean world are merely the tip of the iceberg. Yichuan replied nonchalantly. All right then, you go ahead and busy yourself. I'll take a look around. Blueberry Jam said, making her way to the outskirts of the area. Yichuan chuckled and shook his head, glancing at the content in the public chat room. Wow, the clouds are approaching me, and I'm starting to feel a bit anxious. What is there to be anxious about? I can only say it's very warm, and I've stored enough water. I'm simply overjoyed. Be careful. You might catch a bad cold tomorrow. Ugh, why are we talking about this again? Do you enjoy catching colds? I say you have such a severe cold that it could lead to fatal infection. Let us see you act tough then. Suddenly, as he was reading, Yichuan heard a tremendous noise, as if a heavy object had plunged into the water. Chapter 153. The turtle falls into the water, battle with the grizzly bear. Yichuan furrowed his brow and rushed outside, only to discover that the warming temperatures had caused the ice to melt, leaving a mere 30 centimeters of thickness, which could no longer support the weight of the turtle, causing it to tumble back into the water. Despite this, the path ahead remained encased in ice, intensifying the resistance to progress and consequently increasing the expenditure of energy. It was then that he remembered the krill had yet to be fed to the sea turtle, prompting Yichuan to immediately offer the creature 800 pounds of krill. Given that the ice behind them had already fractured, he could continue fishing without concern. Thus providing several hundred additional pounds of sustenance to the turtle posed no dilemma at all. Brother Turtle, we have no pressing matters at hand. You may proceed at a leisurely pace to conserve your strength, Yichuan said with a calm demeanor. Understanding his words, the sea turtle nodded in acknowledgement before resuming its course. Just as Yichuan intended to take a moment of respite, a sharp scream emanated from the vicinity of Blueberry Jam. What the? Yichuan furrowed his brow, wondering if she had encountered the enormous turtle head and been startled. With that thought, he dashed towards her, only to discover that she had ventured into the woods. Wang Kai and Wang Yun had already caught up to him, while Yichuan readied his sword and crossbow. However, upon seeing what Blueberry Jam was facing, he paused in astonishment. Is that a bear? An Alaskan brown bear, capable of reaching speeds of up to 56 kilometers per hour. Generally docile when unprovoked, it becomes exceedingly ferocious when startled. The system provided an informative commentary. In a hushed tone, Yichuan advised, Sister, this bear is not particularly aggressive. Let us withdraw slowly. If we can avoid confrontation, we shall. Okay. Blueberry Jam gulped nervously, retreating cautiously. I've only seen brown bears in wildlife parks, and they were significantly smaller than this one. This bear is colossal. Shouldn't it be hibernating in this cold weather? The affairs of the ocean world are far more complex than we imagine, Yichuan replied, somewhat irked. I too find it odd that you encountered a brown bear. It has been several days since the forest evolved, and I have yet to see one. How could I know? Blueberry Jam said, her voice tinged with distress. Just then, the brown bear suddenly stood upright and let out a thunderous roar, startling Blueberry Jam into another scream. The high-pitched sound sent even the birds hiding in the shadows soaring into the sky. The bear, evidently irritated, charged towards them. Goodness! It merely roared. Why provoke it? Yichuan exclaimed in disbelief. I didn't provoke it. I just run. Blueberry Jam protested, feeling wronged. Just as she attempted to explain, Yichuan's sharp command startled her, prompting her to flee towards the edge of the woods. Meanwhile, Yichuan swiftly raised his crossbow, releasing a volley of bolts. To his astonishment, the bolts that could pierce stone failed to penetrate the bear's thick hide. This is rather unexpected, Yichuan exclaimed, and as he retracted the crossbow, he leaped high into the air, spinning as he aimed a powerful strike at the bear's head. The brown bear let out a low growl, its massive paw swiping at the gleaming blade. Thud! A dull sound resonated, leaving Yichuan with a tingling sensation in his hands, prompting an immediate retreat. This bear was unexpectedly more formidable than the tiger he had encountered previously. As Yichuan withdrew, the bear was relentless, advancing with heavy strides. its enormous paw poised to strike again. System, how should I deal with this creature? Yichuan inquired while dodging the bear's assault. Attention, host. Do not become overly reliant on the system, lest you squander your boundless potential. The system replied unexpectedly. According to comprehensive data analysis, you can indeed overcome the Alaskan brown bear using your own strength. How infuriating. Yichuan muttered, momentarily speechless, as the bear lunged once more. He directed an air cannon at its head. Though it caused no real harm, it temporarily halted the bear's momentum. Seizing the opportunity, Yichuan darted behind the bear, keenly observing it for vulnerabilities. Once the bear shook off the discomfort from the air blast, it began to scour its surroundings for Yichuan. Suddenly, a realization dawned upon him. The bear possessed a critical weakness, its poor eyesight. With renewed determination, Yichuan steadied himself, gripping his blade tightly, and struck fiercely at the back of the bear's head. Boom! The resounding impact echoed across the island. At that moment, the bear halted, slowly turning its head, its small eyes locking onto Yichuan's gaze. Feeling a tremor coursing through his arms, Yichuan couldn't help but chuckle nervously at the bear's murderous glare. Hey there, big fella. Roaring in fury, the bear lunged at him with a powerful swipe. Without hesitation, Yichuan turned and fled. The bear had already marked him as prey and would not allow him to escape, swiftly pursuing him on all fours. Realizing that even his blade could not pierce the bear's hide, he resolved to utilize other means. After 20 seconds, he arrived at the imposing automatic fishing gun and began to operate it rapidly. The bear, now consumed by rage, had ceased to think rationally and charged at Yichuan when only 5 or 6 meters away. With a sharp sound, the 5-meter-long fishing gun discharged, instantly embedding itself in the bear's abdomen. The tremendous force propelled the massive creature, weighing over 700 kilograms, backwards more than 20 meters. Breathing a sigh of relief as he observed the motionless bear on the ground, Yichuan felt grateful for the efficacy of the heavy weapon. Had it not been for this, even with his rapid healing ability, he would have faced dire consequences. Now, you have no breath left, do you? After a full minute passed without any movement from the bear, Yichuan scoffed, brandishing his blade as he approached. Roar! Upon approaching the brown bear, Yichuan boldly kicked its head, yet the creature remained unresponsive. Just as Yichuan began to relax his guard and prepared to retrieve his fishing spear, the bear suddenly sprang to its feet, claws bared, lunging towards him. Alarm surged within Yichuan, prompting him to leap back several meters in an instant. Chapter 154. Harvesting Honey. Preparing bear paw. The bear missed its target and immediately charged once more. Damn it, it's got a gaping wound in its belly. And yet it still lives. This creature's vitality is astonishing, Yichuan muttered, pressing the retrieval button at a critical moment. As the reinforced steel cable rapidly retracted, the spear jolted violently within the bear's body before returning to his equipment. The bear staggered forward, blood finally oozing from its wounds. Yet its small eyes remained fixed coldly on Yichuan, its face contorted with rage. My sister merely let out a scream, and look where we are now. You can't blame me for this predicament, Yichuan said, raising his hands in a gesture of surrender. Now that you're in this state, you might as well embrace your fate. With a reluctant roar, the bear charged again, evidently intent on taking Yichuan down with it. Stubborn creature. Yichuan shook his head and pressed the button once more. The fishing spear shot forth again, this time aimed at the bear's chest, piercing through its heart. The bear flew backward, landing nearly 10 meters away, standing still, yet its eyes remained locked onto Yichuan. Is it not blind? How can it still see me from such a distance? Yichuan murmured, choosing to ignore it this time as he turned to leave. Whether it was a trick or not, he decided to wait a while, perhaps 10 or 30 minutes. However, in this vast forest, what could possibly have drawn a bear that should be hibernating? Was there something enticing it? Bears are particularly fond of honey. Could there be a source of honey hidden somewhere in the woods? With this thought, Yichuan called for his 2 small companions and ventured back into the forest. Each evolution of the woods brought a new visage, and the scenery had changed considerably from before. Yichuan felt an unsettling presence, as if other predators lurked within the forest, perhaps watching him from the shadows. He pressed onward, taking more than 10 minutes to reach the heart of the woods. Here, the trees towered, many exceeding 30 meters in height. The trunks were not the only impressive feature. Even the branches above 15 meters were as thick as an adult's thigh. Though these details were not Yichuan's primary concern, to his astonishment, he spotted rows of enormous, nearly semicircular yellow honeycombs hanging from the branches. The honey was so viscous that a layer of it coated the ground, attracting ants and small insects in search of sustenance. Indeed, the entire tree was bustling with at least hundreds of thousands of bees, each diligently performing its duty. By heavens, this is a veritable treasure, Yichuan exclaimed in disbelief. The roe bee, an untamed species of wild bee, derives its name from its unique nesting structure, which resembles a roe and is typically suspended from tree trunks or cliffs. The honey produced by these bees is regarded as one of the world's most exquisite varieties. At that moment, the system provided an introduction, grade A roe bee honey. When consumed, can enhance physical constitution, eliminate ailments, and promote longevity. Remarkable. Yichuan couldn't help but laugh heartily. However, a significant dilemma soon presented itself. How could he transport such a large quantity of honeycomb? Without delay, Yichuan departed from the site and confirmed that the brown bear was indeed deceased. He promptly retrieved his fishing spear and began to process the bear. An hour later, bolstered by a doubling effect, Yichuan acquired 8 massive bear paws and 1,500 pounds of bear meat. As for the bear bones, he planned to sell them, as they would make excellent broth. Tonight, he would feast on braised bear paws. Gazing at the 8 bear paws, Yichuan nodded in satisfaction, simultaneously contemplating a method to extract the honeycomb. After all, today was marked by a doubling effect. Such an opportunity would not come again. He swiftly cleaned the 8 bear paws and placed them into a large pot to boil, knowing that it would require at least 2 hours of cooking. Yichuan informed Blueberry Jam and donned his diving suit, hastily entering the woods. "Brother, what is he up to?" Blueberry Jam muttered, watching Yichuan disappear, before lifting the pot lid, only to quickly close it again, exclaiming, "Ugh, it stinks." The diving suit, made from shark skin, was not only highly flexible, but also remarkably soft, capable of withstanding the roe bee's attacks. Climbing a tree over 10 meters high took Yichuan mere seconds. He then produced a long, sickle-shaped hook, effortlessly slicing through the honeycomb, which was about 5 to 6 centimeters thick. However, this action incited the industrious roe bees, which swarmed to attack Yichuan, but their efforts proved futile. In just over an hour, Yichuan managed to harvest more than 30 pieces of honeycomb, each roughly a meter in diameter. With the doubling effect, this amounted to over 60 pieces, totaling more than 1,000 pounds. He decided to leave behind a dozen or so larger honeycombs, adhering to a spirit of humanitarianism. What is the result? Upon returning to the front of the house, Yichuan inquired with a smile, "Brother, what is this? It smells terrible." Blueberry Jam pinched her nose, having nearly retched moments before. "It may smell now, but soon it will transform into a delicacy," Yichuan replied cheerfully, handing Blueberry Jam half a pound of honeycomb as a reward. "Holy cow, honey!" Blueberry Jam's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I used to eat honey every day. This is no ordinary honey. You will soon discover its true nature." Yichuan winked at her. "Whatever my brother gives me must be extraordinary," Blueberry Jam gleefully exclaimed before turning to run off and indulge in her treat. Yichuan retrieved the bear paw, meticulously plucking the fur and removing the claws and pads, before returning it to the pot, adding cold water, and simmering it once more. The meat was significantly tougher than wild boar, requiring at least an additional 3 hours of slow cooking for proper preparation. During this time, Yichuan extracted 1,000 pounds of brown bear meat, along with some bear bones, 300 grams of bear meat, and 500 grams of bones, each available for trade for planks, stones, metal sheets, and other items. This action ignited a wave of excitement in the public chat room. "My goodness, just a few days ago there was tiger meat for sale, and now, bear meat. I'm starving here, and they are hunting bears. Truly, it's a competition that leaves one astounded. Have you considered that the sellers of tiger and bear meat might be the same person? What a joke! Could such an extraordinary individual exist? And if so, where do they find these ferocious beasts? What is the big deal? I just killed a giant squid today." Chapter 155. Only gourmet delights should not be disappointed. "You? Who do you think you are, capable of slaying a giant squid? What nonsense. Just after lunch, I heard something striking the ice, so I went to investigate, and a giant squid charged at me. Fortunately, I had a spear and thrust it fiercely, killing it instantly." "Stop your nonsense. A giant squid can battle a whale, and you claim to have killed it with a single thrust? Why not say you blew it up with a breath? Believe it or not, it matters little to me. However, this giant squid had a tentacle severed. Perhaps it had just fought a whale or something. Even so, it wouldn't have been your place to deliver the fatal blow. Fool." Observing these messages, Yichuan felt a sense of relief. Setting aside other concerns, he was reassured that the giant squid he had encountered was indeed dead, alleviating his fears of a sudden attack. Nevertheless, he pondered the distance to the island master. It was astonishing that the giant squid had reached him in such a short span of time. "Brother, your restroom is incredibly advanced, especially this toilet. I've never encountered such a sophisticated one in the 9 provinces," exclaimed Blueberry Jam as she emerged from the restroom, her excitement palpable. When the water sprayed out, it startled me. Considering you have millions of fans, could you display a bit more sophistication? Yichuan retorted, slightly disdainful. I was genuinely surprised. Blueberry Jam pouted, muttering softly. Is the honey all gone? Yichuan quickly shifted the topic. I only went to the restroom because I finished the honey. Blueberry Jam's smile returned, her expression brightening. It even aids in promoting digestive movement. Products from my brother are always top-notch. She giggled, striking a playful pose. Yichuan couldn't help but smirk slightly before speaking. Sister, why don't you help me stoke the fire? Together, we shall create a culinary masterpiece. Of course. Upon hearing this, Blueberry Jam nodded enthusiastically like a chick pecking at grains, and promptly dashed out of the room. Yichuan, on the other hand, made his way to the shore. He had almost forgotten what the island's master had mentioned. After defeating the colossal king squid, he had discarded it on the beach, and it was about time to address that matter. Trading it would yield substantial rewards. He kept 2 ink sacks for himself while listing everything else. Just as Yichuan completed the listing of the squid meat, Blueberry Jam exclaimed in shock. Yichuan, with an expression of disbelief, thought there shouldn't be any issues, as they had not strayed out of the circle of fragrant grass. Brother, I've just realized that our island has been moving all along. Blueberry Jam exclaimed wide-eyed. It turns out to be a giant sea turtle. How enormous. This is the ocean world. There's no need to be overly astonished, Yichuan remarked with a slight smirk. Otherwise, how do you think I traversed thousands of nautical miles to find you? True. Blueberry Jam scratched her head, nodding thoughtfully. Disregarding Blueberry Jam, Yichuan proceeded to gather a dozen large abalones and grouper, adding various seasonings such as sugar, salt, and soy sauce to prepare a stew. Subsequently, he retrieved 2 pounds of flour and began washing it with water. After several minutes, he finally extracted the gluten, leaving behind the starch. While the sediment could be steamed into cold noodles, what Yichuan needed at this moment was the starch. The process of preparing braised bear paws required a crucial step of thickening the sauce. As the ingredients were rare, even with insufficient materials, he aimed for perfection. After simmering the abalone and grouper soup for over half an hour until it yielded its essence, he poured in the starch water to thicken the sauce while placing the bear paws, which had been cooked for 3 hours, into ice to cool them down. Once the soup thickened to near perfection, he set up a steamer to cook the bear paws, pouring the thickened sauce over them. By this time, darkness had already enveloped the surroundings, yet Blueberry Jam excitedly burst out of the room. Brother, what is that? It smells divine. That is the very thing you complained about this afternoon. It has now shed its impurities, leaving only the essence, Yichuan explained. Soon, you will savor an unparalleled delicacy. I am truly looking forward to it. Blueberry Jam exclaimed, eagerly rubbing her little hands together. After 10 minutes, Yichuan finally completed the preparation of the bear paws, trading 6 portions to Zhao Feiyu and the others. Lu Youai couldn't help but express her astonishment. No way, is this really bear paw? Today was rather fortunate. I managed to take down a bear, Yichuan replied with a toothy grin, having specially prepared this braised bear paw dish. But there are only 4 bear paws in total. How could you possibly give me a whole one? You can't be the sole subordinate island master, can you? Lu Youai inquired, somewhat conflicted. Perhaps I could trade back half to you? No, you absolutely deserve to savor a bear paw all by yourself. Yichuan immediately declined, insisting that they should share just half. Isn't that a bit excessive? Lu Youai remained conflicted. Trust me, you won't regret it. Yichuan asserted with an air of authority. Eat up. This is an order. Well, if you insist. Lu Youai finally sent a playful emoji. Far across the ocean, a girl clad in a winter coat and wearing glasses gazed longingly at the braised bear paw before her, inhaling deeply before murmuring softly. Why is he so kind to me? Could it be that? At this thought, the girl vigorously shook her head. No, it can't be. How could I think that? We've never even met. Yichuan then replied to Lu Yi and the others before making his way to the living room, where he selected an action film. Meanwhile, Blueberry Jam exclaimed once more, Brother, this is so delicious. Naturally, we've been preparing since lunch, Yichuan chuckled. In this world, only exquisite food must not be overlooked. Hee. Upon hearing this, Blueberry Jam burst into laughter. The two indulged for an entire hour, finishing the movie around 9 in the evening. Blueberry Jam then hurried off to freshen up, waving her little hand at Yichuan. Good night, brother. Good night. Yichuan replied with a smirk before retreating to his room. Glancing at his tablet, Yichuan was surprised to see a message from Wang Sanrui, prompting him to respond. Are you looking to purchase bear meat or squid? No, I intend to buy basic resources from you. Wang Sanrui replied. Chapter 156. Wang Sanrui makes a bold move, skill card you. Yichuan was taken aback. This fellow had always traded rare materials for food and water, yet now he sought basic resources? Yichuan couldn't help but smile, quickly asking my friend, "You must understand that my basic resources are limited. You'll need to show some substantial goodwill, or it seems I won't be able to trade with you." "Are you familiar with skill cards?" Wang Sanrui asked, gritting his teeth and speaking earnestly. "Skill cards?" Yichuan was momentarily stunned. "Indeed. They are cards that can be applied to pets or ships." Wang Sanrui stated seriously, "However, the skills are random. I cannot guarantee what skill you will receive. How can I trust that this is genuine? I've been in the ocean world for over a month, and this is the first time I've heard of such a thing." Yichuan replied, somewhat irritated. Wang Sanrui snorted, promptly placing a skill card in the trade window. Yichuan then beheld a card the size of a playing card, adorned with an image of a three-headed dragon, lacking any other distinctive features, resembling merely a game card. "System, is there truly such a thing as a skill card?" Yichuan inquired with skepticism. "Skill cards have a 1 in a million chance of being drawn and can yield various skills. They are exceedingly precious." The system promptly explained. "Wow, system. You're quite the trickster." Yichuan was momentarily taken aback, and then, speechless, remarked, "To possess you is akin to having an advantage. Yet, the minuscule chance of acquiring that pet egg was not mine, and now this so-called skill card is also not in my possession. Shouldn't you be exclusively devoted to me?" The system promptly clarified. "Moreover, even if it was not summoned by the host, in the end, did it not ultimately belong to the host?" "Your words leave me utterly speechless." Yichuan was momentarily rendered mute. "Friend, are you going to make the trade or not? I sacrificed an affiliated island master for this skill card." Seeing Yichuan's delayed response, Wang Sanrui grew impatient. "How much do you want for it?" Yichuan inquired, furrowing his brow. 1,000 nails, 1,000 wooden planks, 1,000 metal sheets, 1,000 plastics, 1,000 glasses, and 1,000 stones, Wang Sanrui promptly enumerated. "Goodness, that is a lot." Yichuan replied instantly. Of course, for Yichuan, these demands were hardly a challenge. He had traded far more than this just that day. However, despite the skill card's rarity, he still sought to negotiate. This skill card was obtained at the cost of a life. Wang Sanrui retorted swiftly. "Isn't a life worth this meager amount of resources? If we were in Jiuzhou, it would indeed be valuable, but here in the hellish beginner's zone of the ocean world, lives are worth little." Yichuan countered, "I am quite interested in the skill card, but that does not justify your exorbitant demands. You must add something more. Friend, do not push your luck." Wang Sanrui snapped through gritted teeth. "Whether we trade is entirely up to you. I am indifferent," Yichuan replied, sending a shrugging emoji. Since Wang Sanrui had uttered that, it was clear he needed the resources, indicating that the skill card was something Yichuan must obtain. The island area expansion card. Wang Sanrui was so enraged he trembled. "I can only add one more island area expansion card at most." "Very well, since you have made a concession. I cannot be unreasonable. I shall begrudgingly proceed with the trade," Yichuan stated, promptly completing the transaction with Wang Sanrui. Wang Sanrui's expression turned ashen. Glaring intensely at Yichuan's ID, he enunciated each word, "Revel while you can. When the ice melts, it shall be your demise." With that, he began to utilize a portion of the resources to upgrade the wooden house into a studio apartment. Meanwhile, Yichuan, gazing at the skill card, was filled with excitement. With the doubling enhancement, he had obtained 2 cards, and he immediately applied the final triple value card, transforming the original skill card into 6. "Fantastic. Tomorrow, I shall employ it on my turtle, dolphin, and the 3 little ones." Yichuan laughed heartily, perusing the public chatroom messages, collecting the resources he had traded until past 11 in the evening, when he finally decided it was time for bed. "Brother, rise and shine." In a state of drowsiness, Yichuan was suddenly startled by the sound of blueberry jam, initially believing it to be a figment of his dreams and paying it no mind. However, just moments later, a warm finger pressed against his nose, prompting him to open his eyes wide. Before him stood the small face of blueberry jam. "What are you doing?" Yichuan furrowed his brow and inquired in a low tone. "I noticed you hadn't gotten up by 8, so I thought something might be wrong and came in." Blueberry jam retreated a few steps, looking quite aggrieved. "Are you angry? This room is rather private. Can you just stroll in like that?" Yichuan replied, a hint of irritation in his voice. "Please step outside now and refrain from entering uninvited in the future." "Oh." Blueberry Jam's pouting lips could almost tether a donkey as she hurriedly turned to leave. Sighing, Yichuan mused, having a companion can be both a blessing and a curse. He shook his head in mild exasperation before saying, "Time to check in. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host, for receiving 1,000 evolution points, 5 wooden planks, and 1 greenhouse manufacturing blueprint." The system's voice resonated. Regrettably, the double reward bonus had vanished. Otherwise, he could have obtained 2 greenhouse blueprints. With gains come losses, Yichuan reassured himself. Heading out to freshen up, he called out, "Blueberry jam, what do you want for breakfast?" "Anything made by my brother is exquisite. I love it all." Blueberry jam responded eagerly. "How about some corn porridge?" Yichuan suggested. Yes, yes. Blueberry jam nodded enthusiastically, clapping her small hands in delight. Without delay, Yichuan boiled a pot of water, then added the corn flour mixed with cool water. Within mere seconds, the enticing aroma of the porridge wafted through the air. After simmering for a while longer, he served 8 bowls and announced, "It's early morning, and I'm not sure what else to have. So let us all enjoy a warm bowl of corn porridge." The corn porridge was quite delightful. He often enjoyed it in the evenings back home. "It's been a while. I'm suddenly feeling nostalgic for my hometown." Lu Youai smiled. "Then let us make it a regular thing." Yichuan replied promptly. Hum. Lu Youai's eyes sparkled as her joy illuminated her face. Having swiftly finished his bowl of corn porridge, Yichuan could hardly contain his excitement and dashed outside, eager to bestow skills upon the sea turtles. Chapter 157, Skill Enhancement, Discovering Diamonds. After reaching level 10, the sea turtles possessed the skills of water bomb and reverse flow. Yichuan clasped the skill card with both hands, praying for a particularly formidable skill before using it on the sea turtle. As a soft glow illuminated the scene, the skill card transformed into twinkling specks before vanishing. Yichuan promptly opened the Sea Turtle's information panel. Island Master. Yichuan type. Sea Turtle level. 10-0-1-2-0-0-0. Skills. Water Bomb. Intermediate. Reverse Flow. Beginner. Absolute Gravity. Talents. Longevity. Rapid Healing. Crawling. Indeed, another skill had been acquired. Absolute Gravity. The system promptly provided an introduction. Absolute Gravity, which requires the host's command to activate. The turtle can ascend 1 meter above the surface of the sea within 3 seconds, only to crash down heavily, generating a force equivalent to 1,000 tons, capable of shattering any foes beneath it. Furthermore, within a radius of 1 kilometer, it creates massive waves that can disrupt and potentially annihilate enemies. This skill is indeed quite astonishing. Yichuan nodded slightly, though it seemed that this skill does not possess a level. Perhaps it becomes progressively more potent with the turtle's increasing weight. Subsequently, Yichuan simultaneously applied 3 skill cards to the 3 little ones, and then opened the information panel. Name, Albatross Level, 8, Growth Stage, Evolution Value, 04500 Skills, Diving Talents, capable of grasping objects weighing up to 120 kilograms. Flame Feather Arrows, 8, Talents, Diving, Fishing, Flying, Long-Distance Navigation. The 3 little ones acquired the same skill, named Flame Feather Arrows, which transforms their feathers into arrows that shoot down with the speed and surprise akin to rotating crossbow bolts, albeit with less force, suitable only for ambushes. An 8th level albatross can fire 8 flame feather arrows, and it is likely that as their levels increase, the number of arrows will also rise. However, Yichuan was unclear as to why they were called flame feather arrows. The system did not provide an explanation. Perhaps, as the 3 little ones elevate their levels, the mystery will eventually be unveiled. Next came the dolphin. Yichuan smiled slightly and immediately used a skill card on the dolphin. Then opened its information panel. Name, Dolphin Friendliness, 100 level, 10 Evolution Value, 06000 Skills, Sonic Disruption, Intermediate, Absolute Impact, Intermediate, Shared Vision, 10s, Talents, Deep Diving, 1800 meters. Note, Absolute Impact allows the dolphin to attack with its head, with a strength equivalent to a 2,000-pound force. Shared Vision requires the host's active engagement. The images the dolphin observes can be transmitted to the host's mind. But a level 10 dolphin can only share for 10 seconds and may do so only once a day. Despite this limitation, it was enough to bring joy to Yichuan, who immediately urged the dolphin to dive swiftly to the ocean floor. Upon nearing the seabed, he activated the skill. Instantly, the underwater scenery flooded into Yichuan's mind. Sea dragons, sailfish, lanternfish, and a myriad of other creatures swimming freely. Many fish fled at the sight of the dolphin. The seabed was strewn with sand, inhabited by flounders, hermit crabs, and many peculiar little beings. Yichuan even spotted a pink object resembling a diamond. However, before he could examine it closely, the 10 seconds elapsed, prompting Yichuan to instruct the dolphin to retrieve the stone. Moments later, a dolphin leaped majestically from the ocean, simultaneously expelling a pink crystal, scarcely smaller than a ping-pong ball, towards Yichuan. He quickly seized it and examined it, finding it strikingly reminiscent of a diamond. System, what is this? He inquired. Diamond, the system promptly replied. Indeed, it was a diamond. Yi Chuan's expression shifted with intrigue. The diamond's raw material, known as diamond ore, can be transformed into a brilliant gem through meticulous processing and cutting. Although the myth of diamonds has been somewhat debunked, larger diamonds continue to capture the admiration of many. This particular diamond ore was no less than 2,000 carats. Once refined, it could yield at least 1,000, perhaps even 1,300 carats. Without delving into the specifics, it could surely fetch at least 1,000,000, could it not? Hey, dolphin, are there many of these down in the depths? Yi Chuan pondered aloud, prompting the dolphin to nod affirmatively, which ignited a spark of excitement within him. He immediately instructed the system to mark this location's coordinates, eagerly anticipating a future treasure hunt for diamonds or a lucrative sale. As for the last skill card, should it be employed on the sea turtle? At that moment, Yi Chuan retrieved his final skill card, musing to himself in a state of indecision. Note: each evolved beast may only utilize one skill card. Additional uses are ineffective. The system chimed in. By the heavens! This revelation left Yi Chuan momentarily speechless. Having utilized his last triple value card to acquire 6 skill cards, he now found himself unable to employ the final one. This predicament was utterly exasperating. Ultimately, he could only sigh in resignation, accepting this reality, and subsequently broadcast a message in the public chat room. I possess a skill card, applicable to your pets, bestowing them with formidable abilities. There is only one available. Act swiftly if interested. Goodness, there's even such a thing as a skill card, yet people can scarcely sustain themselves, let alone care for pets. Is there something wrong? Oh, just because you lack a pet doesn't mean others do. The oceanic realm is vast, and the surviving island masters surely number in the millions. Surely, some must have pets. If there are indeed pet owners, wouldn't this skill card enable their pets to assist them in battle? How exhilarating. You're overthinking it. If you had a little hamster, what do you think it could do with a skill? Strangely enough, I do have a hamster. Once I surpass the novice phase, I'll have my family trade it to me. Oh dear, look at you boasting. Do you truly believe you'll survive beyond the novice phase? In just over a month, dangers abound. What merit do you possess to last through the next 4 months? How dare you curse me? In an instant, the island masters erupted into fervent debate over the matter of pets. However, Yi Chuan observed for several minutes and noted that none of the island masters openly admitted to having a pet. However, the probability of acquiring a skill card is a mere 1 in a million. Given the 30 million island masters, it stands to reason that there would be at least 30 with pets. Even accounting for those who may have perished, it seems implausible that I would be the sole remaining island master with a pet in this vast novice area. Just as Yi Chuan found himself in a quandary, a message finally arrived from an island master. Chapter 158, Vegetable Seed Pack, Silk Armor. It appears that the ocean world is indeed teeming with hidden talents. Yi Chuan couldn't help but nod slightly and immediately inquired, "What do you have that I might find valuable?" The other party promptly responded, "The most precious item I possess at the moment is a vegetable seed pack." "What 5 varieties?" Yi Chuan's interest was piqued. "I'm afraid I cannot specify," came the reply. The description merely states that it contains 5 types of vegetable seeds, but does not clarify which ones. It may be a matter of luck. In this cold weather, even vegetable seeds would struggle to thrive. Yi Chuan replied, expressing his skepticism with a shrug emoji. "Is that all you have? Brother, do you have any idea how crucial vegetable seeds are? In this oceanic realm, a month without greens could lead to septicemia," came the swift retort. "I believe my vegetable seed pack is quite valuable." "Then it appears there is no negotiation to be had." Yi Chuan responded with a smiley emoji. "Very well. Perhaps you'll get lucky and encounter a unique skill card." "Wait," the other party quickly replied. "I also possess a set of summer clothing, made of silk. I have tested it, and a dagger leaves no trace upon it." "So, you're saying this is an impenetrable silk armor?" Yi Chuan inquired with intrigue. "Indeed," the other party replied earnestly. "It is guaranteed. If that is the case, a trade can certainly be arranged," Yi Chuan declared, placing the skill card into the trading slot. The other party likewise listed the clothing and vegetable seed pack, and they promptly completed the transaction. "My friend, after just trading the skill card to you, you intend to pass it on to someone else?" Wang Sanrui, having seen the message, immediately contacted Yi Chuan. "We have completed the trade. It is mine now. I do not possess a pet or anything of the sort. Can I not trade it away?" Yi Chuan replied curtly. "What is it to you? Are you trying to meddle?" "I was merely inquiring," Wang Sanrui responded, falling silent thereafter. Wang Sanrui was acutely aware that some island masters possessed pets with formidable combat prowess. He had long desired to challenge Yi Chuan, and although uncertain of Yi Chuan's overall capabilities, he had discerned that the latter lacked any powerful pets. Thus, his chances of triumphing over Yi Chuan had significantly increased. Yi Chuan, let us see how you meet your demise this time. The t-shirt and shorts acquired through the trade were entirely white, adorned with an elegant design inspired by the 9 provinces. They exuded a profound sense of artistry, and their texture felt refreshingly cool to the touch, offering an exquisite sensation. Based on the words of the island's master, Yi Chuan unsheathed a large blade and, finding a stone, struck it down with great force. Accompanied by a resounding crash, the stone shattered, yet his t-shirt bore no marks of the blade's strike, nor was there a speck of dust upon it. Indeed, it appeared impervious to harm, possessing an automatic dust-cleaning feature. Yi Chuan marveled to himself, suggesting that with this outfit, he could wear it all summer without needing a change. Delightful. He chuckled heartily, then turned his gaze to the seed packets and promptly opened one, revealing seeds for tomatoes, green beans, leeks, cabbage, and okra, each variety containing 30 seeds. In truth, these seeds were more valuable than the outfit itself. With a smirk, Yi Chuan handed the seeds to Friday, exclaiming, "It seems you have much to do in the coming days. My purpose is to cultivate the land." "This is what I must do," Friday replied without hesitation. "Is there no land available?" Yi Chuan inquired, nodding in understanding. "I possess fertile black soil. I can clear another plot," Friday stated immediately. "However, there are still 2 greenhouses. If you wish to gather these items for planting, we may need to acquire more greenhouses." "That is not a concern. Proceed as you see fit." Yi Chuan laughed heartily. "By the way, how are the fruits faring?" In 3 days, in just 3 days, they will be fully ripe." Friday provided the final time frame. "Excellent." Yi Chuan laughed joyously and patted Friday on the back, encouraging it to get to work. Subsequently, Yi Chuan constructed another warehouse adjacent to the original one, and soon a structure measuring 20 meters in length and 15 meters in width appeared before him, identical to the previous warehouse. "Brother, you've built another warehouse." Blueberry Jam approached, grinning. "By the way, this warehouse even has a password. What treasures lie within?" "It contains various supplies. As the room became increasingly cramped, I decided to build a dedicated space for them," Yi Chuan explained. "Currently, I have acquired quite a few resources, and this warehouse has alleviated my immediate concerns." How come I can't see any supplies?" Blueberry Jam asked suspiciously. Yi Chuan offered no reply, instead heading to the warehouse. With a thought, he transferred all the supplies temporarily stored in the system's inventory into the warehouse. After all, the fruit was on the verge of being harvested, and the 3 varieties would require at least 3 separate storage spaces. These fruits were unlike any other items. They needed to be vacuum sealed, for even a short duration without proper storage would lead to spoilage. It is important to remember that this is a marine world, where each fruit holds immense value and cannot be carelessly discarded. "Wow, brother, are you performing magic? Where did all these supplies come from?" Blueberry Jam exclaimed in excitement upon witnessing the sudden abundance of resources. "What is this? A blueprint for constructing a medium-sized attack sailboat? And this is a bicycle. Is it necessary to be so unsophisticated?" Yi Chuan remarked with a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. "It's truly my first encounter with such a situation." Blueberry Jam exclaimed with delight, "How marvelous! Here's a diamond for you to play with." Yi Chuan, feeling somewhat exasperated, shook his head and tossed the pink diamond back to Blueberry Jam. Her excitement surged once more. "Brother, such a large diamond, and pink at that. Must be worth at least several hundred billion. Do you like it?" Yi Chuan nodded. "I adore it, absolutely love it." Blueberry Jam laughed heartily, ready to leap into Yi Chuan's arms, but he swiftly sidestepped. "Sister, why don't you return to your room and study it? I wish to be alone for a while." "Who is Jing Jing?" Blueberry Jam asked suspiciously. Yi Chuan shot her a puzzled glance. "I'm just joking, ha ha ha." She giggled as she dashed into her room. "Is she perhaps afflicted with some ailment?" Yi Chuan mused, shaking his head in resignation as he turned toward the turtle's head. After a week's accumulation, he now possessed 15 supply boxes, most of which were retrieved thanks to the dolphin's exceptional impact. With 1 dolphin in hand, I possessed the world. Without delay, Yi Chuan opened all the supply boxes. Inside, he found 7 stones, 5 packs of instant noodles, 3 bottles of mineral water, 5 wooden planks, 3 pieces of charcoal, and 2 loaves of bread. Among these basic supplies, he discovered an astounding 13 packs of instant noodles, likely due to the frigid conditions that had even the ocean world sympathizing with the island masters, resulting in a majority of food and water being salvaged. Regrettably, the ice was too thick. It seemed that 90% of the island masters would struggle to retrieve their supply boxes. Setting aside other matters, at least today's lunch would feature a quick meal. After placing the modest supplies in the storage, Yi Chuan cheerfully carried the instant noodles back to his room, alongside 2 king crabs. After boiling them, He called for blueberry jam to assist in extracting the crab meat. Meanwhile, he prepared a large pot of fish soup using grouper, calling blueberry jam over to pick the fish meat once it was done. He finally chopped the king crab meat before adding it, along with the fish meat, into the pot of noodles, waiting until the noodles softened before serving. How fragrant! Blueberry jam inhaled deeply, grinning as she said, "Brother, you are amazing. Even instant noodles taste so exquisite. Just average, third in the world." Yichuan replied with a laugh. "Who are the first and second then?" Blueberry jam immediately inquired. "I claim third place. No one dares to claim first or second. Come, let us eat while it's hot," Yichuan said, carrying 6 large bowls to trade with Zhao Feiyu and the others. "Big brother, do you have any cloud clusters over there?" Little Flying Dragon suddenly asked. "I feel as though the cloud cluster is about to reach me, and it's quite oppressive." "How long until the cloud cluster arrives at your location?" Yichuan asked in surprise. "It is estimated that I shall arrive tonight." The little dragon made a pouty face, and I do not intentionally feign fragility. It is merely that upon encountering such a scene, I felt a twinge of fear. "Are you even a man?" Yichuan's lips twitched, rendered speechless in an instant. "What can I say? I have been accustomed to a life of luxury since childhood." The little dragon lamented pitifully. Yet who could have foreseen that the theoretical knowledge learned would be utterly useless in the realm of the ocean, especially as it has transformed into its current state? "My heart is heavy. Spare me your lamentations. A man ought to bleed and sweat, not weep." Yichuan immediately rebuked, exclaiming, "What does it look like to cry and whine?" As he spoke, Yichuan utilized one of the remaining 2 super locators to pinpoint the little dragon's location. Liang Hongying and Lu Shuai, as well as the sea turtle, had visited that area. Even without the super locator, they could reach it. Yichuan planned to reserve the last one for Lu Yue, temporarily disregarding Zhao Feiyu. After all, although Zhao Feiyu could be the most helpful, his survival skills are the strongest, thus he does not require immediate attention. Yichuan's current strategy is to gradually gather everyone together. Strength lies in unity. Moreover, when that barrier dissipates in over 2 months, foreign regions will undoubtedly launch an invasion on the Jiuzhou area. Being together would allow for mutual support. Fortunately, the little dragon is not particularly far, merely about 300 nautical miles away. The sea turtle currently travels at approximately 8 knots, meaning if we set off now, we could arrive by the morning of the day after tomorrow. However, Yichuan did not mention this to the little dragon, engaging in only a brief conversation before falling silent. "Attention, a terrifying cold wave will descend from the skies onto the novice area tonight at midnight, with temperatures plummeting to -37 degrees. Please ensure proper protection." In the afternoon, as Yichuan prepared to brew some milk tea, the system's abrupt voice interrupted him. A super cold wave? Yichuan was taken aback. It mattered little for himself, but countless islanders in the novice area would suffer. Currently, a warm cloud mass is passing through, yet suddenly such a terrifying cold wave appears. Is the ocean world testing our endurance to cold once more? Yichuan's lips quirked, and he found himself at a loss for words. Immediately, he dashed into Blueberry Jam's room. "Brother, what are you doing?" The sudden action startled Blueberry Jam, causing her to tremble and shyly inquire. Yichuan paid her no mind, promptly using her super tablet to post a message in the public chat room. "Attention, everyone. A super cold wave will strike the novice area at midnight, with temperatures expected to dip to around -37 degrees. Prepare your cold weather gear." What the hell? Which fool is responsible for this? The weather was about to warm up, and now a cold wave is expected? Believe it or not, I certainly do not. We came to the ocean to survive, not to meet our demise, okay? I believe it would be prudent for everyone to make some preparations. At the very least, one should ensure that their small stoves are ablaze. If this information proves true, we may find ourselves in dire straits. Such a crude jest. And yet you choose to believe it. Here, the clouds are passing, and the temperature has risen by at least 10 degrees. Could a cold wave be on the horizon? How amusing. In an instant, the public chat room erupted with activity. While a small faction took the news seriously, the majority mocked it. However, Yichuan paid little heed to the prevailing sentiments. Though they were competitors, the true adversary lay in foreign regions. Informing them of this news was the greatest act of humanity he could muster. What they chose to do thereafter was no longer his concern. At that moment, Yichuan fashioned 2 coats from the tiger and bear skins he had previously stripped, bestowing one upon Zhao Feiyu and the other upon Lu Shuai. He also provided Xiao Feilong with a coat made of dog skin. The 3 women had already received solar-heated blankets, so there was no need for further provisions. As long as they remained nestled within their tents or wooden cabins, they could easily withstand the impending cold wave. Perhaps this is the oceanic realm's final trial for everyone. Currently, Yichuan possessed 8 dogskin coats. After some contemplation, he decided to offer 5 for trade, announcing, "Dogskin coats for sale, rare commodities, act swiftly. Serious inquiries only." Chapter 160, Preparations Before the Cold Wave. Milk tea speculation goodness. Someone just mentioned a super cold wave descending, and now there are dogskin coats being sold? That was rather quick. I suspect this fellow is merely a merchant of dogskin coats, fabricating a ruse to profit handsomely. My friend, you must be a traitor. Such fantastical notions abound. Do not speak of cold waves. Even a chill would not faze you. In any case, I believe this is merely a ploy for hype. I absolutely refuse to purchase any wretched dogskin coat. Let those who wish to buy do so. Once again, the public chat room buzzed with excitement. The very individual who had vehemently declared he would never buy a dogskin coat, however, privately messaged Yichuan, "My friend, how do you intend to sell this dogskin coat? After all, I deal in rare commodities. If you have something to offer, I am all ears." Yichuan replied nonchalantly, "As long as I find it suitable, we shall strike a deal. I don't possess anything particularly grand. Perhaps a blueprint for a speedboat?" The other party inquired hesitantly. "This evening, I can assure you that an estimated 60 to 70% of individuals will succumb to the cold." Yichuan responded gravely, "Do you truly believe a blueprint for a speedboat could barter for your life?" The individual hesitated momentarily. "Very well, 2 blueprints for speedboats. I consider myself fortunate. I just arrived in the oceanic realm and discovered this item, which was initially my ticket to success. Now, I offer it to you. Now we are talking." Yichuan readily agreed, finalizing the transaction with the individual. Yichuan did not need to look closely. The speedboat was likely electric. It seemed that in the ocean world, the likelihood of obtaining electricity surpassed that of acquiring gasoline or diesel. Consequently, many of the power-driven items available were correspondingly electric, aligning well with the call for environmental protection. This tiger-striped coat was simply splendid. At that moment, Zhao Feiyu had already received the coat and excitedly replied, "Your tailoring skills are truly remarkable. I possess a garment machine that can produce clothing from various animal hides or fabrics," Yichuan stated earnestly. "Tonight, we shall wear it to sleep. Or perhaps forego sleep altogether. We must withstand this impending cold wave." "Is there really going to be a cold wave?" Zhao Feiyu asked in astonishment. "You may doubt others, but you must believe me," Yichuan replied. "All right." Zhao Feiyu regarded his words with newfound seriousness. If it had been anyone else, he would have dismissed it as a joke. However, Yichuan was unlike anyone else. He could predict various disasters ahead of time and had an inexhaustible supply of water and food. Now, Zhao Feiyu unconditionally believed every word that came from Yichuan's lips. Having completed all that needed to be done, Yichuan set aside further thoughts and immediately added 50 grams of tea leaves and 50 grams of sugar into a large pot, turning the heat to low and stirring slowly. This homemade milk tea was simple yet nutritious, undoubtedly the ideal beverage for an isolated island. As Yichuan stirred, the sugar gradually caramelized and the tea leaves softened, releasing a rich aroma. Yichuan nodded in approval and promptly poured in 3 liters of sheep's milk, bringing it to a boil. "Brother, are you making milk tea?" Blueberry Jam exclaimed excitedly as she approached. "What a pity it would be if only we had pearls. Are the pearls in bubble tea delicious?" Yichuan glanced at Blueberry Jam, seemingly indifferent. "Hee, I find them quite tasty." Blueberry Jam replied with a cheerful grin. "Indeed." Yichuan shrugged slightly, acknowledging that everyone has different tastes. He himself was not particularly fond of pearls. 10 minutes later, as the sheep's milk reached a boil, the rich aroma of milk tea began to waft through the air. Blueberry Jam stood nearby, nearly drooling in anticipation. It was not until Yichuan poured her a cup that she took a sip and exclaimed incredulously, "Oh my goodness, brother, you must try this. It's absolutely delicious." Naturally, Yichuan nodded, taking a small sip himself. The fragrance of the tea leaves and sheep's milk had blended harmoniously, creating a unique milk tea flavor. Truly, the materials from the ocean world had reached an unparalleled level of aromatic excellence. Yichuan nodded in satisfaction. Indeed, quite delightful. Subsequently, he poured the milk tea into a thermos, eagerly awaiting the evening's consumption, for they were about to face a formidable cold wave. And Yichuan was curious to witness its true nature. As night swiftly descended, Yichuan prepared a hearty dish of pig intestines stewed with tofu and chili, distributing a portion to each person. "Warm yourselves with this stewed tofu and intestines. It appears we may not find rest tonight, given the impending cold wave. Should the chill prove unbearable, we must be ready." He then called for Blueberry Jam to join him at the coffee table in the living room. Around 10 o'clock, Yichuan suddenly furrowed his brow and dashed outside to usher the chickens and sheep into the storage room, where the temperature remained a steady 10 degrees. While the chicken coop and sheepfold were adequate, who could ascertain their ability to withstand the frigid plunge of -37 degrees. If they faltered, he would be left helpless. To prevent them from wandering, he summoned the 3 little ones to keep a watchful eye on them before returning to his room. He then traded each of the 6 individuals 500 milliliters of monkey wine and 300 milliliters of milk tea. Let us first indulge in the milk tea. It will invigorate us and keep us from dozing off. Though we are well prepared, should the cold still bite, the monkey wine will surely fend off the chill. Rest assured, my friend, it will hold. Little Flying Dragon responded with a chuckle. I have absolute faith in you. Having faith in me is insufficient. You must have confidence in yourself. Yichuan retorted, just wait. Once this cold wave passes, we shall surely enjoy the fruits of our labor. Looking forward to it. Little Flying Dragon replied eagerly. Yichuan then chose to remain silent, returning to the living room to turn on the television. As he munched on sunflower seeds and sipped his milk tea, he began to watch Guo Xiaojiang's comedy act. Initially, Blueberry Jam intended to retire for the night, but upon hearing the commotion outside, she questioned, Brother, why are you still awake? I cannot sleep. You should rest, Yichuan replied, shaking his head. I'll keep you company. I typically only sleep around 1 or 2 in the morning. Blueberry Jam said with a cheerful smile, joining him in snacking on sunflower seeds. Yichuan did not object, for in the long night, the presence of a lovely companion alleviated his solitude. As time passed, midnight approached, and Yichuan felt a surge of tension. Promptly opening his door, Brother, what are you watching? Blueberry Jam asked, grabbing a handful of sunflower seeds as she followed him into the room. Yet, the outside remained eerily silent and pitch black, obscuring any visibility. Yichuan's brow furrowed further. There was nothing to be seen. Could it be a system glitch? Or was the cold wave arriving from a distant region, delayed in its approach? Brother, look at that. Blueberry Jam suddenly pointed at the sky. Upon glancing upward, he spotted a thick mist slowly descending. Quick, back inside, Yichuan commanded, grasping Blueberry Jam's arm and ushering her into the room, promptly shutting the door behind them. Ouch, you hurt me. Blueberry Jam pouted slightly, murmuring softly. Yichuan gazed out of the window, observing as the white mist swiftly descended to the ground, encasing everything it touched in a thick layer of ice. Shortly thereafter, snowflakes began to fall gently from the sky, enveloping the scene in an enchanting stillness. Brother, how could it freeze so quickly? Blueberry Jam inquired, astonished. If it didn't freeze this fast, that would be peculiar. Now, we can retire for the night. Good night, Yichuan replied, turning promptly to the side of the super tablet, where the public chat room had become lively. Damn it, the cold wave has indeed arrived. Even though I'm in a tent, bundled in a thick cotton coat, the stove has extinguished in an instant, and I still feel the chill, but it's manageable. Which rascal suggested we resist dog fur coats? Step forward, I promise I won't harm you. Hey, if I say you shouldn't buy it, you won't. But if I tell you to dive, why don't you? After all, this dog fur coat keeps me warm and toasty. Are you messing with us? Yes, I am, and I bet you can't afford it anyway. Isn't it cold? Yet you're still typing, so it can't be that frigid. Speaking of which, I suddenly noticed there seemed to be fewer people chatting. Huh? Alas, they've probably frozen to death, or their hands are too numb to type. Either way, a significant number will perish tonight. It's snowing, thanks to Yichuan's prior warnings. Little Flying Dragon had stayed awake and suddenly realized that the rain had transformed into snow, which was intensifying, and the temperature was finally beginning to drop. Clad in a dog fur coat and tightly wrapped in a handmade quilt, he covered the entire tent, finally feeling a semblance of warmth. Brother truly possesses remarkable foresight. When he said it would cool down, it indeed did. My gear should withstand the night, right? Thankfully, I have a solar heating blanket, fully charged during the day. Even with the sharp drop in temperature, it doesn't feel too cold. Lu Yi smiled contentedly within the tent, her face aglow with joy, grateful for Yichuan. Without him, even if they managed to survive, they would undoubtedly succumb to this terrifying cold wave. Guarding through to just past 1 in the morning and seeing no further developments, Yichuan chose to remain silent and drifted into slumber. The following morning, the blinding sunlight streamed across his face, prompting him to awaken and check the time. It was already past 9. Hastily dressing, Yichuan exited his room, noting that the temperature had risen from the previous night's chill, and the ice was gradually melting, signaling a positive turn of events. Time to check in, he said, ushering the chickens and sheep out of the warehouse. Sign-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points, 1 tool person, and a selection of 6 fashionable outfits. Wow. Yichuan's expression shifted as he was unexpectedly presented with another tool person. He quickly retrieved the robot from the system's inventory, standing nearly the same height as Friday. Its body was adorned with metallic skeletons, yet its face radiated beauty, complemented by a head of sleek black hair, presenting the image of a capable and confident woman. What a striking figure. Yichuan chuckled to himself as he rubbed his hands together. System, what can this tool do? He inquired. It can assist the host in cooking and handling various ingredients. The system promptly replied. Equipped with a super battery, simply switch on the tool, and the host will be met with delightful surprises. Not long ago, he had been pondering the existence of a cooking robot to liberate his hands, and to his astonishment, the system had delivered just that. Although the system could often be unhelpful, it certainly had its moments of brilliance. Yichuan burst into laughter and promptly activated the robot. System initializing, please wait. What transpired next was reminiscent of when Friday had first arrived. At last, the tool addressed Yichuan, saying, Greetings, Master. What are your capabilities? Yichuan asked, nodding in satisfaction. I can assist you with all ingredients and prepare the most exquisite dishes. The robot responded promptly. That's splendid, but from now on, refrain from calling me Master. Address me as Brother Chuan. Yichuan declared, nodding approvingly. He then presented the robot with a selection of outfits, saying, Choose something lovely to wear. Certainly, Brother Chuan. The robot replied, immediately commencing its selection. From now on, your name shall be Saturday, Yichuan said with a smile. You are female, and there is a handsome male called Friday. You two should converse and perhaps even develop a romantic connection. Brother Chuan. I have not been programmed for romantic interactions, Saturday promptly replied. Whether programmed or not, that should not hinder romance. Yichuan chuckled. After spending some time together, you will understand that relationships are nurtured over time. Friday has always been a good lad. Friday, Friday. He called out. Here I am. Friday dashed over, his eyes lighting up upon seeing Saturday. Brother Chuan, this is Saturday. She is your counterpart, a girl, so do take care of her. Yichuan winked playfully at Friday. Rest assured, Brother Chuan, I shall take good care of her. Friday affirmed eagerly. Saturday, let me show you around. Let us familiarize ourselves with our island. How can it be your island when it is clearly mine? Yichuan muttered in bemusement, shaking his head. Just as he was about to tend to the sheep and chickens, the system's voice interrupted. A selectable hidden task has been detected. Will the host accept? A selectable hidden task? Yichuan paused, intrigued. Hidden tasks are one thing, but selectable? He promptly inquired. What exactly is this selectable hidden task? Chapter 162. Yichuan's choice following the super cold wave. Only 2 million novice island masters remained in the Jiuzhou region. According to the system's estimates, when the regional barrier dissipated in a month's time, the surviving novice island masters would dwindle to fewer than 100,000, rendering them incapable of competing with foreign regions. The host may choose to develop independently and grow stronger or assist as many novice island masters as possible, which will yield corresponding rewards. The system replied without hesitation. The system, do you have some issues? Our own development is progressing so slowly, and yet I am expected to assist others. Do you think I possess such enthusiasm? Yichuan remarked helplessly. The system offered two options, accept or refuse the optional hidden task. It provided no further explanation and responded directly. Accept. Yichuan huffed coldly. His face darkened as he accepted the task at hand. Detection. Host has accepted the optional hidden task. Please make your choice promptly. The system immediately replied. What? So quick? Yichuan scoffed. Although he was reluctant to engage with those novice island masters, as they would inevitably become competitors, it must be acknowledged that in this world, a nation precedes a family. Moreover, before becoming rivals, they all shared a common identity, the people of Jiuzhou. When facing foreign island masters, the Jiuzhou island masters must unite. With this in mind, Yichuan spoke up decisively. Choose to assist the novice island masters. Detection. Host has accepted the hidden task. Please complete it as soon as possible. The system reiterated. Damn it. The system must be out of its mind to present such a selfless hidden task. Yichuan lightly tapped his forehead, chuckling in resignation. However, providing extensive help to novice island masters was beyond his capacity. After all, he was not 200 individuals, nor even 20. He could only strive to supply them with some food and water. It seems my intention to retrieve the little flying dragon was indeed wise. I could have it cast nets for fishing and trade with those subordinate island masters in need, thus alleviating much of my own burden. An idea sparked in Yichuan's mind, and he nodded cheerfully. Yes, I can start this task tomorrow morning. Brother, what shall we have for breakfast? At that moment, Blueberry Jam emerged from her room, rubbing her eyes and stretching lazily. Glancing at Blueberry Jam's exquisite figure, Yichuan shook his head. It's nearly 10 o'clock. Let's just eat at noon. Are you particularly hungry right now? Not really. I actually thought you had already prepared the meal. Hee hee. Blueberry Jam replied with a cheerful grin. Brother, why don't you take off your clothes and let me wash them for you? You've been here for several days without doing anything, and I feel quite embarrassed. Are you offering to wash my clothes or to help me bathe? Yichuan asked in surprise, looking at Blueberry Jam. Of course, I meant to wash your clothes. What are you thinking? Blueberry Jam's face turned crimson as she shyly responded. That's unnecessary. This garment has an automatic dust-repelling feature and doesn't require washing. Yichuan promptly declined. Your outfit is the same. Even if you wore it for a month, it would remain clean. Really? Blueberry Jam exclaimed in astonishment. How incredible is that? It's nothing extraordinary. It's simply standard practice in the oceanic world. As Yichuan spoke, he turned and returned to his room, glancing at the messages in the public chat room. Alas, how are things on your end? I'm nearly freezing to death, and the water I stored in the cabin has frozen into a thick layer of ice. I am at risk of perishing from thirst. Who could argue otherwise? The temperature has plummeted by at least 15 degrees in an instant. If it weren't for my 2 sets of winter clothing, I would have likely turned into a popsicle by now. The ice on the sea has thickened, making it impossible to retrieve the supply boxes, and we have neither food nor water. It seems we can only last another 3 days at most. Let us remain optimistic. What if someone comes to our aid? A voice chimed in. Come on, what are you joking about? Who do you think you are? Why would anyone help you? Have you lost your mind in the cold? This is merely a beautiful wish. Do we not even have the right to harbor wishes anymore? Observing the heated debate, Yichuan shook his head slightly and sent a message to Xiao Feilong. How are things on your side? Since the cold wave arrived, the clouds have been moving rather slowly. It snowed heavily all night, and now the snow on the island is about 50 centimeters thick. Xiao Feilong replied. It's practically impossible to move. What about the cloud front now? Yichuan inquired again. The speed has picked up. It seems to be departing from my location soon. Xiao Feilong responded after a brief pause. Upon hearing this, Yichuan pressed his lips together. Although the cold wave had swept through his area last night, the temperature had now returned to just below -20 degrees and was gradually rising, likely to exceed 0 degrees shortly. Throughout the novice zone, it seemed the cloud front was pivotal. The cold wave had transformed the warm air mass into a cold one. As the cloud front advanced, it would slowly absorb the chill, indicating that the novice zone would soon warm up again, a promising sign. Having come to this realization, Yichuan responded to Xiao Feilong. Let us leave it at that for now. Besides, there is not much entertainment to be had outside anyway. Just let the snow melt slowly. Xiao Feilong replied, slightly pouting. With nothing else to do, despite Yichuan's suggestion, Xiao Feilong decided to clear the snow from the island, considering it a form of exercise. Meanwhile, Yichuan went to feed the little lamb and the chicks some A-grade freshwater, also giving the chicks some breadcrumbs. To his delight, he discovered that the little lamb could now consume a small amount of the miraculous grass, and the chicks had grown considerably, with some even showing signs of developing combs, leading Yichuan to suspect they were roosters. After completing these tasks, Yichuan noticed that Saturday had already begun preparing food. True to its role as a professional cooking robot, Saturday intended to make stir-fried bear meat. From the initial butchering of the bear meat to the subsequent stir-frying, the process was seamless. Yichuan was captivated. Even as Saturday poured in the freshwater after drying out the meat, he couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Saturday, you truly are a professional. Brother Chuan, you flatter me, Saturday immediately replied. As part of my duties, I am programmed with hundreds of thousands of recipes. Any dish that has appeared on Blue Star, I can prepare. When did another beauty appear on our island? Exclaimed Blueberry Jam, rolling her eyes as she rushed out upon hearing the conversation. Chapter 163. The Culinary Skills of Saturday. This is Saturday, just like Friday, a robot. Yichuan explained. From now on, it will be responsible for our meals. A smile graced Blueberry Jam's face. So it's our cook, how delightful. Miss, I am merely responsible for cooking, not a maid, Saturday promptly corrected. Half a maid, Blueberry Jam retorted quickly. By the way, we all enjoy spicy food, so make sure to add chili. My programming includes Brother Chuan's dietary restrictions and preferences, so you need not worry, Saturday replied. However, I am unaware of your preferences and cannot accommodate them. Humph. Blueberry Jam huffed and turned to leave. What is wrong with that girl? Yichuan muttered, puzzled, as he watched her depart. An hour and a half later, a large pot of stir-fried bear meat was ready. Although the ingredients were not complete, Saturday managed to create a dish that was visually appealing and aromatic. Saturday, you truly are professional, far better than I am. Yichuan exclaimed excitedly, giving Saturday a thumbs up. Brother Chuan, you overpraise me, Saturday replied immediately. All right, you go ahead and busy yourself, Yichuan laughed. Dividing the stir-fried bear meat into 8 portions and trading 6 of them to Zhao Feiyu and the others. This troublesome woman actually makes delicious food? Blueberry Jam tasted a piece, intending to find fault, but she raised her eyebrows in surprise. Naturally, she is a specialized cook. Each one nodded. Well, she can only cook. Blueberry Jam muttered under her breath. However, there was no denying Saturday's culinary skills. Yichuan feasted heartily, savoring every bite until he finished the last piece of meat, letting out a satisfied burp as he slumped back on the sofa. Refreshing. Indeed, it is blissful to merely eat without the burden of cooking. After resting for a while, Yichuan finally stepped out of his room, glancing around until he noticed Saturday watching Friday tilling the land. He wondered what Friday had said to her, as Saturday seemed captivated by that loser. Brother Chuan. Upon seeing Yichuan approach, Friday and Saturday called out in unison. Friday, have you accomplished what I promised you? Yichuan asked with a smile. I have. Brother Chuan, you are truly my idol. Friday replied eagerly. Awesome. Once you cultivate the fruits and vegetables, just pass them to Saturday so she can handle them for me, Yichuan said cheerfully. However, for the fruits, I must instruct you on how to do it. Brother Chuan, you need not say, I already understand. Saturday interjected promptly. My programming has incorporated all your dietary habits from the past month. Quite impressive indeed. Yichuan found himself increasingly content with Saturdays, as it felt akin to having two stewards who had nearly taken on 2/3 of his workload. If he were to acquire a lifestyle steward, would he not be able to relax entirely? At this moment, Yichuan felt as though he had indeed come on a vacation. Upon returning to his room, he noticed a message from Lu Yi. Has your island acquired a mistress? Yichuan replied, puzzled. No. Why do you suddenly ask? The flavor of the dishes has changed, resembling something a woman would prepare, Lu Yi responded. Your palate is truly exceptional. You can discern that. Yichuan replied in astonishment. But there is no mistress. When you eventually visit my island, everything will become clear. Can I even go? Wouldn't your mistress chase me away? Lu Yi retorted, sending an eye-roll emoji. Haha. Yichuan was momentarily taken aback, responding with a flurry of laughing emojis. Indeed, a woman's intuition could be quite formidable. Yet, Lu Yi's expression darkened as she pondered. How could he have suddenly found a woman on his island? What was their relationship? Having fed the sea turtle 800 pounds of krill, Yichuan attempted to utilize his unique ability once more. The dolphin was now swiftly swimming in the depths of the ocean, occasionally swallowing small fish that passed by. Despite the dolphin's relatively modest size, it required dozens of pounds of fish to sustain itself. Typically, it would casually consume the fish nearby, which sufficed for its needs. In a mere 10 seconds, Yichuan surveyed a range of several hundred meters underwater. The colossal squids that had previously roamed the area had vanished, leaving him somewhat perplexed. In past encounters with marine beasts, they would appear and disappear without warning, lacking any forewarning. Was this also a rule of the ocean world, released only to be swiftly retracted? Indeed, the secrets of the ocean world were not easily discerned. Brother, I just found some fishing gear in the warehouse. Shall we go fishing together? At that moment, Blueberry Jam approached, carrying a suitcase and smiling brightly. You entered my warehouse without permission. I distinctly set a password. Yichuan frowned. It's the new warehouse. You didn't set a password for it. Blueberry Jam quickly replied. I was feeling bored and just decided to look around. You're not mad, are you? Sigh. In the future, if you want to find something, just let me know. Don't sneak off without a word, Yichuan advised. Feeling exasperated. I understand. I'll definitely be more careful next time. Blueberry Jam pouted slightly. So, are you coming? You go ahead, but be careful. Yichuan shook his head. Okay, I'll catch a big fish, and we can have grilled fish for dinner tonight. Blueberry Jam exclaimed cheerfully, promptly heading towards the sea turtle's tail. Everywhere around was frozen, except for a long stretch of fragmented ice behind the sea turtle's tail, resembling a river, making it easy to cast a line. Whether or not they would catch any fish remained uncertain. The child, day by day, seems to be in a perpetual novice phase. May it conclude swiftly. Observing the retreating figure of Blueberry Jam, Yichuan now contemplates whether his earlier decision to assist Blueberry Jam in gathering rainwater was wise or misguided. Shaking his head slightly, Yichuan turned and ran to catch a glimpse of the marvelous tree. The protrusions on both sides of the tree, below 30 meters, have grown nearly 15 centimeters. While above 30 meters, new tender branches have emerged, slowly reaching upward. Is it possible that, like before, they will grow straight up to another 30 meters? Oh, marvelous tree. Could you truly be the bridge to that so-called Sky City? Yichuan sighed, murmuring softly to himself. Until now, there have been no records of the Sky City throughout the entire 9 provinces. What lies there, perhaps only the system knows. Just as Yichuan was lost in thought, a piercing scream echoed. Was that Blueberry Jam? Chapter 164. Blueberry Jam has been consumed by a fish. Could it be that she was dragged into the sea by a large fish? Yichuan whispered to himself as he arrived at the rear of the sea turtle. All that remained on the ground was a small stool. Where could blueberry jam be? What on earth? Yichuan exclaimed, contacting the dolphin while swiftly donning his diving suit, plunging headfirst into the ocean. Surrounding him were no large fish, yet the dolphin was swimming towards a particular direction, and without hesitation, Yichuan followed suit. Although blueberry jam could be quite irksome at times, she was a veritable treasure, even capable of supporting his fleet. Blueberry jam must not come to harm. Moments later, Yichuan finally spotted the dolphin, engaged in a fierce battle with a fish that was 5 or 6 times its size. This fish, measuring a staggering 10 meters in length, had a flat, somewhat bulky body, a mouth over a meter wide, yet its eyes were smaller than an adult's fist. Its body was gray, adorned with dense spots, giving it an air of clumsy innocence. System, what kind of fish is this? Yichuan asked, bewildered. This species appears to be quite rare. The whale shark, the largest fish in the world, known for its gentle nature, the system promptly informed him. If the dolphin is battling this creature, could it be that it has swallowed blueberry jam? Yichuan pondered. Given its gentle disposition, it surely wouldn't have swallowed her just because she hooked it, would it? Speaking of which, the dolphin's combat prowess is commendable. Yet to be evenly matched with this whale shark indicates that it is no ordinary member of its species. The crucial matter is that blueberry jam is within its belly. Whether employing a giant automatic fishing gun or a large blade to cut it open, there exists the potential for harm to blueberry jam. With the passage of time, if she is not rescued promptly, she may suffocate. System, does this creature possess any weaknesses? Yichuan inquired once more. For this, I must implore the host to investigate independently, lest reliance on the system becomes excessive. The system concluded its response, leaving no further communication. This left Yichuan utterly speechless. At a critical moment, the system had inexplicably faltered. Just then, the dolphin unleashed a sonic disruption, causing the once agile whale shark to spin aimlessly in confusion. Seizing the opportunity, the dolphin charged forcefully into the whale shark's abdomen. The impact of 2,000 pounds sent the whale shark hurtling several meters away, followed by a violent cough. To Yichuan's astonishment, blueberry jam was expelled with that cough, though she had succumbed to unconsciousness, showing no signs of struggle. Once the whale shark regained its composure, it charged once more toward the blueberry jam. Fortunately, Yichuan was not far from her. He quickly grasped his large knife and struck at the gaping maw of the whale shark. Simultaneously, the dolphin launched another attack, colliding with the whale shark just as Yichuan's blade descended. In that fleeting moment, the whale shark was sent sprawling, and the knife cleaved through its mouth, causing a torrent of blood to flow, rendering its jaws unable to close. Yichuan paid no further heed to the creature and immediately cradled the blueberry jam, hastening toward the surface. After 3 long minutes, he finally reached the shore, gently laying her down to perform chest compressions while continuously administering rescue breaths. After more than 10 attempts, the blueberry jam finally expelled at least 300 milliliters of seawater and began to breathe weakly. What happened to me? She asked feebly after a few seconds. I remember I was fishing, and then a big fish swallowed me. You ran into the sea to rescue me from the belly of that fish, and it took me several attempts to revive you. Yichuan replied, somewhat exasperated. So, we kissed? The blueberry jam asked in surprise. Can you focus on the matter at hand? Yichuan nearly succumbed to frustration. Did you not realize you were on the verge of being digested by that monstrous fish? Wow. The blueberry jam froze for 3 seconds before curling her arms around her knees and bursting into tears. That was terrifying. I thought I was surely doomed. If it weren't for you, I would have perished. I will never fish again. All right, you should wash up and change into clean clothes, Yichuan said, observing her pitiable state. Don't worry about that cotton dress. It will be clean in about an hour. Sniffling, the blueberry jam trembled as she made her way to the room. Thankfully, the cotton dress provided warmth and some waterproofing. Otherwise, even if she hadn't drowned, she would surely have frozen. Suddenly, a tremendous noise erupted, and Yichuan leapt aside, witnessing a colossal wave crashing toward him, followed by the whale shark being washed ashore. The dolphin surfaced as well, calling out to Yichuan multiple times. Well done. Keep it up. Yichuan gave the dolphin a thumbs up in encouragement. The dolphin flipped gracefully and returned to the ocean. Saturday, after circling the whale shark, Yichuan immediately shouted, Brother Chuan, do you have any instructions? Saturday hurried over and inquired. You can handle such a massive whale shark, right? Yichuan pointed at the creature and asked. It's as easy as pie. Saturday replied without a moment's hesitation. All right then, we shall feast on this whale shark tonight, Yichuan said with a smile, nodding. The rest, divide into 500-gram portions. I have other uses for it. Understood, Brother Chuan, just watch. With that, Saturday grasped the whale shark's tail and slowly departed. Sighing, Yi Chuan reflected on the chaotic nature of life, now that blueberry jam had entered the equation. With a wry smile, he shook his head. Realizing there was nothing pressing to attend to, he returned to his room. He glanced at the messages in the public chat room. I must say, with the cloud system passing through and the temperature gradually rising, I believe our good days are approaching. What good does that do? Let us not forget we don't even have food. Are we just waiting to starve? During this time, I have been praying to my Lord. I am sure the angels will soon deliver us sustenance. What the hell? There is someone who believes in God, but not in our Kyushu deities. Instead, worshipping foreign false gods. How infuriating. Everyone, please remain calm. I have something important to share, which concerns the life and death of our Kyushu region. Kyushu region? What does that mean? Chapter 165. The Ambitions of Foreign Island Masters. Yi Chuan was taken aback. He had thought he was the only one aware of the existence of two major regions in the novice zone, but it seemed someone else knew too. He was eager to discover what useful information this individual might disclose. Just yesterday, a submarine anchored near my island, and a foreigner with blonde hair and blue eyes emerged. A foreigner. Indeed. It turns out there are two major regions in the novice zone. Due to the large number of us Kyushu people, we have a separate region, while other countries share another foreign region, each housing 15 million people. No way, is that true? Yes, however. It has been over a month since we last saw any foreigners, so it's not impossible that this fellow is telling the truth. Fortunately, he and I both share a belief in God, so he didn't kill me. Yet, they have sent two submarines. One is already returned, preparing to join forces to invade our Kyushu region. I don't believe it. This is unfair. They have developed submarines while we barely have any medium-sized sailing boats. How is that possible? The public chat room erupted in chaos, with novice island masters who had never spoken before now joining the conversation. Yi Chuan, however, remained deeply troubled. The revelations from this novice island master were not disclosed by the system, and it was truly unexpected that the foreign region had developed so rapidly, even to the point of possessing submarines. Is it not the case that if that barrier were to vanish, an inexhaustible tide of aggressive vessels would inundate the Jojo region? How could the island lords of Jojo contend with such an onslaught? The novice zone of Jojo stands on the brink of peril. Have you seen the recent news? It appears there are foreign regions as well. At this moment, Zhao Feiyu sent a message, confirming that indeed, there are two major regions. And each iteration of the Ocean Survival Novice Zone comprises two regions. It's merely that for the first 4 months, the development was independent and unclear to all. Yi Chuan responded, had this matter not arisen, the development of our two regions would have likely been comparable, yet due to this occurrence, the foreign region has advanced at an alarming pace. Of course, there was one thing Yi Chuan refrained from mentioning. The system had indicated that changes in the novice zone would affect both regions, but what is the current situation? Is it conceivable that all resources previously belonging to the Jojo region have been redirected entirely to the foreign region? How infuriating. No wonder there have been so many instances where foreign island lords suddenly appeared to invade our Jojo region. Zhao Feiyu ground his teeth in frustration, exclaiming, such a significant issue, and we are only just becoming aware of it. Were it not for the fissure that has formed beneath the barrier between the two regions, it is likely that we, the novice island lords of this generation, would remain oblivious to these developments. Yi Chuan retorted with irritation, adding that following last night's cold wave, only 2 million island lords remain in the Jojo region. Upon hearing this, Zhao Feiyu fell silent. Yi Chuan then promptly sought out the island lord to inquire, friend, do you mean to say that the novice island lords of the foreign region have already begun preparations to launch an assault on our Jojo region? I am uncertain, came the reply. My foreign friend mentioned they are merely here for reconnaissance. As for a full-scale attack, it seems they intend to wait until the barrier dissipates. There is still time. With this revelation, Yi Chuan exhaled deeply. Regardless, we still have nearly a month to counter their advances. Surely, the oceanic realm will not allow the situation to deteriorate unchecked. The melting ice is, in fact, presenting an opportunity for the Jojo region to develop. With this thought, Yi Chuan inquired again, is your foreign friend still on your island? He has gone to scout and will return early tomorrow, bringing some supplies before departing. At this, the island lord grew animated, declaring, he is a good person. A good person? Can a good person prepare to invade the Jojo region? You, my friend, are nothing but a traitor. Perhaps he is merely naive or believes that sharing this information poses no risk, which emboldens him to act so recklessly. Currently, I possess the last of my super locators, which I initially intended to use on Liu Yaowei, but it seems it must now be employed on this individual. Resolutely, Yi Chuan activated the super locator, and upon glancing at the results, he was taken aback. This island is merely about 100 nautical miles away. This is even closer than the island of Little Flying Dragon. No wonder the submarine was able to locate that fellow. It is evidently in proximity to the barrier. Fortunately, the blueberry jam had already been secured on the island. Otherwise, it might have attracted unwanted attention. A charming young woman like Blueberry Jam, with such a lovely figure, would surely be a target if discovered by them. After more than an hour had passed, as the night gradually descended, Saturday knocked on the door. "Dinner is ready so soon?" Yi Chuan inquired with surprise. "Indeed, Brother Chuan, I prepared a stir-fried fish dish and simmered a pot of soup from the fish bones." Saturday respectfully replied, "In accordance with your wishes, I have portioned everything into 8 servings, and the remainder has been divided into 500-gram portions and neatly stacked." "Well done, splendid." Yi Chuan nodded in satisfaction, gesturing for Saturday to bring in the dishes. He promptly exchanged 6 portions of the meal, calling out to Blueberry Jam, "Sister, it's time to eat." A full minute passed before Blueberry Jam emerged from her room, her expression still somewhat grim. "Brother, the mere thought of being swallowed by a fish makes me feel nauseous and want to vomit. Do you know what this is?" Yi Chuan pointed to the dish. "What is it?" Blueberry Jam asked, intrigued. "This is the very fish that swallowed you. Remember the perilous experience from this afternoon? You should be eager to consume its flesh and drink its blood." Yi Chuan stated solemnly. "Shouldn't you indulge in its meat and savor its broth?" "Yes," Blueberry Jam exclaimed, nodding vigorously. Before Yi Chuan could say anything further, she began to eat with determination. After dinner, in a brief session of watching television, Yi Chuan took a hot shower and retired to bed. The public chat room remained abuzz with discussions about food, water sources, and matters concerning foreign territories. But Yi Chuan paid little attention and soon drifted into slumber. He awoke early the next morning, around 5 o'clock, his thoughts occupied by the foreign island owner, having stirred awake several times during the night. At this moment, the turtle was merely 50 nautical miles from the island, prompting Yi Chuan to instruct it to swim toward the direction of the little dragon, while he checked the position of the island on the superlocator. With a sudden surge, he soared into the sky, propelled by a dive that lifted him high above. Since the foreign island owner had such an affinity for the Jiuzhou region, it was time for him to make it a permanent residence. Chapter 166. Ambush on the Foreign Man. Submarine at dawn. In the distant eastern horizon where the sky met the sea, a golden ray emerged, enhancing the mundane landscape of the island with a touch of beauty. Accompanied by a few soft flapping sounds, Yi Chuan landed and quickly rolled to the side, heading swiftly toward a specific location. The island was not particularly large, estimated to be around 600 to 700 square meters, featuring only a small wooden cabin. Outside, a long line tethered several dried sea fish, sufficient for temporary self-sufficiency. Yi Chuan concealed himself among a cluster of large trees nearby, his attire blending well with the foliage. Successfully camouflaged. Thus, over an hour had passed, and as the clock approached 6, a gentle splashing sound broke the stillness. A small head emerged from the ocean, revealing a fair-haired, blue-eyed man clad in a down jacket, who promptly opened the hatch and leaped onto the island. "My friend, are you there?" The foreigner called out loudly. "Oh, merciful Lord, you have come." At that moment, a young man with a balding head hurriedly exited the room and rushed forward, making the sign of the cross on their chests. "I thought you wouldn't return, Amen. We are devout Catholics. How could I ever forsake you?" The foreign man replied with a smile. "As lambs basking in the glory of the Lord, we are all brothers and sisters. Amen. By the way, have you informed the island masters of the 9 provinces about our matters?" "I have conveyed everything truthfully," the balding man said solemnly. "I believe they will find their way back and join us. Amen. In less than a month, the fissure will completely shatter, and at that time, only the island masters who join us will be spared from purification." The foreign man grinned. "Brother, you have done well. Amen. All for my Lord. Even if it requires my sacrifice, I am willing. Amen." The balding man replied with a smile. "Truly, you are my brother." The foreigner patted the balding man's shoulder. "I must depart today, but before I leave, I have gifts for you. Wait here." With that, the foreign man turned towards the submarine. In that instant, Yi Chuan pulled the trigger, and 8 crossbow bolts shot forth simultaneously, striking the foreign man's legs. He let out a dreadful scream and collapsed to the ground. "You betrayed me." The foreigner gasped, barely registering the pain as he turned sharply to glare at the balding man. The balding man, still bewildered by the situation, quickly explained, "We are all children of the Lord. How could I betray you? There must be some misunderstanding. Yes, it must be a mistake." "Ha ha, brother, you did well." Yi Chuan emerged from the shadows, laughing heartily. "These foreign dogs dare to run rampant in our 9 provinces. They cannot be let off lightly. I haven't done anything. Who are you? The balding man remained utterly confused. What is happening? Where did you come from? At this point, you still dare to deceive me? My lord will not spare traitors like you. The foreign man spat through gritted teeth. You will eventually meet a grave end. Before the balding man could utter another word, Yichuan knocked him unconscious with a single punch, then cheerfully walked toward the submarine. You rest for a moment. I'll check on your submarine. Curse you, you bastard. I will kill you. The foreign man, with his legs pierced and bleeding profusely, could hardly move, erupting in furious curses. Indeed, not one of you from the 9 provinces is virtuous. You deserve to have the resources of the ocean world tilted in our favor. Yichuan ignored the foreign man and leaped into the submarine. The submarine, though modest in size, measuring just over 10 meters in length and a little over 2 meters in height, was a marvel in its own right. Despite its diminutive stature, it was fully equipped, and the foreign crew had seamlessly integrated a super tablet into the control panel, opting to forsake any notion of an island base. Within a small storage room, provisions and water were ample enough to sustain life for at least a month. The public chat room of the super tablet buzzed with fervent discussions, and fortunately, Yichuan was quite proficient in foreign languages, allowing him to easily comprehend their conversations. I have constructed 2 medium attack sailboats, ready to strike the Kyushu region as soon as the barrier dissipates. I never imagined there were 2 major regions, and that Kyushu would have one all to itself. How unfair. The oceanic world seems excessively biased towards Kyushu. If we hadn't built the submarine in advance, we would have been oblivious to the existence of this second region. The oceanic world certainly has a mischievous side. Regardless, it appears that the Kyushu region is finished. The reports from Cole and the others confirm that Kyushu remains in a primitive state, creating a splendid opportunity for us to dominate the novice area. Haha. These individuals have some grandiose ideas. Upon reading these messages, Yichuan couldn't help but smirk, only to be taken aback when he noticed the foreign region's chat interface, which featured not only public and private chat rooms, but also group chats. Was this a feature unlocked once a substantial number of novice island masters reached a certain threshold? The captive in question was named Cole, who belonged to a group called the Assault Squad, consisting of 7 members. At that moment, one island master addressed Cole. Cole, are you done yet? I've entrusted that fool with a task, but he is proving to be quite inept. I've managed to take control of him now. Cole replied, I plan to remain hidden beneath the waves until you attack, secretly eliminating those budding island masters. Isn't that too taxing for you? Inquired an island master named Trovsky. We are a collective, with the primary objective of seizing the resources of the Kyushu region after our conquest. Yichuan interjected. Engaging in such a noble endeavor is hardly exhausting. Well then, we shall rely on you. Let us keep in touch. Another island master chimed in. After replying with an affirmative emoji, Yichuan promptly returned to his island. You scoundrel! How dare you harm me? I shall not let you escape unpunished. Upon Yichuan's arrival, Cole bellowed in fury. You will ultimately descend into endless darkness. Yichuan laughed disdainfully, delivering a swift kick to Cole's injured thigh. In a cold tone, he demanded, Now, I ask, and you answer. Why should I answer you? You think. Before Cole could finish his retort, Yichuan kicked him again, causing Cole to scream in agony. Ask away. I will answer. Chapter 167. Pizza, the fearsome little dragon I wish to know. Approximately 10 days ago. How many mermaids entered your foreign region, and what has become of them? Yichuan inquired gravely. Mermaids? Cole appeared utterly bewildered and skeptically remarked. I have never heard of mermaids. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Yichuan was taken aback. Observing the lad's countenance, he discerned no deceit. What then? Was the situation with those gluttonous mermaids? Or perhaps the burgeoning novice island lords were simply too numerous, making it impossible to eradicate them all at once? How is your current development progressing? Yichuan inquired again. Overall, we currently have only 2 submarines. As for the intermediate attack sailing ships, we have counted approximately over 200, Cole pondered before responding. As for the others, I am not entirely sure at this time. Are there no aircraft or anything else? Yichuan asked one last time. We do not even possess manufacturing blueprints for aircraft at present. There are a few large sailing ships, but they are merely ordinary vessels and lack any offensive weaponry, Cole replied. Very well. Yichuan nodded slightly and roused the bald man from his slumber. What is happening? Is it dawn already? The bald man looked around in confusion. Upon seeing Yichuan, he suddenly remembered everything, and his expression changed dramatically. He exclaimed, My God! I thought I was dreaming, but it's all real? More real than gold. Yichuan retorted with exasperation. Do you wish to live or die? To live? Of course. The bald man replied hastily. Brother, I aligned with the foreign island lords with the hope of surviving. I harbor no other intentions. Then I shall assign you a task. From now on, you are to diligently care for him and ensure he does not perish. Yichuan said sternly, I will leave you a month's worth of provisions. A month hence, I will return to find you. Once back, I will add you as a friend. Should any issues arise, feel free to reach out. Of course, as long as you do not kill me, you are my deity. I shall do anything you ask. The bald man fervently nodded, his voice unwavering. If I had known you would respond this way, I would not have knocked you unconscious, Yichuan chuckled, patting the bald man's shoulder. As for his wounds, you shall tend to them yourself. As long as he remains alive, all will be well. I will follow your orders. Amen, the bald man said with utmost courtesy. Yichuan then instructed the bald man to transport all the food and water stored by Cole to his island, intending to trade with him once they had consumed it. After summoning Wang Kai, he directly piloted the submarine away from the site. The bald man possessed no sailing tools, and in such a rudimentary location, Yichuan felt no apprehension regarding Cole alerting the foreign district. Fortunately, I had studied and simulated submarine operations. Otherwise, would I have remained oblivious while sitting atop a treasure trove? Yichuan chuckled to himself, setting the submarine's target location and then carefully examining the vessel. To Yichuan's delight, although this submarine had only one level, it surprisingly featured 2 berths and was equipped with 4 torpedoes, along with a tracker. With 4 torpedoes, he could potentially sink 4 medium attack sailing ships or 2 submarines. Indeed, this is a profitable venture. Upon returning to Turtle Island, Yichuan temporarily stored the submarine in the system's inventory after surfacing. While calling out to sign in, he added the balding man's friend. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points, 1 triple value card, and 2 cans of pig head. The system truly understands me, Yichuan thought, pleasantly surprised that he had acquired a triple value card immediately after obtaining the submarine. With this, 1 submarine could transform into 3. Indeed, today was a day of bountiful rewards. However, Yichuan decided against using the triple value card for the time being, as the submarine held no immediate utility. It was best to save it for later. Brother Chuan, breakfast is ready. You may eat now, came the knock on the door from Saturday. Is that pizza? Yichuan inquired with delight. Yes, Brother Chuan. I utilized the available ingredients to craft 7-inch seafood pizzas, a total of 8. Along with a cup of goat's milk for each person, Saturday replied with a smile. Excellent, excellent. Saturday, I am increasingly impressed with you, Yichuan remarked, giving Saturday a thumbs up. You flatter me, Brother Chuan. This is merely my duty, Saturday humbly responded before promptly exiting the room. Yichuan called out to Blueberry Jam, quickly trading a fresh pizza to her. Taste this freshly baked pizza. It's only a bit past 7. Are we really having breakfast this early? Blueberry Jam emerged from her room, rubbing her eyes, still drowsy. Shall I refrain from calling you for breakfast in the future? Yichuan promptly asked. Breakfast is a must. Besides, I can't gain weight, hee. Blueberry Jam giggled as she made her way to the coffee table. Wow, pizza. It smells so good. Of course. Even on Blue Star, Saturday is undoubtedly a master chef, Yichuan said, savoring the culinary delight. After finishing the goat's milk and holding the last slice of pizza, Yichuan approached the super tablet, glancing at the public chat messages. You were right. The temperature is indeed rising. I just tried to break the ice layer and managed to do so, bringing over several supply crates from not far away. Really? I must hurry to try it. Does this mean we will soon return to the wonderful life of half a month ago? Life half a month ago was just like that. Disasters came one after another, as you all know. True enough, I believe things are certainly better now than they were half a month ago. At least back then, we could still salvage supply crates. Now, they seem utterly unattainable, don't they? Indeed, let us hope that the days ahead will only improve. Yichuan nodded slightly. For as the ice layer thinned, the turtle's speed had correspondingly increased, rising from an initial 8 nautical miles per hour to 15. He believed that in another day, the speed would further accelerate. Just as some island masters had said, good days are coming. Brother, do you have any suitable weapons? Just then, a message from Little Flying Dragon arrived. Yichuan was taken aback. Why would this fellow need a weapon? Could it be that he was facing some peril? However, he was less than a nautical mile away from his island and had not detected any danger in the vicinity. Contemplating this, Yichuan directly inquired. Have you encountered a threat? I have faced the greatest danger since I entered the oceanic realm. The little dragon replied gravely. I saw a colossal creature charging swiftly towards me. It is likely to engulf me in just 2 or 3 minutes. Chapter 168. The little dragon shocked into numbness. Even if you had an invincible cannon, you might not withstand such a force. Why do you still seek a weapon? Yichuan stifled a chuckle as he asked. The little dragon was momentarily taken aback. It seemed he had a point. Suddenly, a profound sense of despair surged from deep within. Originally, having allied with Yi Chuan, he believed he could safely navigate the novice phase and eventually receive aid from his family, which would lead to a life of ease. Yet, who could have predicted he would encounter a creature so immense, towering over his small island, and at least 10 times its size? Just as his elder brother had said, even missiles would be powerless against its advance. "Brother, I have some items here. I will trade them with you." With a bitter smile, the little dragon had relinquished hope for survival and intended to offer Yi Chuan the items he had gathered over time. Yi Chuan burst into a fit of laughter and then spoke. "All right, you should hurry out and greet your elder brother. You are coming?" The little dragon was momentarily stunned. "Brother, are you coming to rescue me? Need I even ask? Just step out and you will see." Yi Chuan beckoned. Since Yi Chuan had said so, the little dragon refrained from further discussion, promptly exiting the room. He was greeted by the sight of the colossal creature now connected to his island, where a tall, powerful, and strikingly handsome man stood on the beach, smiling at the little dragon. "Brother." After hesitating for several seconds, the little dragon finally asked, realizing the truth. "Only now do you recognize me?" Yi Chuan responded with a smile. "Wow." The little dragon burst into tears. From the depths of despair to the hope brought by Yi Chuan, only to be thrust back into despair upon encountering the colossal creature, and finally experiencing hope anew upon seeing Yi Chuan. Within mere minutes, the little dragon had traversed the spectrum of emotions, a sensation he would likely remember for a lifetime. "Brother." In the next moment, the little dragon clung to Yi Chuan's leg. "I truly did not expect you to come. I thought I was doomed. Woe is me. What a sight for a grown man to weep so." Yi Chuan playfully kicked the little dragon, sending him tumbling several times. "This time, I am here to take you away. Are you interested in coming with me? I would gladly accompany you." The little dragon exclaimed loudly. "I am so lonely here. You cannot imagine my suffering. Woe is me." "Very well, just make sure to take your super tablet with you." Yi Chuan nodded. "However, you should also bring your wooden house. Otherwise, you will indeed have nowhere to stay for the time being." "That is no problem at all." Without hesitation, the little dragon responded, glancing at the wooden cabin and scratching his head. "Brother, this cabin must weigh at least 200 pounds, and although it is small, moving it is no trivial task. Wankai, you three assist." Yi Chuan decisively commanded. In the midst of the little dragon's bewilderment, 3 large birds soared into the sky, swiftly grasping the corners of the cabin with their talons. With powerful flaps of their wings, they lifted the cabin into the air and gently placed it in the central area of Turtle Island, precisely beside the 2-bedroom, 2-living-room setup. "Big brother, this is indeed you," exclaimed the little dragon, astonished. "These are my 3 pets. They usually help me in battles and gather resource boxes." As the little dragon stammered in shock, Yi Chuan couldn't help but smirk and promptly addressed his inquiry. "Let us take what we need and move along," he urged with a wave of his hand. Oh, coming right away." The little dragon nodded vigorously and began to pack. In truth, there wasn't much to gather, and he quickly bundled his belongings before following Yi Chuan to the island. With Yi Chuan's introduction, the little dragon's eyes nearly popped out. "Brother, I knew you were impressive, but I never anticipated you were this extraordinary. Furthermore, the island is mobile. What a massive propulsion system this must be. Does it run on fuel or electricity? Do you not realize we are on the back of a giant sea turtle, you country bumpkin?" Blueberry Jam emerged from a room, her eyelids drooping as she inquired. "Beautiful lady." The little dragon's face turned pale, but he quickly regained his composure and whispered, "Is this your sister-in-law? What nonsense. How rude." Blueberry Jam's cheeks flushed as she shot an indignant glare at the little dragon. Yi Chuan quickly clarified, "This is Blueberry Jam, a popular internet celebrity with millions of fans. We refer to each other as siblings, so please do not misunderstand." I understand. The little dragon chuckled and replied in a low voice. "What does it mean to be a winner in life? A brother like this is the true embodiment of success. Not only does he have such formidable pets, but he also possesses an even more impressive giant sea turtle for an island. Previously, one could hardly dream of such a massive creature existing in this world. And the most remarkable part is that while other island owners suffer in solitude, starving and freezing, my brother has already secured a massive internet sensation as well. And what else with this sibling talk? Why not just say it's a godfather and goddaughter relationship? Hey, how did I detect such wickedness in your laughter? You're not plotting something, are you?" Blueberry Jam inquired with a frown, noticing the little dragon's mischievous smirk. "Not at all. I'm simply thrilled to see my brother and to be in such a luxurious place." The little dragon quickly replied. "I just laugh like this." "Little dragon, The reason I brought you here is not solely due to the potential dangers of the novice zone ahead, but also because I need to assign you a task. Yichuan finally spoke. Brother, whatever the task, just say the word. I will face any challenge without hesitation. The little dragon declared earnestly. It is not overly difficult, but it is certainly not simple either. Yichuan pressed his lips together, expressing his discontent. Why should we fish and then selflessly provide food to the island masters? Almost as soon as he finished speaking, the little dragon and blueberry jam echoed in unison, questioning him. The little dragon, with a serious demeanor, added, Brother, once the novice period is over, we will all be competitors. Everyone wishes for the other island masters to perish swiftly. Why should we help them? In less than a month, we will face the onslaught from foreign regions. Yichuan replied with equal gravity. Before the island masters become competitors, we must first unite as comrades to confront the foreign regions. I understand now. The little dragon contemplated this and indeed recognized the truth in it. However, another dilemma arose. Brother, how many island masters can we truly save by casting our nets? The number saved may not surpass those who perish. Follow me. Yichuan flashed a mysterious smile at the little dragon and led him toward the rear of the turtle. Chapter 169. Completing 1% of a hidden task. Wow, such massive equipment. The little dragon exclaimed incredulously upon seeing the enormous semi-automatic fishing net. Now, how many do you think we can save? Yichuan inquired with a smile. With such impressive fishing gear, isn't it easy to save as many as we wish? The little dragon laughed heartily. Brother, I truly admire you. This is incredible. Let's give it a try? Yichuan shrugged slightly and continued. Without further hesitation, the little dragon pressed the button, and in an instant, the massive fishing net shot out, taking over 20 seconds to sink into the sea. Brother, how do we retrieve the net? The little dragon searched around, asking. The deployment is automatic, but retrieval requires manual effort, Yichuan explained. It only takes a force of 2,000 pounds to pull the net back. 2,000 pounds. The little dragon's eyes widened. Brother, do you really think I possess that much strength? Give it a try? Yichuan gestured invitingly. The little dragon took a deep breath, rubbed his hands together, and with a low growl, exerted all his strength. His face flushed as he pulled towards the shore, taking over 10 minutes to finally haul in a net full of sardines. Exhausted, he collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. To his astonishment, he exclaimed, I can't believe it, brother. I actually pulled it in. Drinking A-grade juice and goat milk regularly may not seem significant, but your strength has been gradually increasing. Yichuan clarified, that is premium-grade liquid. It is not something to be taken lightly. No wonder. The little dragon realized with newfound understanding. Next, you will trade these sardines at 500 grams each without charge to those island masters in need. Yichuan instructed promptly, and also the whale shark meat stacked outside, already portioned into 500-gram servings, should be traded as well. All right, just watch, brother, the little dragon confidently assured him. Soon, the little dragon had managed to display over 3,000 pounds of sea fish, though all were marked at a price of 0. Within mere seconds, these fish began to trade at an astonishing pace. Despite the abundance of over 3,000 portions, they were completely snatched up in under 10 seconds. The public chat room erupted in excitement. Incredible. A sea island lord is unconditionally gifting us food. Indeed, I noticed too, but just as I was about to grab some, it was all gone. What is going on? Are you foolish? Didn't you see how many sea island lords there are in the vast Jeju region? With so many competitors, it's remarkable that it lasted even that long. At least I managed to snag 500 grams and 6 sardines. It seems the pressure from foreign regions prompted this benefactor to assist us, allowing everyone to develop better. With the temperature on the rise, if this benefactor just needs to toil for at least 7 days, we could return to our state from half a month ago, easing the pressure. Perhaps the benefactor is simply in a generous mood, hence the gift of over 3,000 pounds. At this moment, Wang Sanrue's expression grew grave. He had already stockpiled food and water for at least 6 months, planning to sell at high prices if the temperature indeed rose and seafood became unsustainable. However, this unexpected act of freely distributing food caught him off guard, leaving him to wonder if his stored seafood would become worthless. It must be that scoundrel again. Always opposing me, and now pulling this stunt. How outrageous. Wang Sanrue muttered through gritted teeth, wishing he could consume Yichuan whole. You are nothing but an obstacle in my path to ascendancy. Until you are eliminated, my resentment shall not dissipate. Brother, this is astonishingly swift. Seeing the rapid transaction volume, the little dragon exclaimed in disbelief. I thought it would take at least 10 or 20 minutes. Moreover, so many people are like starving wolves. There are likely many still watching the screen for any leftovers. Not being snatched up instantly is already fortunate. Blueberry Jam crossed her arms, responding with irritation. Attention, host. Your hidden task has reached 1% completion. Please continue to strive. Suddenly, the system spoke up. A single catch accounts for 1%? Yichuan was taken aback, realizing that the little dragon would need to cast a net 100 times to complete the task. Observing the little dragon, Yichuan couldn't help but press his lips together. This lad seemed exhausted after just one haul. It appears he needs some enhancement. Brother, why are you looking at me like that? The little dragon felt uneasy under Yichuan's intense gaze. Just wait a moment, Yichuan replied, quickly retrieving 300 milliliters of S-grade freshwater he had accumulated over the past few days and handed it to the little dragon, who drank it all. What is this? Curiously, the little dragon exclaimed, tilting his head back and gulping down every last drop. Immediately, he felt a warm current coursing through his limbs, and every pore on his body opened up, creating a sensation of sheer bliss that compelled him to roar towards the heavens. Brother, this is nothing short of divine water. I feel completely transcendent, he declared in disbelief. I am filled with boundless strength. You are now ready to go fishing, Yichuan replied with a smile. Indeed, the S-class freshwater is truly effective. When night falls, I shall let him drink another 500 milliliters of monkey wine. Won't I be extraordinarily powerful by tomorrow? The mere thought brought him joy. In another region, 3 mermaids were swiftly swimming through the ocean. One of them asked seriously, Captain, we have already destroyed over 20 islands. But there are simply too many formidable island masters here. We cannot manage it all at once. For now, we can only accomplish what is within our capabilities. The foodie mermaid responded cheerfully. Since our younger brother entrusted this task to us, we shall take it seriously and not think of anything else. Captain, look ahead. Another mermaid exclaimed, furrowing her brow as she whispered urgently. A few hundred meters away, a submarine was slowly advancing, prompting the 3 mermaids to immediately hide. Soon, the submarine passed by them and drifted away. One mermaid, stroking her chin, remarked, Captain, it seems there is an island master operating that vessel? Quite possibly. The foodie mermaid nodded slightly. Then let us take action. With a low command, the 3 mermaids surged forward. Chapter 170. The fate of another submarine. Ioya was observing the messages in the public chat room, preparing to interject, when suddenly the radar emitted a series of beeps. Frowning, Ioya noticed 3 small dots rapidly approaching the submarine. What could that be? 3 big fish, she murmured to herself, quickly adjusting the submarine's course. To her astonishment, she soon identified the targets, 3 mermaids. Ioya's expression shifted dramatically. After all, she had heard her mentor speak of mermaids as incredibly powerful beings, with terrifying combat capabilities even in solitary engagements, and their collective strength was even more fearsome. How could 3 mermaids suddenly appear here? This is a novice zone, far removed from the open sea. Damn it, could they have escaped from a rift? Ioya gritted her teeth, preparing to launch a torpedo in retaliation, but the mermaids had already reached the outside of the submarine. Without hesitation, they spotted the spinning propeller and, wielding their long tridents, struck fiercely at the rapidly rotating blades. With a sharp sound, a flurry of large bubbles erupted upwards. Inside the control room, a piercing alarm rang out as the submarine's power system was severely damaged in that singular moment. What on earth is going on? Ioya muttered in anger as she swiftly maneuvered the submarine, propelling it forward at full speed. Oh, now that we've got our eyes on you, you think you can escape? A mermaid exclaimed in astonishment, launching herself towards the submarine. In a single motion, she hurled her trident, which impaled one of the submarine's propellers. Unfortunately, the submarine had already surged over 100 meters ahead, and as Ioya prepared to launch a torpedo, the vessel began to shake violently due to the damage inflicted on the propeller, preventing the torpedo from being deployed. Stopped? Who would have thought there would be such a massive creature in the ocean? I wonder what sort of individuals are hiding inside, remarked a mermaid. Regardless of who they are, they must be foreign island masters. Another mermaid declared, brandishing her trident and relentlessly attacking the metal exterior, intent on breaching the submarine. Despite their efforts, after a prolonged struggle, they were met with failure. Captain, this thing is too sturdy, one mermaid lamented, scratching her head. Our weapons seem ineffective against it. We've managed to halt its progress. It can't be useless. The food-loving mermaid retorted. Let us circle around the submarine and search for its weak points. We will surely find a way to dismantle it. As the 3 mermaids began to circle the submarine, Ioya's expression grew increasingly grim. She sent a message to her group. Brothers, I am being attacked by 3 mermaids. Their assault has damaged the submarine's power system. Do you have any effective strategies? Mermaids? You're encountering mermaids, came the incredulous response. These creatures are incredibly formidable and possess a certain level of intelligence. Ioya, it's unfortunate you didn't deploy the torpedoes sooner. Now it cannot reach them. Is there an island nearby? I recommend you make a hasty retreat to the island. They cannot set foot on land. Once you reach the island, you will be safe. That is right. In an instant, the 5 members of the group began to voice their suggestions. There's an island directly above me. Ioya replied, her expression shifting as she exclaimed, I'm ascending now. After sending her response, Ioya swiftly operated the submarine, propelling it toward the surface. This sudden movement caught the 3 mermaids off guard, and they immediately pursued her. By sheer coincidence, the submarine reached the vicinity of the island. Without hesitation, Ioya opened the hatch and dashed onto the shore, shouting, Help! Help! A bald man armed with a crossbow rushed out from a stone dwelling. Upon seeing Ioya, he was taken aback and asked, Are you Ioya or Cole? Currently, it was widely recognized that 2 submarines had been manufactured in the novice zone, marking a significant milestone as they had discovered the Great 9 regions, igniting a sense of purpose among the community, for which they were immensely grateful to the 2 individuals. I am Ioya. I am being chased by 3 mermaids. She promptly replied, I need your assistance. Absolutely. The bald man asserted confidently. If they dare to show themselves, I shall make them taste the sting of my crossbow. As the conversation unfolded, 3 mermaids emerged, boldly striding toward the shore, which left Ioya and her companion aghast. What is happening? Wasn't it said that mermaids cannot walk or come ashore? Have they evolved? This is madness. The expression of the bald man shifted from confusion to ferocity as he aimed his weapon at the gluttonous mermaid. What was once a formidable crossbow now seemed futile. With a mere flick of her trident, the gluttonous mermaid deflected a volley of 12 bolts, sending them harmlessly aside, without even a strand of her hair being touched. Astonished by her strength, the bald man remained speechless. Before he could utter another word, the nearby mermaid hurled her trident, striking him squarely in the chest. The immense force propelled him backward, sending him crashing against the stone dwelling, where he ultimately succumbed to unconsciousness. Please don't kill me. I can promise you anything. Ioya cried out in terror, raising her hand and shouting. Captain, what is this fellow saying? The mermaid inquired, puzzled. I am unsure, but judging by his raised hand and shouts, he is likely attempting to intimidate us, replied the gluttonous mermaid, shaking his head, convinced they would not dare to slay him. Bam! No sooner had he spoken than another mermaid's trident pierced Ioya's body. Only then did the 3 mermaids enter the submarine, their expressions bewildered as they beheld the intricate instruments in the control room. What on earth are these? One exclaimed, overwhelmed by the buttons and screens. As if on impulse, one mermaid pressed a large button. With a whoosh, a massive torpedo shot from the vessel's bottom, soaring toward the island, racing swiftly across the land, ultimately crashing into the stone dwelling. The explosion reverberated, causing the entire island to tremble violently. Incredible! One mermaid shouted in disbelief. Such a powerful weapon is truly astonishing. The gluttonous mermaid remarked, deeply impressed, and then pressed a more discreet button. The submarine has initiated self-destruct sequence, 30 seconds remaining. All personnel aboard are advised to evacuate immediately. At that moment, the submarine spoke. What is this thing saying? One mermaid asked, utterly perplexed. Though I do not comprehend it either, I have an ominous feeling. We must leave quickly. The gluttonous mermaid's expression turned grave as he spoke with urgency. 20 seconds until detonation, the submarine announced again. Without hesitation, the trio bolted from the vessel, diving into the ocean and swiftly swimming away into the distance. Boom. Mere seconds later, having swum 100 meters away, they heard a tremendous explosion, followed by a powerful shockwave radiating outward. Even though they had distanced themselves, the force of the wave sent them hurtling over 200 meters away. How exhilarating! Panting heavily, one mermaid exclaimed with laughter, "This is fun." To my astonishment, this instrument not only has the capacity to accommodate individuals and obliterate objects, but can also self-destruct. Truly remarkable. The gluttonous mermaid remarked with gravity. I once heard the commander speak of a vessel known as a submarine, which measures over 50 to 60 meters in length. How could anything be so short? A mini-submarine? Another mermaid inquired. Regardless of its name, it has already been annihilated. The gluttonous mermaid chuckled heartily. Come, let us explore other locales in pursuit of vanquishing more foreign island lords. Indeed, the two exclaimed in unison, and the trio of mermaids swiftly ventured toward another destination. In the blink of an eye, evening had descended. After a day of diligent effort, the little dragon had successfully netted 7 catches and was now savoring the crispy sardines prepared by Saturday. Though I have tasted crispy sardines in the 9 provinces, they pale in comparison to these. They are utterly divine. This is the work of a master chef. Surpassing even the culinary expertise of the finest chefs in the 9 provinces, Yichuan explained with a smile. To indulge in such delicacies is truly a stroke of fortune for us. Haha. Indeed, Saturday's culinary prowess was exceptional, and even blueberry jam, usually reticent, could not help but commend the meal. Oh, how I wish this house had 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, the little dragon mused. Feeling content after a hearty meal and a film. If I linger here too long, I truly dread returning to that small dwelling. Shall I offer you my room? Yichuan retorted. I was merely expressing a thought. It's just sleeping, after all. Any place will suffice. The little dragon burst into laughter. But seriously, brother, may I take a hot shower in the bathroom? Of course, Yichuan nodded. Thank you, brother. With permission granted, the little dragon leaped joyfully into the bathroom. Rest early, lest you wake too late and miss breakfast, Yichuan called to Blueberry Jam before turning back to his room. The public chat room buzzed with unprecedented liveliness. After all, throughout the day, a benefactor had distributed over 10,000 pounds of seafood, ensuring at least 1,000 individuals would not face hunger for 2 days. What a noble soul. In my life, I have never encountered such selfless generosity. It's unfortunate that this benefactor acted a bit late. I fear many brothers may have perished from hunger. The benefactor likely had their reasons, perhaps having recently caught the seafood, which motivated their assistance. Regardless, we are no longer at risk of starvation. Let us hope the benefactor continues their benevolence. By the way, have you spotted herds of orcas? Today, I witnessed 7 or 8 orcas surfacing, and they appeared rather intimidating. They wouldn't attack us, would they? According to our studies, orcas are generally quite amicable. However, given that there was a recent sale of orca meat by a benefactor, I suspect the orcas in the novice zone may not be as friendly. Let us remain vigilant. Orcas are apex predators, and as long as we keep our distance from the sea, we should be safe. A large pod of orcas broke through the ice. Could it be for the sake of breathing fresh air? Yichuan muttered to himself, somewhat skeptical, glancing at the time and realizing it was quite late. After a day filled with busyness, he decided not to continue his observations and slipped into a peaceful slumber. Unbeknownst to him, the system's voice resonated in the stillness, detected that the host has yet to check in. Would you like to sign in? Sign in, Yichuan exclaimed, rising and stretching lazily. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and the blueprint for an automatic fishing device. Yichuan's expression shifted. Previously, he had a semi-automatic fishing device that required manual effort. This time, however, the system had bestowed upon him an automatic one. Perhaps it had witnessed the arduous labor of the little dragon and felt a pang of compassion. Regardless of the reason, the efficiency of fishing was undoubtedly set to improve. Today promised to be yet another fruitful day. With a smile, Yichuan instinctively activated the semi-transmission, only to be startled by the sight of over a dozen orcas assaulting a sea turtle. Although the turtle valiantly employed the reverse flow technique alongside water bullets, the orcas displayed remarkable agility, evading nearly every attack. Were it not for the turtle's extraordinary healing abilities, it would likely have succumbed by now. Why aren't you using your group attack technique? Yichuan inquired, perplexed. Barely had he finished his question when the turtle began to ascend slowly into the air. Upon reaching a height of 1 meter, it immediately plummeted in a free fall. In a mere second, a deafening crash echoed, accompanied by a slight tremor felt by all creatures on the island, akin to the detonation of a cannonball. Subsequently, a towering wave, measuring over 10 meters high, surged forth, extending 1,000 meters away. No wonder the turtle refrained from employing absolute gravity. The resulting cacophony would surely disturb my rest. Yichuan realized, impressed by the turtle's dedication. Willing to endure injury rather than disrupt his slumber, truly loyal. Saying this, Yichuan promptly fed the turtle 800 pounds of krill. Brother, what just happened? That immense sound made me think our island had exploded. The little dragon rushed out, panic evident on his face. Damn it, you think an explosion could destroy my island? Yichuan shot the little dragon a fierce glare and delivered a swift kick to his rear. Hey, I was merely concerned for our island. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rushed out to investigate the noise. The little dragon chuckled nervously, his gaze inadvertently shifting to the ocean, where his expression changed dramatically as he exclaimed, Brother, what is that? Chapter 172. Astonishing task completion rate. Yichuan turned to look, gasping in awe. This absolute gravity was truly remarkable, with just that one move. All the orcas had surfaced, creating a spectacular scene. Ah, my turtle, you truly are impressive. Yichuan laughed heartily, placing an arm around the shoulder of the little dragon and exclaimed, This is a skill just demonstrated by your brother turtle. which has effortlessly dispatched all those dozen or so killer whales. Is it truly that impressive? The little dragon exclaimed incredulously. It was clear that such a colossal sea turtle could not merely serve as a vessel for an island. Indeed, it was the concealed grand boss. Quickly, let us retrieve these killer whales and, together with Friday, ensure they are processed and traded, Yechuan declared, summoning Friday and Saturday to engage in their bustling tasks. After more than 2 hours, they finally managed to haul all the killer whales ashore. Saturday promptly began the processing of the whales, while Yechuan dismantled the semi-automatic fishing net and traded it to Lu Shuai. I require your assistance. Please, instruct me, Lu Shuai replied as he accepted the fishing net. You must have noticed the free seafood listed on the trading interface. Those are my offerings, Yechuan continued. This is a semi-automatic fishing net. Begin fishing and list the catches in 1 or 2 pound increments for free on the trading interface. That poses no problem. How many days will it take? Lu Shuai asked without inquiring further about the rationale. It shouldn't take long. Just stop when I instruct you to, Yechuan replied after a moment's consideration. In truth, Yechuan had an epiphany. The assistance from the little dragon was not solely his own doing, yet it was still recorded by the system. This was likely due to the little dragon being his subordinate island master, making its actions equivalent to his own. Similarly, Lu Shuai was also his subordinate island master. Thus enlisting his help was akin to acquiring an ally. Consequently, Yechuan traded 300 milliliters of S-grade freshwater to Lu Shuai. Before you commence your tasks, drink this water, otherwise, you'll tire before casting a few nets. Understood. Lu Shuai accepted the S-grade freshwater, after which he fell silent. As time passed, the morning swiftly elapsed. With the assistance of Friday and the little dragon, Yechuan had processed 7 enormous killer whales. The little dragon diligently listed them one by one, while Saturday prepared a delectable, crispy lunch from the whale's belly, ensuring everyone enjoyed over a pound each, savoring the feast with great delight. Once the meal concluded, they resumed their efforts. Notice, host's hidden task completion has reached 36%. Please continue your endeavors. The system announced as evening approached. Wow, that's impressive. Yesterday, I only completed 7% by nightfall. And now, before evening has even arrived, I've accomplished 29%. At this rate, won't I finish this hidden task in just over 2 days? Indeed, the power of collaboration was undeniable. Yechuan laughed joyously, immediately directing the sea turtle towards the island where Liang Honging resided, confident that before the barrier vanished, he would be able to gather all subordinate island masters to Turtle Island. On Saturday evening, I prepared a sumptuous sashimi using the previous bluefin tuna, and I also cooked a large pot of ribs and soup with wild boar's spare ribs, once again delighting everyone with a feast that left them savoring every bite. What a fulfilling day it was. I hope that this time the reward for my efforts will bring me a delightful surprise. Lying in bed, Yechuan murmured to himself, glancing at the messages in the public chat room. Just yesterday, we spoke of orcas, and today, a generous benefactor has provided us with over 10,000 pounds of orca meat. Truly miraculous. I find myself pondering how this individual managed to acquire such an abundance of orca. It is notoriously challenging for even a dozen people to bring down a single one. To obtain over 10,000 pounds of orca meat would require at least several, leading me to wonder if he possesses an extraordinarily powerful weapon. Yet, this matter does not concern us directly. The benefactor's willingness to aid us alleviates our current struggles, making them akin to our benefactors in times of need. However, on a different note, I noticed today that the ice layer on the sea has thinned to merely 10 centimeters, and upon checking the temperature, it was just below -10 degrees. This is a positive sign. It goes without saying that in just 3 days, the temperature will likely rise above zero, heralding the arrival of better days ahead, a time to rejoice. The discussions among everyone centered on free food and the weather, seemingly neglecting the looming crisis of an impending attack on the Kyushu region by foreign forces. Perhaps they have resigned themselves to fate? Yechuan chose not to dwell on this matter further, awaiting tomorrow's opportunity to investigate the submarine situation. With these thoughts, he soon drifted into slumber. The next morning, Yechuan awoke leisurely, observing the sun just beginning to rise outside, and he spoke aloud. Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have gained 1,000 growth points, 2 bananas, and 1 blueprint for constructing an intermediate attack sailing vessel. Another blueprint for an intermediate attack sailing vessel. It is noteworthy that I already possessed one prior. To receive another within just a few days suggests that the ocean world is indeed beginning to favor the Kyushu region. Suddenly, a commotion outside caught Yechuan's attention. Upon stepping out, he discovered that a sea turtle had tossed up a supply crate. Nearby, several supply crates had accumulated. likely salvaged by the sea turtle and dolphins the previous night. The thickness of the ice has now diminished to about 5 or 6 centimeters, and the turtle's speed has notably increased, now approximately 40 nautical miles per hour. My dear brother, it's no wonder you have amassed such supplies. Even without considering anything else, your pets alone are capable of retrieving so much each day, exclaimed the little dragon, who had also risen, gazing at the numerous supply crates in the distance. Moderately so, Yichuan replied with a smile. Yesterday, I obtained a blueprint for an automatic fishing device. But I spent the entire day dealing with the orcas and did not have the opportunity to use it. I believe that if you utilize the automatic fishing device, your efficiency will certainly skyrocket. Not just skyrocket, it will be monumental. The little dragon exclaimed with excitement. Brother, if that's the case, I can hardly wait to begin fishing right away. After finishing breakfast, Yichuan chuckled heartily and promptly approached the rear of the sea turtle, crafting an automatic fishing device, which he then installed in the position previously occupied by the semi-automatic fishing net. Indeed, the fully automatic fishing apparatus proved to be considerably more intricate than its semi-automatic counterpart. Yet it certainly saved time and effort. After a brief trial, the quantity of seafood caught was comparable to that of the semi-automatic net, with catches coming ashore in merely 2 to 3 minutes, much to the delight of the little dragon, who danced joyously. Finally, no more laborious effort. Noticing that it was still Saturday and the cooking was ongoing, Yichuan made his way to the head of the sea turtle and opened the supply box completely. 5 metal sheets, 2 bananas, 1 fishing net blueprint, 3 pieces of plastic, 2 pieces of glass, and 1 crossbow bolt blueprint. Chapter 173. The Spring of the New Player Area in Jiuzhou. Wow. Yichuan was taken aback. He never anticipated that the supply boxes, after the ice had melted, would yield such a plethora of valuable items. It seemed his suspicions were correct. In a bid for balance, the oceanic realm had begun to tilt the scales in favor of the Jiuzhou region. Yichuan immediately retrieved the crossbow bolt blueprint. It appeared that anyone who managed to salvage a supply box had a high probability of acquiring a crossbow bolt blueprint. However, since he already possessed an upgraded version of the crossbow bolt, this particular blueprint held a different significance. Attention, host. The rotating crossbow bolt can be upgraded. The system suddenly interjected. An upgrade? Yichuan was momentarily stunned, realizing there was no need for hesitation. He promptly proceeded to upgrade the rotating crossbow bolt. Accompanied by a faint luminescence, the rotating crossbow bolt in Yichuan's hand underwent a remarkable transformation. Rather than resembling a conventional crossbow bolt, it took on the guise of a concealed dart, akin to a blood pressure cuff, measuring approximately 20 centimeters in length, capable of wrapping around the arm, thus rendering it extremely discreet. The area where the crossbow bolt was originally mounted morphed into tiny perforations, and Yichuan immediately crafted the bolts, which measured around 12 to 13 centimeters in length and approximately 2 millimeters in diameter, exceedingly slender. A total of 18 steel needles could be installed, allowing 6 to be shot with each attack. Notably, these steel needles possessed the ability to track enemies, and upon penetrating the adversary's body, they would snap, resulting in widespread devastation. For instance, if they were to pierce an enemy's leg, the broken needles would unleash a wave of destructive force that radiated through the limb, inflicting damage several times greater than merely creating a wound. My goodness, this is incredibly cool. Yichuan exclaimed joyfully, promptly affixing it to his arm. He then swiftly gestured towards a stone 30 meters away. At that moment, even his clothing seemed to expand dramatically. The 6 steel needles shot forth, each embedding itself into the stone. A sharp, ringing sound resonated clearly in the ears of the 2 witnesses as the sizable stone, over a meter high and 50 to 60 centimeters wide, rapidly cracked apart, disintegrating into a pile of rubble. Brother, am I blind? This weapon may not appear as formidable as the previous one, but its power has significantly increased. The little dragon beside him was utterly mesmerized, swallowing hard, and at a loss for words to describe the sheer magnificence of the moment. Indeed, it was a perfect match. Yichuan nodded in satisfaction before turning to the system and inquired, "Is it true that every island lord can upgrade this thing?" The system retorted, "You are overestimating the situation. The majority of your weapons and tools can only be upgraded with the system's assistance. For instance, a crossbow can only be upgraded with another crossbow, and a rotating crossbow can only be upgraded with another rotating crossbow. Cross-category upgrades are impossible." That's quite acceptable. Yichuan's expression shifted. After all, if every island lord could upgrade, what advantage would he possess? It was only through the integration of the system with the oceanic world that he could secure his position of invincibility. With renewed vigor, Yichuan examined the fishing net. Its diameter when cast was approximately 10 meters, capable of reaching a distance of 15 or 16 meters, far superior to the previous rickety net. Moreover, Yichuan sensed that everyone would likely be able to create such a fishing net, marking a significant turning point in their rise. After breakfast, Yichuan promptly checked the messages in the public chat room, where discussions about the day's events were fervently underway. What a delightful surprise. This morning, I snagged 2 supply crates and uncovered a blueprint for a fishing net. After crafting it, guess what? No need to guess. I also obtained a fishing net blueprint. The net I created was simply exhilarating, leading me to a supply crate along with 2 fish. I was so thrilled I almost cried. After enduring hardships, we have finally reaped the rewards. Surely many island lords have also acquired fishing net blueprints, right? Did anyone notice that as the frost began to dissipate, more supply crates appeared? This must indicate that the oceanic world has tilted the balance in our favor. Aiming to expedite our development in preparation for the impending invasion from the foreign region in just over a month. In conclusion, Yichuan reminded everyone to stay vigilant, lest they inadvertently forget the looming threat of the foreign region. After his words, the public chat room fell into a brief silence before erupting into animated discussions once more, now including conversations about the foreign region. Although the Jojo region appeared to be at a significant disadvantage, it was not entirely without hope for resistance. Meanwhile, Wang Sanrui observed the blinking red dot with a smirk on his face. During this period, he had ingeniously summoned 3 subordinate island lords, including an assistant island lord, using his ice knife boat. Upon seeing Wang Sanrui's 1-bedroom apartment, they were genuinely impressed by his capabilities. While others were still residing in tents, he, an independent island lord, had already moved into a concrete apartment. Such was the disparity between them. Upon hearing Wang Sanrui's plan, everyone expressed their unanimous agreement without hesitation. After all, the financial prowess of the individual named Yichuan was well known, and dealing with him was undoubtedly the most promising path to prosperity. With consensus achieved, they boarded the vessel, setting sail towards the young man's island. Wang Sanrui proclaimed with fervor, "Within a week at the latest, we shall emerge as the new elite of the novice zone." Roaring with enthusiasm, the 4 of them embarked on their journey towards Yichuan's domain. Meanwhile, Yichuan, having orchestrated a day of fishing with the little flying dragons, promptly retreated into the submarine. He first glanced at the public chat room, pondering aloud. Do you all feel a peculiar sense of scarcity lately? It seems the supply crates have diminished, and the rewards are less impressive. Indeed, the supply had dwindled. In recent days, he had salvaged merely 3 or 4 crates filled with basic resources. This is utterly disastrous. Has our prior month of rapid development drawn the ire of the oceanic realm? This dilemma appears quite complex to resolve. We can only monitor the situation and hope for recovery in the coming days. Yichuan scoffed wryly before opening the group chat, exclaiming, "Incredible! Ioya has perished just like that." Ioya's demise sparked confusion, and Yichuan quickly perused the chat history. "Brothers, I am currently under attack by 3 mermaids." Mermaids? You encountered mermaids? Their combat prowess is formidable. Chapter 174. Upgrading the submarine to acquire black powder. Ah, this Ioya, much like Cole, piloted a submarine. Yichuan understood now. He had initially presumed the mermaids were inadequate, only to realize they had managed to defeat the last remaining submarine from the foreign district. Truly, they were A-rank marine creatures. Yichuan burst into laughter, feeling a celebration was in order. I must indulge in some monkey wine this afternoon. Subsequently, Yichuan began to search diligently. Previously, he had merely inspected the storage compartment, emptying it of food and water, neglecting other areas. This time, he observed meticulously and, to his exhilaration, discovered a blueprint in the soldier's cabin. Almost shouting with delight, he exclaimed, "Blueprint for a small submarine." Currently, this submarine measured only about 10 meters, minuscule by any standard. A small submarine would ideally be at least 20 meters long. Damn, this is a windfall. Cole, that fool, never mentioned this. Does he still cling to a sliver of hope? Yichuan scoffed dismissively and resumed his search, though this time, there was little else to find. Back on Turtle Island, Yichuan reviewed the materials needed for the construction of the small submarine. 1 miniature submarine, 2,000 metal sheets, 1,500 units of plastic, 500 pieces of glass, and 100 fabric pieces. Indeed, the requirements for such a small submarine were substantial, yet the value it promised was undeniable. At present, Yichuan immediately crafted a small submarine, and with a faint glow, the vessel unexpectedly expanded to approximately 40 meters, ultimately quadrupling the size of the previous small submarine. This truly qualified as a genuine submarine. Yichuan could not contain his excitement, snapping his fingers and bursting into hearty laughter. After all, in the annals of Blue Star's history, The smallest submarines measured around 20 meters, with most typically ranging from 60 to 70 meters in length. The previous 10-meter-long submarine hardly deserved the title of a submarine. Goodness, is this a submarine? Xiao Feilong inquired, drawn by the commotion. Upon witnessing the submarine, he swallowed hard. Although it was not large, the fact that it had been constructed in such a brief span of time was astonishing, even surpassing the speed of previous novice rounds. This is because I had previously captured a small submarine from a foreign district and have now upgraded and enlarged it, Yichuan replied with a smile. Genuinely surprised by the outcome. Impressive, Xiao Feilong exclaimed, giving Yichuan a thumbs up, his admiration for him reaching unimaginable heights. Have you finished catching fish? Yichuan turned and inquired casually. I've caught 5 nets already, totaling around 10,000 jin. Friday and Saturday are helping with processing, Xiao Feilong chuckled. I saw you busy here and came over to take a look. Come with me into the submarine. Let us observe. Yichuan laughed heartily and led Xiao Feilong inside. True to its 40-meter length, the submarine was equipped with all necessary compartments, much more spacious than before. The living quarters had expanded from 2 to 4. And in addition to the torpedo bay, a missile bay had been added. The torpedo bay was designed for launching underwater attacks on enemies, while the missile bay launched missiles to strike targets above the water's surface, boasting significantly greater power than torpedoes. However, currently, there were only 4 torpedoes in the torpedo bay, with no weapons available in either the torpedo or missile bays. It appeared that in order to manufacture torpedoes and missiles, the appropriate materials would need to be procured. Fortunately, the submarine operated on electricity and was equipped with a super battery, which, according to specifications, could sustain the submarine for up to 3,000 nautical miles on a full charge, which was quite remarkable. As Yichuan retracted the submarine, he smiled and inquired, System, what materials are required to manufacture torpedoes and missiles? Torpedo, 25 kilograms of TNT, 100 metal sheets, 50 plastic. Missile, 35 kilograms of TNT, 200 metal sheets, 100 plastic. Goodness, does it require so much explosive material? Yichuan was momentarily taken aback. That amount of explosives was no trivial matter, with 4 torpedoes already accounted for. That was a total of 100 kilograms of TNT. How had they obtained it? System, can TNT be substituted with other types of explosives? Yichuan pondered for a moment before asking with seriousness. Black powder can be utilized as a substitute. A torpedo requires 35 kilograms, while a missile demands 45 kilograms. The system promptly provided an answer, undoubtedly superior to TNT. Yichuan slightly pursed his lips before inquiring about the substantial quantity of black powder needed, pondering where to procure such an abundance of sulfur and saltpeter. His last acquisition had been a reward from upgrading the Albatross, and purchases from the public chatroom had proven fruitless. Suddenly, Yichuan's expression shifted, and he swiftly retrieved a tablet to inquire in the group chat. Brothers, does anyone possess explosives for manufacturing torpedoes? A fellow island lord promptly replied, the 2 mines have been nearly depleted. We should be able to trade with you in at least 3 days. Ioia is gone. You are now our beacon of hope. Rest assured, on the day the barrier fades, I shall navigate the submarine to welcome your arrival. Yichuan responded with a series of laughter emojis, feeling that the days of dominating the Kyushu region were drawing near. By the way, I have wonderful news. I inadvertently discovered a rich gold mine, which could yield a value in the tens of millions even if we sell it directly, just as expected from you. The other 5 members erupted in praise. After all, they had previously agreed to share the spoils equally, regardless of what transpired. All right, I won't keep you any longer. I shall wander around a bit more. Yichuan concluded before exiting the submarine. Little Flying Dragon was engaged in fishing, Friday was sorting and distributing the catch, Saturday was preparing a meal, and Blueberry Jam was watching a movie indoors. Everyone was diligently fulfilling their roles, so Yichuan refrained from interrupting and went to check on the lambs. After several days of growth, the lamb's demand for milk had diminished significantly, with 2/3 of its diet now consisting of miraculous pasture. It was estimated that in a few more days, he could freely milk the sheep again. Just as the supply of sheep milk was about to run out, it should soon be replenished. Meanwhile, the chicks weighed nearly half a kilogram each, brimming with vitality. We no longer need breadcrumbs. Brother, come quickly and see what I have caught. Just as Yichuan intended to check on the vegetable area, Little Flying Dragon suddenly shouted. Chapter 175, Electric Eel. A conversation with Friday. Yichuan hurried over to find a large fishing net teeming with densely packed black fish writhing rapidly. These fish were generally over 2 meters long, resembling snakes and evoking a sense of unease. Little Flying Dragon attempted to catch one for a closer inspection, but with a faint sound, he suddenly stiffened and toppled to the side. What happened? Yichuan exclaimed, rushing forward to inquire. After a pause of over 20 seconds, Little Flying Dragon finally stood up, still trembling slightly. Brother, there's electricity. Electric eel? Yichuan spoke in a solemn tone. Brother, aren't electric eels typically found in freshwater? How can there be so many in the ocean? Exclaimed Xiao Feilong incredulously. This is the ocean world, where even the ancient megalodon exists. What is so surprising about the presence of electric eels? Yichuan retorted with annoyance. In any case, they will ultimately become our sustenance. However, the voltage they emit is truly alarming. Even with my enhanced physique, it took me over 20 seconds to recover from the shock. If it were an ordinary person, wouldn't they be rendered unconscious instantly? Xiao Feilong exclaimed. I fear our brother Gui might incur the wrath of thousands of electric eels and be stunned. Can't you think of something positive? Yichuan frowned. Stop obsessing over these trivial matters and consider how to handle the electric eels. Huh, brother. This is a matter of life and death. Xiao Feilong replied, bewildered. What else is there to do? Yichuan shot him a glance and turned to enter a large greenhouse. Inside the greenhouse, apple, pear, and flat peach trees flourished, filling the air with their delightful fragrance. The fruits had ripened. This Friday, I was so preoccupied with flattering Saturday that I forgot to tend to the ripe fruits. It seems I need to give myself a good talking to. Yichuan mused, plucking 8 flat peaches. Each peach was as large as an adult's fist, soft and succulent. If only there were a straw, one could easily sip the rich peach juice. The sensation would be indescribable. Nonetheless, after consulting the system, Yichuan fashioned 8 plastic straws. Meanwhile, Xiao Feilong had begun arranging the seafood, while Friday, clad in rubber gloves, was processing the electric eels. Brother Chuan, I have portioned lunch into 8 servings and placed them on your table. You may dine at your convenience, Saturday said respectfully. Good girl, go assist Friday. Yichuan nodded with satisfaction. He promptly traded 5 servings of lunch along with the flat peaches to Zhao Feiyu and the others. The flat peaches I've grown are ripe and undoubtedly sweet. They shall serve as dessert. Are these flat peaches truly exquisite? Liang Hongying asked in astonishment. I have eaten many flat peaches, and even those from my family's orchard cannot compare to this quality. Of course, these are flat peaches from the ocean world. Yichuan replied with a smile. However, Yichuan was also taken aback by Liang Hongying's statement, pondering the strength of her family, which possessed a peach orchard. It's indeed unexpected, Liang Hongying remarked. Prepare yourself for the next few days. I should be able to reach your island in about 4 or 5 days. Yichuan sent a smiling emoji. Your island? Liang Hongying replied with a puzzled expression. Indeed, the situation in the ocean world is quite dire. And the foreign regions will be attacking our Jiuzhou region within a month, Yichuan responded sternly. In such circumstances, we must unite. My subordinate island masters cannot be left isolated. I will finish tidying up and await your arrival. This time, Liang Hongying did not decline but readily agreed. She had visited Yichuan's island, which was significantly larger than her own, boasting a plethora of fruits and plants. Living on Yichuan's island would undoubtedly surpass her current experience, at least until the end of the novice area. Liang Hongying's straightforwardness took Yichuan by surprise for a moment, but he swiftly responded with a smile and returned to dine with blueberry jam and the little dragon. Brother, aside from the electric eels, all other sea fish have been listed this morning. During this time, Little Dragon reported that there were a total of 6 nets, amounting to just over 10,000 pounds. Let us keep up the good work, Yichuan said with a smile. In at least 2 more days, your task will be completed, and our lives will significantly improve. It is my honor to serve you, brother. Little Dragon chuckled heartily. After lunch, Saturday and Little Dragon began fishing, while Yichuan sought out Friday, patting him on the shoulder. I say, Friday, have you been somewhat remiss in your agricultural duties lately? Huh. Friday was taken aback and quickly replied, Brother Chuan, I haven't. I've been diligently working all this time. Those 3 types of fruits have ripened. You haven't picked them. And they were nearly overripe. Yichuan retorted, Brother Chuan, didn't I tell you they would ripen within 3 days? Friday countered. Moreover, I've been helping you handle the sea fish for your sake. Not only do you fail to appreciate my efforts, but you also criticize me? I have not. I was merely discussing the matter with you. Yichuan raised his hands in surrender. Friday, you're not being overly sensitive, are you? No. Friday shook his head vigorously. Perhaps I've been focusing too much on Saturday lately. I will reflect on that. If you had said so earlier, we wouldn't be in this debate. Yichuan gently shook his head, smiling. We are all men, I understand, but we cannot place all our focus on women. After all, we have our own careers. All right, I will pay more attention moving forward. Friday nodded repeatedly, sincerely acknowledging his mistake. Yichuan was quite satisfied with this response. Just as he was about to call Friday to assist Little Dragon, a sudden mooing echoed from the woods. followed by birds soaring skyward and trees violently swaying. What is happening? Yichuan furrowed his brow and immediately rushed into the woods with Friday. The three little ones followed closely, already taking to the skies. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, they discovered three enormous wild bulls rampaging through the underbrush, effortlessly smashing through trees with a diameter of less than 20 centimeters. Truly a display of immense strength. Chapter 176, Slaying the Frenzied Bulls. Muscle and tendon, what on earth is happening? How could three frenzied bulls suddenly appear? Yichuan pondered in bewilderment. Brother Chuan, each of these three bulls weighs at least 2,000 pounds, and their horns are both large and long. If they were to charge at us simultaneously, we would undoubtedly face considerable difficulty, Friday solemnly remarked. You handle one, and I shall take on two, Yichuan declared without hesitation. Let us move. With that, he charged towards one of the bulls. What a challenge! Friday muttered under his breath, quickly making his way towards another bull. The bull, clearly noticing Friday, let out a loud bellow and charged at him, its eyes glowing red, panting heavily and emanating a terrifying aura. I'll give it my all, Friday shouted, seizing the wild bull's horns with both hands, engaging in a fierce contest of strength. Meanwhile, Yichuan had already captured the attention of two wild bulls. With a swift motion, he raised his hand, and 6 steel needles shot forth. The wild bull, showing no inclination to evade, barreled directly towards Yichuan. The steel needles embedded deeply into the bull's thigh, and with an explosive force, a significant portion of its leg was severed, sending it crashing to the ground. Another wild bull had now reached Yichuan's vicinity. At such close range, utilizing a crossbow was impractical, so he seized one of its horns and with a powerful heave, flung the bull aside, causing it to stumble and roll over twice on the ground. The bull, now with one front leg severed, appeared to have forgotten its pain, charging towards Yichuan with crimson eyes. Yichuan, perplexed, thought to himself, what sort of deep-seated vendetta could provoke such an attack against me? Simultaneously, the other wild bull had regained its footing and was once again rushing towards Yichuan. You shall see just how red the flowers truly are. Yichuan scoffed, opting to forego his blade for hand-to-hand combat, delivering a series of powerful punches to the bull's head. Yichuan could scarcely believe the strength of his own fists. They felt as though they were forged from steel, striking the bull's head without any sensation of pain. In contrast, despite its bloodshot eyes and frenzied demeanor, the bull was forced to retreat, a flicker of fear now evident in its gaze. With a final, forceful punch to the side of the bull's face, Yichuan brought an end to its tumultuous life. The other bull, too, was not spared from a similarly grim fate. Brother Chuan, that was no easy feat. Friday approached him, noting, the strength of that bull, when enraged, must have exceeded 5,000 pounds. Had it not been for the meticulous planning of my creators, I fear it might have torn me apart. In the end, you emerged victorious, did you not? Yichuan replied with a smile. Be advised. For the three wild bulls had consumed the hallucinogenic mushroom known as the green fold mushroom, which affects the nervous system. It is imperative that one avoids the internal organs of the bulls. At that moment, the system interjected. Yichuan finally comprehended the reason behind the frenzied antics of these three individuals. They had ingested toxic mushrooms. What a stroke of misfortune. Had it merely been a trivial scuffle, he might not have even noticed their behavior. Their ostentatious display, however, rendered him utterly speechless. Let us drag them back. Yichuan chuckled, shaking his head. He took 2 of them, while Friday managed one, and they proceeded to haul them back to the central area. Brother, were those 3 wild bulls truly the ones causing the ruckus? The little dragon inquired, astonished as he surveyed the bulls. You actually killed them? Would you prefer to play games with them instead? Yichuan retorted, somewhat exasperated. You don't understand. The situation was perilous. If we hadn't reacted swiftly, it could have been our demise. Friday added, his dissatisfaction evident. No. What I meant to say is that you are truly impressive for having slain them. You're practically a war god. The little dragon waved his hands dismissively, laughing as he clarified. Your words ease my mind a bit. It was worth my effort in helping you with the seafood, Friday conceded. Saturday, Yichuan called out with a hearty laugh. Brother Chuan, what is your command? Saturday hurried over, disregarding Friday's playful gestures, and asked earnestly. First, take care of these 3 wild bulls. We need the innards, Yichuan instructed. We shall feast on beef for dinner. Rest assured, I will ensure your satisfaction. Saturday replied, eagerly taking charge. Friday promptly abandoned the little dragon to assist Saturday in processing the wild bulls, which intensified the little dragon's pressure, causing his efficiency to wane. He managed to set up only 4 nets that afternoon, bringing his total to 12 nets combined with the previous 8. As evening approached, the system chimed in, attention. The hidden task has reached 55% completion. Please continue your efforts. It appeared that Lu Shuai had captured a total of 7 nets on his own, utilizing a semi-automatic fishing net, a commendable achievement indeed. Now, it seemed that in just 2.5 days, he would attain success. As nightfall enveloped the island, the enticing aroma of beef wafted through the air. At around 7 o'clock, Saturday returned bearing a large bowl of meat. Brother Chuan, I have prepared the tendons, but I didn't portion them out, so I'll need your assistance with that. That's no trouble. Yi Chuan laughed heartily. Deliciously spicy tendons, truly a delicacy of the earthly realm. The tendons, known for their chewy texture, had been expertly stewed by Saturday until they were tender and almost melted in the mouth. Coupled with the delightful monkey wine, the experience was simply beyond description. Blueberry Jam and the little dragon were thoroughly enjoying themselves, even to the point of wanting to form a brotherhood, proclaiming that while they did not seek to be born on the same day of the same month in the same year, they did wish to die on the same day of the same month in the same year. Yi Chuan found their antics amusing and opted to let them be, instead retreating to his room after a simple wash-up. In the public chat room, everyone was engaged in a lively discussion about the day's achievements. With a brand new fishing net, I can survive without the assistance of the big shots. How exhilarating. Today, I surprisingly acquired a medium-sized sailboat, which is truly thrilling. I believe you are merely flaunting your success. What is a medium-sized sailboat compared to the crossbow I obtained? Did I not mention that? Friends, with great power comes great responsibility. Have you forgotten the perilous situation that awaits us? Chapter 177. Zhao Feiyu's thoughts whenever the topic of foreign regions attacking arises. The atmosphere among the group becomes somewhat somber. However, after a brief silence, some began to feel more ambitious. Hey, didn't the foreign regions develop rapidly in just over a month? Why can't we do the same? Indeed, some prominent figures have analyzed the situation, and the balance in the oceanic world is tipping in our favor. I firmly believe we can catch up to the foreign regions in no time. Let us rally together. We, the 9 provinces, are a superpower in the Blue Star, and I trust we will prove equally formidable in the oceanic realm. Yes, let's push forward. Observing the enthusiasm in the room, Yi Chuan nodded in satisfaction. This is the spirit of us 9 provincians. We do not provoke others unless provoked. But if one dares to offend us, we shall retaliate. Noticing that it was getting late, Yi Chuan decided not to linger further and lay down on his bed, drifting off to sleep. He slept soundly through the night until dawn. As he awoke to the bustling activity outside, he noticed that breakfast prepared for Saturday was already set on the coffee table and blueberry jam was being enjoyed. Upon seeing Yi Chuan, the blueberry jam exclaimed cheerfully, "Brother, you're awake." Having indulged a bit too much the previous night, Yi Chuan was surprised to find it was already 8 o'clock. Stretching lazily, he remarked, "Seafood soup, delightful." Indeed, Saturday's creations are always exquisite. The blueberry jam nodded vigorously. Initially, upon meeting Saturday, who was a woman, the blueberry jam felt some resistance. However, after